starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun.
Wherever you go, wonderful, wonderful station. Just take a lively companion wherever you go. Take a portable radio. Take a portable radio.
Now, here comes the music.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another installment of the show on Q Talk America. It's just a little bit after 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night. It's just show 355. It's the 21st day of August. Hokey Smokes Bullwinkle. Kat Carlson has the night off. Filling in for her, of course, is Doug Wilkie right here to my immediate left. Marnie Ryer and 1993 are sitting on that corner of the
93
table.
is represented.
And Al
Crisscross will
Perkins.
make you jump.
Al Perkins at his station right there, manning the...
my workstation.
Yes, he's trying to figure out something to do with the interwebs, but I'm not sure what it is. But he'll figure it out surely before we get done with this program in the next 3 hours.
Just breaking news, they're both still very much alive.
Alive, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No one
But
knows
good.
he's dead.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
They wanted to stay alive until
They,
could
now they
rewrite
can write another
rewrite
book
history.
now. Yeah. They
Yeah.
had to live for this, like, for the second president to be
Yeah,
impeached.
exactly.
Yes. Actually, I was just verifying that the Woodward and Bernstein team from the 44 years ago,
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
from the
From the
still
first
alive.
asshole.
from the post. Yeah, from the first dumbass president. Anyway, they're both alive. Woodward and Bernstein both alive.
And Bernstein was the one that was married
Ew.
to Nora
Ephron?
Ephron, and
That's right.
that's who the movie Burn. What the hell's the name of the movie?
Steen?
I know what you're talking about with the heartburn.
Heartburn
Yeah.
is about.
Oh, I don't know
yeah,
that
so
movie.
that's
Mhm.
that's Meryl Streep playing
Nora Ephron.
Nora Ephron and Jack Nicholson playing Bernstein.
Got it. I didn't know.
Marnie, before we get too much further into the show, I'd like to take a personal privilege here. And
Quite a personal privilege.
what the fuck are you wearing? What?
I
Is,
thought I'd get all kinds of dressed up for you today.
yeah. Well, normally it's not
it make me
this.
look-
This.
No.
Yeah. I think that you're playing a part in the opening of the bring the show in living
In
color.
living
back.
color. There's been a stage version at Phoenix Little
Now,
Theater.
can you stand up and show? Yeah, in Phoenix Little Theater. Right. Right.
You know, it's
Yeah.
just
So
your
look at
basic,
it. So she's got the jeans with the painted on. Yeah, you
the
get that.
whitewash.
Yeah, whitewashed with the paint.
Where
and
does
the,
one come across those
And then
shorts?
the
I bet
you
she.
know,
Oh,
yeah,
your shoes.
Nikes,
It really is
yeah.
the
The
whole thing.
I feel
I
that
got
she
a
made
white
them.
beater thing on.
Of course you do.
Oh my God,
And of course the bra has to match the
Marnie,
the,
what brought
legging.
this? What brought this on?
I hit my head.
I know it's been. I know it's
No, I
been
kind of
hot.
wonder, have you hit your head? I'm gonna check with Alan, our resident nurse, show nurse. But
Right?
are
you
you
take my
seeing?
pulse?
Are you seeing colors? Or
Right.
how does it work
In
out? What are
living
you?
color, yeah.
What are you
Clearly.
supposed to ask them?
Well, come on, tell me that this isn't but pretty cool for I mean, I should never.
I mean,
wear it.
where did you?
I don't
find
know
those
that I'd
jeans
call it
shorts?
pretty cool, but
I bet he may. I bet she made them.
Then I did not.
You did not make the shorts.
I know, isn't that great?
That's really surprising.
you bought them that way.
$9.99 at Yeah, they said
they were somebody put a
you know,
price tag on
You
that.
have no idea. They actually had like 10 of them. Imagine they didn't sell out. But,
Were they like $1.99?
no, they were $9.99.
Oh,
but it was so
$9.99,
worth
okay.
it. Like
Yeah.
for real.
Sure.
I mean, whitewashed and
Color.
It's a
Come
lot. It's a
on.
lot to recommend.
it's a lot to take in.
The
It's
other
a
thing that
lot
I
to
thought might have
experience.
happened on the way to remain current, that maybe somewhere you
Hey,
actually won the
girl.
Pepsi challenge.
Yeah.
Well, I did. I had my hat on because I burned my, top of my head. I had my glove too. But that was 1984.
Wow, you and
Takes me
Alfonso
back.
Ribeiro
Yeah,
doing a
that's right,
commercial.
That's right. Anyway, no, they had a 90s throwback thing at Jab. So I said,
And jabs, for those who out
Why
there who
not?
don't know, that's where you go
Well,
boxing. That's your
yeah.
boxing,
yeah,
your stress
yeah,
relief.
my stress relief.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was, and it was very fun.
Cool. Was there a prize issued for any of
They're
this?
going. Because there's still 2 more classes tonight.
Oh,
so
I see.
They're waiting till they have everyone, and then
Well,
Well, hopefully we'll find out live.
yeah, I'd like to know.
if we have a winner.
Yeah, I'd like to know who
Well,
gets
quite
charged with that
frankly,
offense.
I'm pretty sure that that I would run away with it if it were just a yeah, you win, kind of thing. But it's the name
No,
of
it's
the bowl.
fantastic. I mean, those shorts, those are not easy to find.
No, they're not.
Thank goodness.
And yet, and yet they were quite. Oh boy! Wow. Take me back to a day. They. Hi, Mom and I. I walked into Target because I was just. They had like some NSYNC, right? They have like old concert
Right.
T-shirt things, and I figured that would be the extent of it.
Yeah.
Well, then I found a couple. I was like, man, I don't know. I don't feel it. So I went over to Ross, and you can't go wrong. You ever
Cross-dress
want
for
the
less.
Halloween costume? You can go right there.
All right.
But you have to be careful. Truly, it's like Halloween.
I'm gonna. Yes, based on your outfit, you must be careful.
The problem really that comes down to it is that you walk in. So I had a picture of like the 90s kind of thing. Because, you have
Yeah.
to be like, okay, well,
We don't know who's going to remember.
right. But you have to make it enough. And I knew that I had these glasses, so that's fun.
But why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they clip on. I can't.
They don't clip on.
No, those are
Those are just,
part of.
that's part of.
I mean, but right. But
Don't try to
They're not
outfit these.
removable.
No, they're
Right.
not.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what's his face from after the what was that show?
I was thinking DJ Jazzy Jeff.
No, oh yeah, and is Marnie sponsored? now?
Yes, Marty is. Yes, we're now monetizing that chair.
yeah,
Yep, I knew one day I'd bring
not a
in the
bad
money.
idea. Yep.
That and Starbucks.
God, I
No,
should've
but
got that endorsement.
when
Damn it.
I walked into Ross, I'm looking at the pictures to see like what is good. Because if I just put like a flannel around my waist and tie it,
They thought you were Joey Lawrence.
right? But am I grunge?
Right.
Or
No,
am
you're
I
no-
just
Oh, right.
So I'm like, meh.
Grunge lesbian.
Right, exactly
Fake
my
Canadian.
point.
It's a
You
ti-
don't
it's a
know.
fine
You don't
line.
know. You never do. Yeah. It does. It brings up that question. So I walk in and I have this picture, and I'm like, okay, I can probably do that. And I find a T-shirt that could work, might not work, and this guy that was probably about our age-ish.
Okay.
And so I said, does this look 90s? Like, because, I'm going to talk to people because I just love people.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, does this, what do you think? And he goes, here's the problem. When you ask those kind of questions, expect the answer, right?
Right.
Like you're going to get an answer. He still wears those kind of things. And so it makes you an asshole, right? Sorry. My bad. You look good. I'm going to go now. So when I
Yeah.
found these shorts, I burst out laughing. Like, and come on.
Yeah.
You just can't go wrong. And then when you find the Vans all over the...
Oh, that's for?
No, I think that's just... But that reminds me
Yeah,
of
the
Vans.
Vans. Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
Yeah. So when I saw
Spicoli's.
that... Right.
Now
right.
the Nike hat. Did you already have it?
I did,
you
actually.
had the
This
hat.
is just my... But the fact that I'm doing this to it is
Yeah.
scary. I'm always like, it has
Yeah.
to be perfect.
Yeah.
So. But
Okay.
come on, you got to finish off the look.
It really
Be
sells.
committed.
It really sells on the webcast there. Look at you.
Yeah.
Really does.
All the colors.
All of the yes. Look
I'm
at that.
just saying.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
We have rapper Marnie Marn with us tonight.
What? You know what? Here's what I've heard. I have heard this.
Just remember that.
Crisscross will make you jump.
And now I have.
3 people got that.
Well, I'm just saying
I mean,
that's
I
all
got
that I
it.
needed.
got
We're the
knowledge,
3.
Yeah.
We're the
Okay.
Four. Yeah, I like that. I like
So,
it.
I guess the VMAs were on yesterday,
I heard it. Yeah.
and I guess the Backstreet Boys, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, performed
I think you're using all the right.
on someone's awning, based on what I could tell from the video.
Oh.
Okay.
So my question is, wasn't a Wahlberg in that? Isn't that the group that the
No,
Wahlberg
that's
was
in
in?
No, that's
Sync?
New Kids on the Block.
New Kids
that
on the
had
Block.
the
Oh
Wahlberg.
God, I get in
okay.
so much trouble right now. Oops.
In KOTB is
Yeah.
the Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Okay. I was so
Yep.
confused because I'm like,
Donnie Wahlberg.
I know Boys to Men aren't white boys,
Yep.
and so I had
In
run,
Sync. There was
and I knew
In
NSYNC was Justin Timberlake, so I was very confused why there wasn't a
I
Wahlberg.
thought Backstreet Boys was Justin Timberlake.
no, that's NSYNC.
In Sync, yeah.
See now.
And I had to learn that eventually because he became unavoidable. And then eventually
so
I caved
therefore
in now.
Lance Bass
but now
was
I
in
like him.
In Sync.
That's the other one I was looking for.
He's the
Because
gay
I was
one,
like, yeah,
but he was with.
just the one, dear. So I was also on the hunt for the gay one, so I was all confused because I'm like, how many of these goddamn white boy bands were there?
All run together. I
Oh,
don't.
there were a lot of them.
There were a lot of them.
Because
Yes.
there was like a
And
cute-
quite frankly,
there was a cutie-
Menudo,
98
right? Was
degrees or
that
something?
80, 98 degrees? Oh my God, they're 98. Who? Oh, they're
That's
awful.
in that 98 degrees.
that's
isn't that
another
what-
white boy band,
Right.
right?
That was Nick Lachey.
Nick
Nick
and
Lachey.
Drew Lachey.
Yeah. 98
Oh God,
degrees.
they're awful.
I got nothing.
Mm.
Well, and he was married to Jessica Simpson,
Right.
and they had that
Yeah,
horrible
Buffalo chicken.
They had
Oh,
that
oh.
that show,
Uh-huh.
Life with Nick and Jessica, or whatever it was
So,
called.
follow-up question:
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the tall boy with the beard from Back
Yeah,
what do we call it,
Joey
Backstreet Boys?
Fatone.
You mean fat one, Joey? Fat one?
Fat one.
Oh no! Oh, there wasn't a fat one last night.
No, that he was actually
He's
in
not
sync.
anymore. Oh.
Fatone was in sync.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Because
sorry.
there was one that I was convinced was
Nick
married
Carter.
to Britney Spears. Oh, I knew
Nick
Nick Carter.
Carter.
Backstreet Boys had the gay one.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
no.
Well,
no,
I mean,
but,
it might have been a gay one, but it's not the,
No,
not the
but
gay one
if
that
you'll
tried to ride
recall,
the Brady.
That
house.
Lance
Justin
Bass.
Timberlake and Britney worked together an awful
Yeah.
lot.
No.
Yeah, but didn't
No,
she,
they were together. They were.
But they were married though. Were they?
No,
No.
remember
They were a
was,
couple.
She had a kid by. Remember there was some loser Kevin something. That
Yes, Kevin
Federline.
Federline.
Is he
Ki-
that
Two of
one
them.
guy in that Backstreet Boys band?
No.
No.
He was
Oh.
just some random.
There was just these boys dancing around. I made it halfway through the song, and I was like, all right, there's no gay one. I don't see the one that I was looking for. I've already
So
forgot his
you
name.
and like 3 other people watched the VMAs apparently.
No, I just watched that video.
Because a lot of people I saw online were like, I didn't even know this was a thing anymore, and I was surprised that I didn't know people made videos anymore. I thought that was even
Right,
done.
unless it was on YouTube.
I was looking for the gay one or a Waldberg, and then I realized maybe they were both in NSYNC, but then I didn't think so. But
think-
then I found that there is a third white boy band. Well, 4, because we came up with the one with the temperature.
How is it that you sit at home and ponder these things, yet you have all of those sources to find this information out at your
Because
fingertips?
he didn't care
I didn't
to
care.
look.
Oh, so you thought you'd save it for this
But
show?
She was dressed like this.
Yeah.
She came in dressed
Exactly.
like this, saying 90s, 90s, 90s. So I thought,
okay.
well,
There's a resource.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Go
Oh,
to-
I just have.
But
the
Brittany
clothes.
and
Yeah.
Justin were together. They were
Yeah,
very young.
Yeah.
right,
They
but
were a
they were
couple.
never married. They
yeah,
were
yeah,
just
yeah.
together.
Remember,
They
she
were
had
like
But they
Jackie
both
and
wore
Minnie.
denim outfits at that one famous
My
picture. They're
God,
both in blue
that's
denim.
right.
Remember that?
And his curly, curly
yes.
hair.
But
Yeah.
he was cute even with that. He's
Oh
so
my
beautiful.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
he's
think-
No,
gorgeous.
he is now. I
He
thought-
is.
I did not enjoy him at the
I
young
never
stage.
thought so.
No.
He's one of those people that grew into his looks
Mhm.
finally.
He
He really
certainly
did.
did.
Yeah, now I
Yeah.
think he's very attractive. but
Mhm.
At,
And talented.
yeah.
Like
that was-
Janet.
that
Oh,
was
you
a good
certainly
run.
can't take his talent away.
Yeah.
He's funny. He's
Like-
comical,
Yeah.
musical, everything.
Like a little Janet
His
Jackson.
guy on
'Cause
the,
she was
whenever
not
he's on
attractive.
SNL, that is just I can't get
Oh,
enough of
he
him. On
is
That's where I
SNL.
fell in love
funny.
with him.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been in quite some time. He's
And then
busy.
that
I
sexy
need to
back
have him
song, and I
back.
was like, all right.
He is.
gotcha.
He's bringing sexy back.
Blue-eyed soul.
Remember, you can't bring sexy back if you never were sexy to begin with.
That's exactly
Why are you
right.
looking at me?
No,
You're just bringing us back to 1994.
I wasn't pointing you out at all.
I'm kidding.
Rock Shot 100 and Bridget are in the other chat room.
Hi guys.
Rock Shot 100,
I like
and
it.
Bridget.
What chat room is that?
On the YouTube.
The
Oh,
YouTube,
the
yeah.
YouTube one. Okay. Hello.
Hi
people.
guys.
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, Doug, what'd you do since last we saw you? Since we gave you a week off?
Well,
Without pay.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Do I? Is this docked in my
Yeah.
paycheck?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it'll reflect
It'll
all of your
reflect.
paperwork. Yes, I feel though. Like, you know
only
how
allowed 3
you know how
on
on
Tuesday
all of the news channels now, every time there is a contributor, they have to say, by the way, blah blah blah
MSNBC.
is a paid contributor to MSNBC or whatever. I feel like I'm gonna have to start having a disclaimer for you.
Yes,
That
yes.
every time you're on, we'll have to make sure that people realize that you are a contributor to the
And
Q Talk.
unpaid.
I am. And
Yeah, unpaid,
An unpaid
Unpaid
contributor,
contributor,
to Q Talk.
correct. That's right.
unpaid, unbiased.
Chat.
That's right.
Yes, all that.
The minute they offered Corey Lewandowski or whatever his name is
Ah,
a paycheck,
yuck.
I have not watched CNN since that day.
Oh
Yeah.
God, Corey.
Every once in a while,
What a
I'll flash
douche.
flash forward to it or jump to that channel, and then I'll remember that they paid him to be on the network,
yeah.
and I just I
no
go.
thanks. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, what's
Smart.
happened to me is ASU started. The fall
Ah,
semester
sure.
has started,
Yes.
so that was good. So that was started last Thursday, and so today was actually like for me the beginning of the actual first week. So it was very nice. Got to meet all the new students, and It's always fun in the very beginning
Do you know
because they
their
all
names?
show up.
Yeah.
Well, I have to get to know their names. It takes an entire
Now, when you
semester
say
to learn them all.
when you
but-
meet all the students, each class is about how many students?
So it varies with upper division. They cap it at like 58 students in the
That's
class.
still a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is a lot. So I'm learning how it all works. The most popular times are like in the middle of the day. Like, so there's a 12 o'clock and there's a 1:30. And those two classes that I have both have like 55 students in them. But then I have a 4:30 class. That's not a popular time. So I've learned now what I'm learning is that's the time you want to teach it.
Yeah.
And that has 25 students, and I have a Friday class that nobody like wants this time. It's only meets once a week for 3 hours on Friday, like
For 3 hours.
10:30 to 1:30.
It's like a
that's
show.
not
You
bad.
can do
yeah,
a podcast.
you should just come in and we should just podcast it. And that one only has 16 people in it. So,
But good use of your
They-
time.
yeah, I mean, and I like that one a lot. So it kind of evens out. So 2 really full and 2 kind of medium, which is a nice average. But they do kind of watch that thing though. They track it. So like you can't get away with teaching 4 little classes that you've
Unless
got
nobody wants them.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless
So
you're the
you
savior
gotta
that
pull your
comes
weight.
in, yeah.
But I told them I have no problem teaching those times. Give me a 4:30. I don't care.
Sure.
So, yeah. So just meeting the new students, and they haven't, the attendance is good in the beginning before it falls away. But so it's fun. This is always an exciting part of this. But I'm a little tired. It's like back to reality.
Yeah.
and There's a lot of prep, so it isn't just the lecturing; it's the getting ready for all of it. So it's a lot of reading and prepping, and it's like, wow, I'm back at a full-time job. so like, that's what happened to me. But I'm happy.
So no teaching at 8 a.m., huh?
No, they do. I don't do them.
No,
though. There's
hell
a
no.
7:30
No, that's dumb.
class,
That's dumb.
and there's those people out there that want it. Like they
Nope.
want that
Yeah.
class. I'm like, good.
We all know them.
So I don't
No,
have
I'm
much
not one of them.
seniority, but I was able to say, can we not ever do 7:30? And they were like, no, you don't have to. You're helping us out in the afternoon. So I said, great.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
Because you're the schmel that wants the ones that are like, who would ever
And-
teach that?
And guess how I got that? Because this semester, actually, they were 6 or 8 months ago. Because they're like a year ahead
Okay.
on the schedule. She said, I have some bad news. She's like, you are going to have to do a 7:30. And I was like, pretending I was like, oh, okay. I'm thinking, my God, and this is,
kill
I'm going to
you.
lose this job.
yeah, Lord in heaven.
Yeah.
And then she's like my supervisor person, Rebecca. And then about a month later, I was walking by and she's like, hey, Doug. And she said, come in. She goes, I have something that's going to make you do the happy dance. And I said, what? And just so glad for people out there. She's like, well, somebody has a 4:30 race and ethnicity class that, we know you've taught it before. And she said, they saw the 7:30 and they want your 7:30. She was like,
Oh.
and I said, what? And she was like, but then you'd have to take their 4:30. I was like, that is the best scenario in the world.
Yeah.
So it just works. So there's those people that
Good.
want it, and I know I kind of figured them out. They're the kind of people that want to be done by noon
Yeah.
or 2. Their keys in hand at 12:30. They're out of there. Good for them.
How many students take those classes, though?
Well, that's the thing.
I
Like,
can't even
who in their
imagine.
right mind in college takes a class at 7:30 in the morning?
And you
But
would always meet
Fucking
those people.
overachievers.
No, but you would
God.
always meet
Exactly.
those people and be like, what? So
Oh.
how long are you going to go before you drop it?
right.
Because it was always like the fourth, especially my friends, because my friends were all the,
Yeah.
the
Please,
wrong
I bet
kind
it was
of people.
every single one of the people that, they get there and they're fighting to sit in the front row so they can, like,
Right,
you
right,
know,
right.
shut up.
You, those 7:30
Fuck
a.m.
you.
front row people, you
Yes.
can spot them.
Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, Aaron would have been in that class.
Oh, there. And then
I mean,
there-
I love you
it's
so
funny,
much, honey, but
we
my
say there's
God.
faculty out there,
Yeah.
but there's students out there too that
Oh,
do
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Mine are the kind that roll in, at noon as they just woke up
Right.
at 11:45.
Those are called
So-
white people, yeah.
But I'm fine with that. So I'm very happy. It's great. It's great to be back. There's a lot of good energy. I love the beginning because
Do you start your class with like, "Hey, everybody, really great to be back again"?
I do.
You should. That's right.
Well, what I do because I'm very informal. So what? Because they don't, they're always looking at you when they haven't met you and you're brand new and you're getting everything ready. You don't say anything. So I always start very formal. So I start every class by saying, "Good afternoon," and they're all like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
formal." And then about 30 minutes later, they know what they've signed
Right,
up for.
yeah, they're
So,
like, oh, shit, here
not
we go.
formal at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
So I start that way, and then I let them know, we're going to be cool, and it's going to be informal, and we're
Yep.
going to have good discussions. And so I'm excited. They're excited because all of the stuff I hope we'll talk about tonight, so much is happening in
Yeah.
the news around what I teach that I had current events already for all 3 classes. I had something in the news that happened that applied to the class. So
Okay. Yeah.
it's going to be great.
Good.
Well,
Yeah.
alrighty then.
That is exciting.
That is.
Thanks.
Marina,
Um,
I mean, now that you're with us in this century.
but am I?
No, not really.
I fell asleep in my car.
Yeah.
Just a little bit ago.
Well, please clarify
Yeah.
where your car was at the time.
Oh, right near by your house.
Parked.
Right
He's
out-
looking for
right, we're
parked, yeah.
Parked is the
outside.
word I was looking
oh,
for.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, not driving.
I was near your house on the
Yeah,
expressway.
yeah.
No, not a good
Fast
scenario.
asleep, enjoying
I
a
just got very
good hour
This
of
cruise
Mario.
control is amazing.
It's a self-driving car. I made it one.
I whizzed right through the safety corridor.
Safety corridor.
But yeah, they're just working, and I've gotten quite a few things. So I need to relax a little bit on the Nextdoor app. I've realized.
Oh, that thing is driving
No,
me
no,
crazy.
the free stuff that people have.
Oh, right. Yeah, my neighbor.
Are we going
does
back
that.
to your outfit again?
Stop it.
Okay.
Take it
She
back.
said she paid cash for it.
Yeah, take it back. Yeah, it shouldn't have admitted.
All right,
that part.
I know less about this
Okay,
than I did about
so
the Backstreet Boys
so
conversation from earlier. So
So the Nextdoor app, Doug was talking about that a couple
Yep.
weeks ago.
Yep.
With that's where people put things on there. It's in different neighborhoods, and you can join. Like somebody would send you an invitation, kind of, to be part of it. It's a secret society.
No, you can sign up.
And I'm kidding. So they, and you can see on there, like if you hear a bunch of gunshots, right? You could.
It's a lot
just-
of
for
lost
instance,
cats and dogs.
Dogs, right? And different. This is going on in the neighborhood. Rather than having to post it up on.
It's a
community
really
board.
good thing in theory, and it's nationwide. It's you know,
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
everywhere. But we're seeing, as we talked about that, maybe you were gone when we talked about it, but what happens is it's all the good and good things about a neighborhood, and you're on it. You know,
I
so
am
you
on
really
it.
do see good. And I do like hearing. They have someone that they do the Phoenix Police Crime Report. They let us know every month what's happening, where it is, how far, how many of this, how many of that.
Right.
All of that's really good.
and you two are on the same app, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
we
and
are.
in the
Yeah.
same
There's
neighborhood.
one for this neighborhood,
Right.
But it includes the others. So it includes Bel Air and the one over there. You know,
But
all
you
the
can
little-
ramp down how much feed
Yep.
Yeah.
you're getting. You're getting a larger area of Phoenix, or you can really pine it down to your immediate area.
So in general, I like what it does there. The problem is that then, of course, anything that's on there, where all
You have
sanity
your
and
fourth
logic
people
goes to
down.
die is in a comment section on anything, and then you get it. And so for the crime stuff that's on there, I can't read it anymore. You get the because they do now the Phoenix Police Department, because they want to do transparency. They're called critical incidents.
Yes.
Anytime there's an officer involved shooting, either way, they shoot at someone or someone shoots at them or whatever, the police chief now sends that out to everybody and
Right.
to all that Nextdoor apps, and so you can read the ongoing thing, and they describe what happened. They were tasered, blah blah blah. Well, everybody wants to armchair, comment on that, so you get drowned in, thank you so much for the people in blue, and we love you, and that's great. It's a little too rah rah for me, but
Yeah, right.
all of that, thank you for keeping us safe, and blah blah blah, and then you get the other, how many more people are they going to shoot and kill in the alley before somebody stops them?
Sure.
And so you get the police criticizing. That just winds everybody up, and then you cannot believe. Well, you probably can.
Yeah.
So the girl the other day, this guy, did you read the one that he got tasered? And then he had a gun in his. He was fleeing, but he had a gun. Hopped the fence into someone's yard. They tasered him. He pulled a gun. They shot him. Okay, that's a terrible tragedy all the way around, and you should never pull a weapon on an officer.
Right.
You know what's going to happen to you.
Choices,
Right.
people.
Death by
Yeah,
gun.
But,
Right,
this,
choices.
but this is the part that I hated. Is of course a little Susie White, with her little profile pic is like, well, I think a lot of people are saying this is a tragedy, but thank you. The standards fare was all right, and then she says, well, that's good. It was interesting because the whole thing about Trump calling people dogs and animals and everything. She said,
I think that's only black people.
oh, okay. Well, this was a brown person. So,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
So I think it fits. But
Yep.
she said, well, I'm glad that they shot and killed him, because then that's one less mouth we'll have to feed in prison. Yeah, lovely. So that's
sure
what happens.
She's a
so
lovely
I
woman.
don't read those anymore.
Yeah,
you know.
that's one that you're like, don't need to know my neighbors that well.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And they'll do that. And so another girl was saying, the people stole my packages. It's been happening a lot in the neighborhood. Like they'll steal your FedEx delivery or whatever.
Yep.
And people were telling her, well, do this and try that. And then of course, by the fourth comment,
Yep.
well, you should buy from Joe
Hashtag
NRA.
thanks, Obama.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah,
Obama.
yeah.
This guy said, well, you should just buy a gun for protection. And I was thinking, oh, I don't like that, but that's okay. And then he ends it with, and then just shoot him.
Yeah.
Just shoot a package stealer.
More,
like,
Yeah.
more
wrong.
more often
a
than not,
punishment for
package.
crime.
Yeah.
More often than not, packages are stolen when you're not home.
Right.
Like you wouldn't be there to shoot said
Well,
person.
this guy was no
anyway.
genius, Clayton.
Well, no, I'm understanding that.
So,
I'm
but
understanding
that's
that.
gonna shit, and it gives me like anxiety and
Yeah.
high blood pressure, and I can't fucking handle.
I don't know
it,
if you
so.
saw the one.
when I read stupid shit
Unless
like
they're
that.
gonna shoot people that litter, and then I'm
Sure.
on board.
Well,
Well,
I don't
yes.
mind that.
And I haven't read the full thread, but
Mm-hmm.
but the gist of it from what from the little bit that I read was, people were bagging on a restaurant at 17th Avenue in Camelback because
Quan and Wok.
Quan Wok.
I love this
They-
story.
They wouldn't, if I'm not mistaken, they something about them not giving ice
Ice,
to
yeah.
people hot or whatever the deal was, but they
Right.
would give them water.
Right.
So everybody was up in arms about this whole thing. So somebody from the neighborhood app's like, I'm just going to go down there and investigate this myself.
I love this.
Because
I read this
why
last
do
night.
they not give out ice? Because they don't have enough money to fix their fucking ice machine.
That's broken.
They're giving out water. So
Yeah.
get off their fucking back.
Right. They're helping.
Help it, right. So in the thread, the guy's like, so the next time I'm thinking of going to eat, I'm going to go support them.
Yeah.
Because
That was
they
so
need
cool.
money to get their ice maker fixed.
And did
No.
you see the comments with all of the people thanking him? They're like, "Thank you for not
Yeah.
mouthing off. Thank
Right.
you for going." And evidently,
So-
this family's been there for like 17 years.
Oh, yeah, they've been there a
They're
long
like this
time.
nice fam. We should be eating there and
So-
supporting them.
And then the first thing I thought of was like, well, then just go fund me these people. Get them a fucking ice machine. Help them
Yeah.
out. They're
Yeah.
a staple. A staple.
good
And I
idea.
say that kind of freely because I've never been to
But
that
they
place.
are.
Sure,
But I'm like, they've been there forever.
They've been there
They're
for like
trying to make
17
it.
years.
And I'm sure
Yeah.
the light rail didn't help them all those years
No.
ago. So they
Right.
suffered through that.
Right.
And they're still standing.
Right.
Somebody needs to help them out, get them,
That-
fix their ice maker.
that is a great
In
idea.
fact, I don't know what's wrong with it. Maybe I should
You
stop by
should go
myself and be
fix
like,
it.
maybe it's a
Right.
plug. Maybe it's a little wire that's
yeah.
undone.
And
I don't know.
maybe they're stumped, and it could be really
Yeah.
easy.
Don't know. I just
And then they might give you some free food.
oh,
Ah.
and I'm sure it's great. And they're right next. There's
Yeah,
a
I would trading favors for food.
barter systems. They're a wonderful way to go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that. Was a nice.
So
thing
that's
that
a nice
happened
thing
there.
on that
Thank
on
you.
that app.
Thank
but there
you.
are a lot of other things. Like the
Yeah.
other night I was here and there were 2 gunshots 20 seconds
Oh,
apart.
yeah.
Come to find out they were not gunshots.
Right.
It was somebody shooting off fireworks
Yeah.
at 10:18 at night,
Really weird.
which was just an odd time, but it was 2 of them.
Gotta celebrate August.
But the odd thing was how large of an area that was heard in.
Yes.
So those must have
Yeah.
been big fireworks.
Yeah, a lot of people
Yeah.
heard it.
Right.
So why are you trying to stay off it?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's get back
Yeah,
to
sorry.
Marnie.
We
My
made
bad.
that all about us.
Barbara Walters, that
It's
shit.
all right. I like it. Do you want me to cry?
Nobody cried. Yeah.
No, they have different things like the for sale and
Oh, yeah, that's a
and,
big piece of
I
it.
love looking at the houses on there.
Yeah.
So I go on there just to different things that you can see, right? And so I won't read most of that shit that it- I
Yeah, all the
hardly
real
ever-
estate people are on there.
Yeah, and so like I'll go through and just kind of look at the houses and see what things are pricing and whatever.
What the inside looks like.
Right, totally, because
People
I'm a
do really cool
voyeur.
stuff,
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and the
But as a homeowner, I always want to know what everybody's house
I know.
Yeah,
costs.
then you should get on there.
and yeah, it's that part's pretty cool. But the other piece is that we yard sale here, or this is going on,
Here, I
or
have
that's
one right
going on, but they have things that are free giveaways, or like I just got, and when I say all new patio furniture, I mean like new patio furniture, new to me, but maybe a year old,
Okay.
for $200.
There you go.
2 chase lounges, the throw pillow stuff that comes with it, 4 chairs, 2 tables,
Holy crap.
2
Two
side
turtle
tables.
doves.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, like, so it's all of, and throw pillows alone
Okay.
are like a shit ton of money. I'm astounded. So for $200, somebody wants to get rid of it, and
Right.
so you look at it. If it's shitty, you're like, no, thank you.
And you didn't have to
whatever.
go very far because it was on a neighborhood app.
It was
so
right. So this was at like 20th Street
I
and
see the appeal
Missouri.
of that part.
Okay.
Went over there and just delightful people, and now I have stuff by the pool. Now I have stuff for like Thanksgiving, and I have nice sets. We have that other spot now next to where we usually eat, whatever, right outside there. So now I can have a little table there.
Oh, how nice.
So it's wonderful. But there's that for like $30, and again, you look and you're like, okay, do I need it? Because I've had a tendency of getting things I don't necessarily need.
Right.
Ask Aaron.
Most of them are animals.
Most of them are
One
animals.
of my big fears now
yeah.
is turning into a hoarder.
Well, and that that
You can freely walk through your house. You're not a
you're
hoarder.
fine.
Oh yeah, I'm nowhere
Yeah.
near it.
But I've had the same fear.
Yeah, but I'm like, oh my god, there's two
Well,
extra
The
magazines.
inclination is
There's two
Yeah.
extra
I'll
magazines.
see that show and just get up and vacuum because I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, him yeah. You know
Just being able to find something to vacuum should make you feel better.
Right.
Oh, it does. Yeah. Like
but
bare floor.
We have for $30 we and again, people's homes and like, is there something wrong with this?
Right.
Is whatever.
All I think of
Are
in
there
house
bugs?
is bed bugs. Yeah.
Right.
My
Are
next door
there
neighbor
bugs?
buys stuff on there all the time.
But see, I know
Teresa.
to like go and check it, like how to
Yeah.
look for that stuff. And so we have I don't want to say a sectional couch, but like one of the, no, hold on. I'm just saying.
I understand.
And, but it was, like it has the little thing at the end, so it can just be a regular couch, but then it has like a little ottoman that makes it a long
Yeah.
place to lay down, whatever, or lie down. So not sectional, but it looks kind of like one. $30.
And where,
Almost damn near brand new.
and where did this go?
It's in the room with like the dog room.
The den,
whatever.
the den room, or what? Yeah, off the kitchen.
So now, like, there's that, and there was a chair that I had that goes with the furniture in the living room,
Uh-huh.
and it was just kind of sitting off to the side. So I brought it in there, and now there's a little sitting room.
That's nice.
I mean, so it's that kind of stuff, but it really,
Well, you have lots of people over, so having places to sit is a good
right,
idea.
right. And I, for quite a while, didn't. So, yeah. So it's just kind of, but I really do need to kind of slow down, I think, on some of that.
Okay.
You know, another woman's treasure.
Yeah, right. Well,
But you-
I've got to
but-
tell you, there is this chair that I just got. See, here I go.
But you can't say. I mean, it's hard to say no to a good deal. It
Yeah.
really
That's
is.
the problem,
When you
right.
realize that something is $400 retail and you can get it for 30, 50, even $100, you're like,
Right.
that's a deal.
I went there was this gal who right down 32nd Street in Osborne was moving to go take care of her mom in Sun City. She didn't want to take everything. She was having some huge blowout kind of sale, and I read the thing on the Nextdoor app like the next day.
Her blowout sale.
No, but I
Sunday,
mean, like,
Sunday,
she-
Sunday.
right, She was
She has
like,
blue
we're
light
having.
specials. With the
She had a whole
thing.
thing. I went there, and what I saw, they had a corner desk kind of thing, like and it really was pretty cool. That was the one thing that I had looked at that I had kind of wanted.
Okay.
But then they also had this chair, and it was like this chase, god awful color of orange. I mean, this rust kind of, but from back in the day.
Burnt sienna.
Burnt sienna, and it's like this slow. It's awful, but my God, is it comfortable? and
Put a sheet over it.
totally. And you, it has like a vibrating, like you can plug this thing in.
Where is
Okay.
this going?
I know, no,
Right.
don't. It's not. Don't make this.
No wonder
don't
it's
make this
comfortable.
bad.
Don't twist my
Don't
words.
twist my words.
No.
Don't make this
Brave.
bad.
Everything's a vibrator.
No, don't
Does
make
that mean
this
you have
dirty.
to jiggle it,
Oh,
or
don't make this dirty. I love this chair. But yeah.
Plug it in. Plug it in.
plug it in?
Come on, Marg.
Plug in your chair.
Full throttle.
Come on, Marge. What the hell was that?
Take us to DEFCON 5
Right?
or Mach 5 or whatever it is.
I'm going to sit down now.
Let this chair rub one off.
Oh, now you made it dirty.
It's always been dirty.
It's always
Ah,
been dirty.
shit.
If it
If
Think
it
about it.
vibrates,
if it
it's
vibrated
dirty.
before, what do you think was happening on
Yeah.
that chair before you were the owner of it?
I've cleaned it. I'm not worried about it.
Sure.
Sure.
You
Not
can't
kidding.
get the sin out of it.
Yeah.
You need to have someone come over and
I don't know what to do.
burn
about
Sage
that.
sage it
Yeah.
down
Sage
or
it,
whatever
that's right.
people
It's a
do.
good
Have
Fair
a
point.
full-on fucking exorcism.
It's a fair point. Yeah. I knew I shouldn't have brought up the vibrating part. I oversold that. But it
was the
really
line.
was. $80 for all that.
I
And
feel that you're underselling it, actually.
But IKEA, so she had all this stuff from IKEA. Like, it still had the...
So she built it. That's good.
Not
You might have built
that. Shut up.
Vibrators sold separately.
But
Some assembly required.
They're gonna have that at IKEA now. Vibrating furniture.
It's from our eyes roll back in your head collection.
Our new vibrating furniture line.
The toe curler.
It's from the vulva collection. It's lovely. It's nice.
If you can sit here and not curl your toes, you're a stronger woman than I.
You know how rodeos are 7 seconds? How long do you have to ride your chair to win?
8 seconds.
That's a fair question.
Wow, we got there quick.
Well,
Tonight.
It's a good chair.
With a whole day left.
Oh, wow. Oh, be afraid.
Oh, and now Meowcal's over on the YouTube trying to
I'm
convince people to
afraid,
switch
afraid.
over.
Slow your roll, meow.
Oh,
Now,
how fun.
there's a debate in the. Now, Joe has brought up a debate apparently in the old chat room with regards to welcome back Doug Cat because Doug is here in place of Cat Carlson.
Right.
So now Meowcal is on the.
Dat or Cug?
Do we do we call him Dat
Getting me out.
or Cug?
I kind of like both.
Yeah, I honestly didn't look up and read that. I
Yeah.
thought, do we call him Cat or Doug? I'm like, you should call him by whatever name is sitting there. Even I can figure that out.
That's an interesting question, Meow Cal. I don't know yet.
Whatever
I like
mess
both.
Marty's got going.
Cow. I would browse it. Well, that's it.
I love it.
Cug or cow? Cug. Like
Huh?
Doug.
Yeah, I wouldn't-
Dat.
yeah.
Cug.
But
But
Dat
no,
is-
I like
I like
both.
Dat better.
But
Yeah.
does he become Darny when...
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What will I be if I when
What
I
will
sub
you
for
be
Marty, and what
then?
will I be when I sub for
Dun, dun,
Al?
dun.
Dal.
Dal.
Missy,
Dal.
Dal
Missy.
and
No,
Val,
I want to
brother
be
and
Missy.
sister.
Or you could be Dissy.
Dissy. I
Dissy.
could be Dissy.
That's funny. But I do like Dal and Val.
Dal and Val.
They're the twins.
Yeah.
That really is fun.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm gonna give it that.
No, thank you.
The cleaning powers of Pepsi. Oh, I thought that said to clean my ass.
Well, hey,
Well,
whatever it takes.
Hey, according to me,
if I wanted it
That's
to be sweeter, so I put Pepsi all over
What flavor do you like,
it.
honey?
Yeah, it was already sticky, so we might as well
and
make
fizzy
it sweeter.
too.
Sticky
Clayton,
and
do
sweet.
you ever use Pepsi on a
Okay.
battery?
I do
Ass
not.
battery?
No.
Well,
Okay.
Actually, I didn't
If-
know if Pepsi could do it. I knew Coca-Cola could do it, but I don't know.
There is something different about the Coke, because Coca-Cola,
The cola.
the actual Coca-Cola, the real stuff, they used to use the actual Coke syrup that you get to mix with carbonated water and make a thing. It was, my mom used to bring it home. They had it in the hospital for nausea. You would give
Oh,
Coke syrup as like an elixir to stop
like
nausea.
Ipecac kind of. Oh no, to stop it. Okay.
To stop nausea, to coat the stomach. And so it was, pregnant women often have nausea. So my mom always had it in the, she had all her little cures and
Sure,
cures
sure.
and potions section of the refrigerator for hangovers.
Right.
Did one say this shuts Al up?
Oh yeah, that was the enemas. That was turns out it was compazine enemas that she had.
Oh,
She had all
Compazine.
these
Good
medicines
Lord.
for nausea.
Uh-huh.
Well, compazine has a side effect of knocking your ass
Ow.
out.
All right.
Okay.
Like the side effect is sleepiness.
Yeah.
So she'd always, if you were like vomiting or not feeling well, she always had her compazine enemas, and she'd be like, go in the bathroom and give yourself one of these, and you would just sleep it. Your hangover was gone. You just slept it off.
Oh. Okay.
But she also had Coke syrup for the days you had to function too.
Sure.
Now, these weren't back in the days when Coke actually had Coke in it.
No, I'm not that old.
Oh, no, I
that's
understand.
turn
That's
of
the kind I
century
would
shit.
want to
Oh,
try.
no, but I know.
Battle.
But I didn't think that. But I thought maybe she had some sort of a line to get some good stuff.
No, but they.
She was a nurse, for God's sake.
Yeah,
Right,
I mean,
right.
They have the
that's-
best drugs.
Yeah, I would say that's so long ago, but
Like in the
you
1800s.
still use cocaine to stop bleeding. Like they still use it in the hospitals. It stops
Yeah.
bleeding. Like there's different uses for it that you're like, okay.
Well,
Yeah, you never know.
whatever gets
I
you there.
never. Now I'm
Right?
curious about this Pepsi to clean any mess because isn't it sticky? and Doesn't it make it?
Well, I
worse?
think they're using it like Coca-Cola because battery
Ah.
terminals, pennies, all that stuff.
The acids in it
The
will do a
acids
lot.
in it, yeah.
But again, I don't know that, and then maybe I'm wrong because I've not done a lot of research on this, but I don't know if Pepsi has the same makeup as Coca-Cola does for
Yeah.
the same purpose.
But I
But it might
know that-
Not from the look on people's faces when you're out for dinner, and they're like, "I'll have a Coke," and they say Pepsi. No, I said I'll have a Coke. Did I stutter? But I mean, people get very upset about that.
Because sometimes they only carry
Diet
Pepsi.
Pepsi, right? You
No,
know.
no, no. But as far as like I know if you pour Coca-Cola on it.
kidding.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
I just wondered. The reason I'm
Some people
asking
take
you
soda very
and not
seriously.
them.
Because I have a lot more interaction with battery terminals.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I wondered if that is like a bullshit thing that people say,
No, it's
or
not.
is it
No,
like
it's
a real
legitimate.
thing?
Legitimate.
Okay, just checking on the legit.
The acidity in it will, and also, if I'm not mistaken, it's it also works for hard water deposits in like toilets and things too. It can also
Will
do
it
that.
work on the stopper on my shower? That every 6 months, you know, the thing you lift it up and it makes it go from the bath to the shower
Yeah.
thing. It's
called a
always
diverter.
The diverter. Thank you.
Because it's diverting water
thank
from what.
God.
There,
Well, I
you're
like it.
welcome.
I learn something new every day.
Yeah.
pour some Coca-Cola on that.
I
motherfucker.
seriously, that's the
I just get
that's the
CLR.
one when I told you I don't know where to get where can I get CLR and you told me go to Ace.
You can go to Ace.
I had to do it for that, and it literally every 6 months it's like back again.
Same thing as in mine.
So
Same exact thing.
Coke or
I would-
Dat
I
or
would-
Dat.
Dat.
That's that.
Coke or Dat.
Just
I
or
would
dat.
use
Okay.
CLR or
Yes or dat?
Try Coca-Cola first as a science experiment.
yeah. See how that
No,
works
I'm
out.
gonna try it. Okay.
No, you should.
All right.
Yeah.
There's no reason
That's
not
the
to.
science portion of the show.
Another thing that we'll do, depending on what kind of access you've got for it, WD-40 will also do a good job
Okay.
of that too.
I love
Helps
it,
to
Meow.
dissolve the calcium.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that. The CLR works too, but
Meow's letting
Okay.
us know that he's just trying to get us some sponsorship.
Oh, I have
You
a
know,
I have a topic
shameless
about that
advertising. I
coming
do
up
love that.
actually.
And like my grandfather used to collect pennies, and I feel like you dip
Meow
them in
cow.
like clean them in Coca-Cola.
Fantastic.
I put them in
saying it
CLR.
because of your shirt, and I missed that.
And I say
so-
CLR. It's the
I
Home
did too.
Depot
I was
version.
like, okay,
No, I love it. Oh, for God's sake.
he's new.
He.
Okay.
I do
I
appreciate the
forgot.
whisper, though. That's the part that was my favorite.
That'll be our new- that'll be our
Don't
new
tell
game.
me Al Cal I said.
Yeah.
Yeah. We won't tell her.
Thank God you weren't near a microphone.
yeah.
I'm just kidding,
He'll
Meow.
never hear that whisper ever.
Ever.
So
Stop.
supple.
I dropped my
You all
pen.
right there,
I
Clayton?
dropped my pen. I'm sorry,
Okay.
terribly. Stay in frame. I'm terribly sorry.
Coke or Dat is the answer. What is cat?
Coke or dad. The answer's cat.
Tonight
It's-
brought to you by
Dr. Seuss.
the fine
Yeah,
friends
right.
at Dr. Seuss Publishing.
It's fantastic.
My gosh. So have we got to you and what you've been
No,
doing?
not
Al,
yet.
what have
Just,
you been doing?
just work, and then the update on the great doctor adventure.
Yes,
is,
but that's good news.
yeah, good news.
Yeah,
So,
you did find out good news?
Yeah, Monday they called prompt. This place is.
They found his
efficient.
heart,
These
too.
people should be in charge. No, not yet.
Oh,
Not
I
yet,
thought
but
they
I like
did.
your
We're still
optimism.
searching.
This place needs to be run in the federal government or the mail postal system because just quick and efficient.
Really?
Like
Okay.
9:01 a.m. on Monday, they were on the phone. Like,
Nice.
we have your results. Please call us back.
Okay.
And so I was like thinking, they're gonna bring me in, and like we're
Sure.
gonna have to go through this whole ordeal and go through 4 appointments. They're like, nope, non-life-threatening basal cell carcinoma. We have a procedure called moles. If you want to schedule it, it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Can you do it now, or do you want to look at a calendar? And I was like,
Wow.
okay. I'm like, well, I'm driving home from
Mm-hmm.
a breakfast meeting, so it'll be like 10 minutes, and I'll call you back.
Yeah.
I'm like, or do you have tomorrow available since you're this quick,
Right.
dry, and efficient?
Yeah.
Like, I'm off tomorrow. Are you free?
Sure.
And they were like, no,
Wow.
but so it's scheduled, and they offered one answer, and then I went home and like Googled all the different things that you could do, and it was the one that made the most sense to me too.
Okay.
So could be a 1 hour day to an 8 hour day, and it's just cut,
Any kind of
test,
recovery
cut,
kind of
test.
thing or no?
You don't know, so you don't know how long you're going to be there. They'll tell you as they're chopping away, and they just
Sure.
cut down so there's no more cancer. They
Yep.
test the skin, they cut it off, test it. If there's still
Yep.
cancer cells, and they come back and cut some more. If they don't,
That's what
It's
my
just-
neighbor across the street went through the exact
Okay.
same thing.
yeah.
Okay.
So the odd thing is, it's not on all the body parts that they list. The chest is not on there. Like,
Oh.
and there's not that many body parts to list,
Yeah,
so
right.
it's just kind of weird. It's in an odd place.
Okay.
But
So this is a local. I'm guessing this is not a general.
oh yeah, no, I'm not going to general surgery.
Okay. Right.
It
So
could
it's
turn
a,
it could turn into like a more advanced where they would have to do like grafts and stuff, depending on like what it is. So now it's just, but it's not anything that's like spreading to my lungs or
Okay.
like, you know what I
Good.
mean, going to any
and,
systems.
and I forget if you responded to me or not in the text. Is this something you need somebody to take you?
Well, my friend has volunteered. we had a conversation about, because after you said like, were you in, like, why don't they say anything?
Yeah.
This place is just like bam, 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 bam. They're my kind of people.
They move it.
Yeah, they're just moving it along. And I was like, I had a couple questions, but I think I was just so like dumbfounded that I didn't think to ask him. She's like, whatever your next appointment is, I'm coming with you, and I'll be there for like
good.
questions and like
Oh,
things.
okay,
like that.
good.
So that was also thinking, like,
Write
well, if it
them
goes
down.
wrong, I'm going to have an
Yeah.
intensivist with me. So if they accidentally kill me, she can bring me back to life because she runs
Sure,
she's
sure.
the doctor for the code team at the hospital. So.
Well,
I
cool.
learned that you write it like now, like you think of it like tonight at midnight.
Oh, you write it down, yeah.
Because I would be driving home from those appointments and not
Yes.
10 minutes on the way home. I'm like, God damn it, I
yeah.
didn't ask.
Right, didn't I
Because you
do
get in
this?
there and you
Yep.
get all flustered and you're all, the doctor's going so fast and you get home and I'm like, God, there are all these things I should have asked.
Yeah.
So I
Didn't
learned
you
to
say
just write them down.
it's next Tuesday you're doing it?
The Tuesday after, so 2 weeks from today.
Oh, they're that far booked out.
I mean,
Wow.
it was just the first Tuesday I came up with. Like,
yeah.
And what time is your appointment?
Oh, it's early. It's 8 a.m. In case they do have to, because
Do
I
more.
did. Yeah, I did watch the video and like how it all goes down. And,
Oh.
if it's on your lip, there's only so far they're gonna cut.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
You're gonna run on a lip soon.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So here you've got like the whole width of my body. This could go back. So
Jeez.
I was like, how about I come in early in case it turns into 8 hours, so we're not all there overnight. And she was
So
like,
you'll
that's nice.
So 2 weeks from today you'll not be in the show.
I would assume no.
Sure.
But I
The
will
day
be.
after, yeah, the day
Yeah,
after.
Doug
Labor
will
Day.
be here.
So there you go.
You'll be Dal that
There
day.
I'll be Dal
There
Cat.
goes that day.
There's
out.
that-
So I mean, it was.
Not Dal Cat, just Dal.
Just Dal? Oh,
Just
okay.
Dal.
But
Oh,
there
that's
was
right.
no
Cat will
like
be here.
sitting around waiting for results.
It'll
or
get
wondering
too
if they were
confusing.
I
gonna
would assume
call,
with what
like-
they're dealing with, they realize that time is of the essence. They don't want it to, regardless, they don't want it to spread any more
Oh, but
further.
almost anywhere wants you to come in and hold your hand
Yeah.
and tell you the news in person. And this was like, this is, and she was, I mean, it was rapid fire. The whole conversation was like 35 seconds. And I was like,
I love that.
okay.
Yeah.
And I do
Good.
too. And
But-
then I went home and was able to like, she told me the name of the procedure. I Googled it. I watched it on different parts of the body and saw what they had to say. I was like, okay, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like,
Right.
don't just start cutting into stuff.
It's a
without
scrape and
plan.
check.
Yeah.
Right.
We just
So
keep
there you
going
go.
until the check comes back good.
So that was, I mean, that was the exciting news. It's back to school time, so there's people at work that are passing around the plague, of course, because everybody caught something from their kids who went to school with other kids.
Right.
So
Another reason I'm glad I don't
Yeah.
have children.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Or work around
Right.
people who do.
Children.
Right.
So
No, it's
segueing into
true.
your segment, so I just had to sleep on Sunday. Like it was one of those
Oh,
things
that's
where,
understandable.
yeah, like I knew, I think Saturday afternoon or Saturday night, like I cannot set a time to get up on Sunday. Like I need to sleep and rest and
But that's so
fight
good.
this cold.
Were you able
Sure.
to sleep?
Yeah, and it was wonderful. I had a good rest on Sunday because there's a cold going around at work that I was like sneezing and like kind of achy, and I'm like, I just got to put this fucker to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take all the Advil in the world, and
Sure.
Sure.
woke up on Monday and felt pretty good. Like
Well, and that's all that matters.
That's
so, I was
exactly right.
unable to join Clayton for what he did this week.
Right. Go. My Sunday was occupied with, I don't know if we've been talking about it or not. There is a local event that's similar to the whole Dancing with the Bars on TV thing. It was originally called Dancing with the Stars. It was originally locally called Dancing with the Bars. They then changed the name, though the charity's always been the same. They had to change the name because corporate sponsorship will not. They don't like to get involved with things that have bars or in the name. So they changed it to the name of the charity, which is the 1 in 10, which is the youth charity around locally that is for LGBTQ, LMNOP youth that need things like education or housing or counseling or just anything. It's a great resource center. They have all kinds of, they have computers and workrooms and stuff. So, if you can't you can't do it at home or you don't have the money to go somewhere else or whatever, you can go there. It's a very supportive area for a bunch of the youth. And so it's called Dancing for 1 in 10. A group of, they call them local celebrities because people that are in the community are nominated or just volunteer themselves to, they're novices.
Or voluntold,
They're-
that's
or
possible.
voluntold.
Yeah,
They're,
right.
they are paired up with a professional dancer, meaning like a ballroom dancer or pole dancing so far has not been brought into the
That's,
to the
that's
mix.
next
But
year.
fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Fingers
yeah,
crossed.
right.
Right.
That's a different charity.
So there were originally was there 11? I think there was 11 originally. One had to drop out, but there were 10 people, 10 pairs, 10 groups. of people who have been rehearsing for the past couple months. And in conjunction with the rehearsals, they do fundraising. So they do multiple events at all over various bars, restaurants, wherever they go. So they all raise money for the charity in addition to the dance competition. So the competition is threefold. You get a People's Choice winner, you get an overall winner, and then you get like a fundraising winner. So there's, not virtually, yes, there are losers. Yes, I get that. But
Of course there are.
but there's so much crazy money
Doesn't everyone get a
they're
medal?
helping with. So this year, the fundraising winner is a lady that I've known for many years named Letitia Fry. You may know Letitia for some reason. I feel like you may know her.
Yeah.
Letitia Fry single-handedly raised $30,000
Wow.
herself.
The
The most
How did
any
she-
individual person
Oh
has
my
ever
God.
raised. And with that,
Is it just at the event they raised
no.
it?
They have a few months to do
I
this.
was
All
gonna
of
say,
it. Yeah.
Wow.
Still.
So-
Still, that's amazing.
So, but the top four couples, if I believe I'm correct on this, the top four couples collectively raised over $75,000.
So they broke $100,000.
They were at 100. If I'm not mistaken, 110,000 was the last number I heard,
That
and
is
that wasn't everything.
fantastic.
That was still adding monies from
Seriously.
the liquor sales, the
Yay.
ticket
Your own
sales,
goddamn bell.
This
all
is
the-
my bell. That's your bell under there.
all the different things.
No,
so,
that one.
So while there,
Fantastic.
Sorry.
So while there, the winner of the overall winner was Oscar Salas. Oscar Salas is. I have my bell here.
Oh, please go to the picture.
So Oscar Salas and his partner, which I'm going to say this name. I hope I'm going to say it right. Jacody is his name. They were overall winner. Here is Oscar is in the white shirt, and Jacody is his
Nice.
professional dance trainer in the black shirt.
A handsome fella.
Love it.
It was astounding.
great?
It was. They could, as my mom said when she talked to them, they can dance.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh, I love it.
It was
Wow.
great. It was one of those things where they're flipping around and the person falls back into the palm of somebody's hands and they do a back lean, and you just weren't sure if they were going to drop each other or not. But it
Oh,
was
very exciting.
on. They did a great
Nice.
job. So overall winner was Oscar Salas and Jacody right there.
Oh, it's
Like
Solis, isn't it? I was always
Solis, S-O-L-I-S, Solis,
I would hope
Solis, Solis. I'm not really sure. But anyway, adorable. He represented Charlie's here, a local bar here in town. So it was him that did that. Now, I was there. Fortunately, I was able to be
Are
there.
you a local celebrity?
Of course I was, because here's a picture of my mother and
He's a
I.
judge.
That is a great
There's
picture.
a picture of my mother and I
Oh,
there.
that's where the picture came from.
That is exactly right.
I
That was this
love it.
last
I saw it
Sunday.
on Facebook.
Mom and I were at the Tempe Center for the Arts on
You look
beautiful
beautiful,
Tempe Town
Mom
Lake.
and I.
And such a beautiful venue, too.
No, it's a great
Yeah.
venue, really is, really, and it's wonderful to be backstage and run around and see. They have facilities for everything. It's so nice to have to be in a place to do an event that has everything. That like you're not cramped for space. Every dressing room has its own private bathroom. Like everything,
legit-
it's a
legit
great,
theater,
it's a
yeah.
great
Sure.
facility. Also,
Not like a tent for drag
no,
in the bar,
not at all.
in the
That's weird.
parking lot.
Also, and I don't know if it's somebody said it was connected to, and don't quote me, I may be incorrect on this, because Tempe Center for the Arts was built during the time Neil Giuliano was holding office in Tempe, or was connected to it somehow. I'm not sure how that was all connected.
I think it was part of his push for,
yeah.
yeah.
Tempe Center for the Arts, for charities like this, for the facility they offer, is the lowest priced in the
great.
entire valley of any place.
Wow.
Mesa Center for the Arts wanted like $3,000 or $5,000.
Yeah, of course they do.
Tempe Center for the Arts does all for this huge event that's all day.
I mean,
That makes me just want to go support them.
$1,000, and they provide the full crew.
There you go.
Oh,
You've got lighting,
wow.
production, you've got backstage crew,
That's
you've got everything you
amazing.
need
And
to
the-
legitimately pull off an event like it should be done. But it was great. It was really,
and
really, really
the
good.
only, I mean, God bless them, but I think they're trying to get themselves on the map too, because they don't get the names that like
Oh.
the Mesa Center, the Chandler Center have.
Right.
Yeah.
Like because they're a latecomer to the Center for
to the
Arts.
venues, right?
But what a great
Yeah.
way
But
to
it's a
get your name out
beautiful-
there.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful thing when you walk out. There's an
'Cause
area,
I love that venue, and I always want to check out and like hope they're getting something.
And that
Right.
means
good
it didn't
there.
have
and there's
to.
like 4 theaters in there, 2 or
Yeah.
3, or maybe 3.
And I'm sorry.
No,
it
but
just
there's-
meant the money doesn't come out of the charity then. Like 1
No.
in 10 gets to keep more money, right?
Right,
when
they get
do
to
it
keep
that
more
way.
money,
That's
but
a-
they
that's
get
a
to
win.
they get to do an event where it needs to be done.
Right.
Full facilities, everybody's
Yeah.
got restrooms and there's elevators and there's
That's
plenty
fantastic.
of seating and there's 3 tiers of seating. There's a box office, like it's full service.
Yeah.
And it's really great that they do that. Now, granted, you cannot have a facility like that and charge nothing. There's
Yeah.
just
Right.
You've got to
Oh, yeah.
pay people to be there, open the
The
doors, and
AC
ushers and
and-
the AC.
And people buy
all that.
tickets, right? Like you
Yes,
buy,
they buy tickets,
so
and
you
that
buy
also
tickets
is
to it, so that goes towards
right towards the charity.
towards the yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
Or
wondering,
the
like,
cost.
but does some of it go towards the?
That I don't know what the breakout is for that.
Yeah.
I'm not
but
really
even
sure.
at any level, they have everybody's got to make some money, make a living.
Yeah.
But to the point of what we were talking, and Meow Cow was saying about regarding getting Pepsi as a sponsor for us.
Yes.
You may remember many years ago, our friend was in the studio where we used to be. Sean Nerdahl
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
was in with
Yep.
us, and he, if I'm not mistaken, he sat next to Katie while she
He
was
did.
with us.
That's right.
Sean Nerdahl and I, and here's Sean and his husband Robert.
Oh, what a great
Uh,
picture.
Sean and I, actually, for full name, it's Sean Lopez Nerdahl and Robert Lopez Nerdahl. Sean is in the white shirt. Sean owns a studio out in Tempe called Arizona Ballroom Champions out here in Tempe, Arizona. I sat next to him. He was one of the judges. We had a great time.
Oh, how neat.
But Sean Nerdahl said to me during one
Lopez.
of our breaks, he said, he goes, hey, whenever you've got time, I want to talk to you about the show. And I'm like, okay. Come to find out, the two of them listen religiously
Yeah, they
all
do.
the time.
Yeah.
Even
he
Robert
always
came
comments.
up,
It makes me laugh. It's so fun.
came up and talked to me about
Yeah.
this. Sean wants to get he's trying to figure out a way to get some sort of sponsorship or something else to the show. He goes, I want more people to hear your show.
fun.
Thank you, Sean and
Thank
Robert.
you,
That's
Sean.
very kind of
Yeah.
you.
Very
But-
cool.
I mean, I don't know if you can dance to us, but, you can always try.
But one of the things,
We could move the stuff from the table.
Yeah.
one
Oh
of
my
the-
God, that would be hot.
one of
Said
the-
cha 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 to the
one
end
of the things
everything.
that Sean
saying.
said that I appreciate more about something that we've all talked about with the show. Yes, we are left leaning. Yes, we are a gay show, but
Sort of.
unlike most every other podcast that I've ever heard on a gay network that are boring as fuck, we talk about everything.
Yeah.
It's not one thing. We're not trying to drive a
Right.
point home about you've got to accept,
Yeah.
you've got to accept, you've got to accept
No.
your people. It's general conversation.
You know-
just like you're sitting at brunch with a bunch of
That's
friends.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that that's what they're taking from it. Is this just like it's just a talk show.
Yep.
You know,
And
I
didn't-
love that, Clayton.
Just chatting.
But
It's
didn't he
exactly
help-
right.
Didn't he help us get the trophy? Wasn't he?
Yeah,
Katie
he
June's
was
partner?
Katie Jones' partner.
He was Katie June's partner.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want
Yeah,
to.
So
we had
he
the partner
won
game.
for us. Wasn't that under
Yeah.
our name? Weren't we the organization that she competed under?
I think Q Talk was part of. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
because
But-
she didn't work for a bar.
I know. No,
No.
she didn't.
And
That's
she
right.
wasn't
yeah.
sponsoring a disease, as
right.
far as
and
I
we
know.
had the mirror ball in here for a
Well,
while, and then
she
a year
might
later.
have been. It might have been Nantucket.
I want to validate what you said just now, Clayton. Too, like the last times I've been on the show in this last couple of months, and also listening. One thing I've really enjoyed about being on it is that we will go sometimes whole shows and we don't talk about anything that's necessarily a gay topic or
No.
thing. And I mean, sometimes it comes up and sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
But that's what I think is so great about this particular show.
I agree. That's why it was
love
kind of
that it's-
my whole. And
Yeah.
originally, before when we started, I wanted absolutely nothing on this show to have anything to do with
Political.
politics.
Yeah.
Until it did.
Until it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Until
Absolutely.
reality hit
But
you in
then
the
he
face.
invited Marnie,
Yeah.
Gal, and Barney. What's
yeah,
his name?
Buddy.
Buddy Hurley.
Yeah, Barney.
And it was
yeah.
either going to be about movies
Yeah.
or politics.
Politics, yeah.
Well,
or dogs.
Yeah, well,
Between
and
Buddy
when
and
the,
you.
But
when the
it-
first
it
thing that
only
came
comes
up,
in
when the
sometimes.
first thing that was said, because I knew we could say a swear word was Jan Brewer is a cunt.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, really, it was
Sets a
right
tone.
there. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, oops,
Still,
sorry.
still is.
and,
Yeah.
and basically, I think Clayton at that point did one of these. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we started in an election year.
Yeah,
What we
2012.
did was a big election.
When we started,
Yeah.
2012 was an election year, and I didn't think
Yeah.
that for we started in April, and then
Yep.
there it
Yeah,
was.
we got right in. 'Tis the season.
Oh,
Well,
by
and
the
when
way,
we-
speaking
the
of when-
Michelle Bachmans of the world at the time, my God.
By
how
the
do
way,
you not?
speaking of when we started, I just did I was setting up the events for the next several weeks. Our 300th show
Oh wow,
is coming in, I believe, mid-August.
300. Okay.
Our
No,
300th
this is
show.
mid-August.
it is mid.
Oh, no, I'm saying October is what I meant.
Thank God.
Mid-October.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
is our 300th show.
I thought that was
Wow.
already 300.
No.
No,
What's-
they-
what
We
they're
started
just
tonight?
because of
We
the way.
tonight is 355. We started
We're
at
at
63.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We did not start
Got
at
it.
0. We started
all
at
right.
1. We started at 63.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, so show.
I was told
show
math wouldn't be part of
360.
it.
Show 362 will be our 300th
That's the page
show.
of the contract we all go
That's
back
right,
to.
yeah.
I don't care if you're paying.
Yeah.
Just something I have to add or
Yeah.
subtract.
Yeah, no. I keep that part up.
Oh,
Just nod
okay.
and smile. Yeah,
Good.
it's fine. Yeah. No.
So not that we're doing anything special or not, but I'm just the thought of, wow, we've done
Yeah.
300 of these
That's
goddamn things.
awesome.
I got champagne at home I can bring in.
Yeah.
You got a what?
I got champagne at home I can bring
Oh,
in.
sure. Maybe we could have
I got sweet champagne.
maybe we could make something in maybe a crock pot that you enjoy.
A crock pot.
Oh, I got a
like
crock
it.
pot at work I can steal.
Well, I have a crock pot
So-
here at home.
I have a crock pot.
I have a
too.
crock
there we
pot
go.
as well.
We'll have a potluck.
Maybe I'll
I mean,
come
I
have
have a single
crock
gal.
pot.
a
Look.
crock pot.
We're
Look.
having a crock
No, mine's the big
pot.
girl.
Look.
Maybe I can make cheese dip.
Oh, there
We
you
enjoy
go.
the cheese
I'll
dip.
make meatballs
Okay,
again.
look at
Oh,
so
I
we have
enjoy-
okay,
Remember?
appetizers, and now you, sir.
Well, I have a single girl potluck, so I'm going to bring one piece of chicken cooked lovingly over several hours.
Because I could make a dessert in a crock pot, I bet.
Sure.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
I don't want to
Actually,
say how to live your life, but I think you can melt chocolate,
So,
motherfucker, and we can dip shit
speaking
in it.
of that,
Maybe that's all of it.
my friend Ricardo,
Yeah.
he likes to attempt and try cooking different things. And he did. He made a cheesecake in a crock pot.
Oh, that
Oh,
sounds
nice.
good.
And then forgot.
Oh.
No, wait. But then he forgot that he'd made it in a crock pot. So what happened was, like, the outside was cooling, but the inside hadn't got cool yet.
Oh no.
So he turned it over, and then he's like, why won't this hold together? I don't know why it won't hold together. So he then put it back in the crock pot, thinking it had to cook longer.
Yeah.
And then he realized way too late, once he'd overcooked it, it needed to cool.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's trying new things. He likes.
Trying new things.
Okay, who just changed their name to Crockpot in the chat room? Is that Meow Cow?
I'm gonna bet Meow Cow.
I'm gonna bet it's Meow Cow.
It's good
Yeah.
to have goals. But I want to know
Fantastic.
how
Slow
much
cooker.
how
Oh,
much liquor was
that's me.
consumed when he flipped over the crock.
Yeah.
Did he flip over
Speaking
the?
of,
How, like, I want to see the video of him,
I don't know.
like how he got it out and then back in. And
Oddly,
then,
oddly, he
at
does.
some point, you're just juggling yogurt.
He's
Yeah,
only
right,
he's only
right.
sharing bits of the story and not giving me the whole picture at this
Oh,
point.
yeah.
Yeah,
We're gonna
It's
need the whole
fantastic.
picture.
I'm gonna,
Yeah. I'm gonna need more information.
we're gonna need a special
Yeah.
locker for that hat.
Yeah. We're gonna need a bigger boat.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
And I don't know if he said Joe was helped by one
God
and
damn
10
it, I'm
back
too obvious.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I totally forgot that. That
when
is
he was
exactly
a little
right.
gay youth back in the day.
And there were
They-
actually, and there's several. Nevaeh McKenzie, local
Yeah,
drag performer who I've worked with for many years, also was from the 1 in 10 program.
Okay.
I actually ran into there were other people that I found at work, and I had no idea that they were. And then like Stacey J. Cavalier is
Yeah.
one that I've known for many years. But when I go back to it, Stacey, who is probably in his early 30s at this point, when
Oh, I like your outfit. Aren't you sweet?
or maybe he's in his mid 30s. He's not 40 yet.
Who's that?
Stacey J.
Stacey J.
Because Stacey J. When I first got,
She's been around a minute.
she's not 40.
No, by maybe. I
don't
don't
know.
think so. I don't think so.
Regardless.
Probably mid-30s.
Regardless, the point of the story was when I first got to this city, and they were still before it was 1 in 10. Were they called Valley
1 in 10.
1 in 10?
Yeah.
It was, and they were a much smaller organization. He was always part of the kids who would show up on a Saturday morning at the local bars, and they would do car washes to raise money. And he wasn't, if I'm not mistaken, maybe I am wrong on this, but I mean, because I was 23, 24. Stacey wasn't able to be in the bar yet. He was still in
Right.
his teens.
Yeah.
So Stacey was the coordinator of all of it. And I'm like, so I've known Stacey since he was in, I don't know, like 18, 19. And all of the other kids that were there. And I don't know, maybe I do know them now and I don't realize it.
Right.
Because that's too far back and I don't
Oh,
remember.
sure,
But
yeah.
they were always such hardworking kids that they would get up and they would be at that bar at 8 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
And they would do car wash after car wash to raise money for
39.
what? He's
Yeah,
39.
I was gonna. Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Okay, so he's 10 years younger.
Yeah.
So wow.
Yep.
Wow. So that would have put
Yeah,
him
because
in
I
the-
was like
15,
30
16 then.
at Hamburger Mary's, and I thought he was.
So that would have
just
put him
coming of age,
15,
yeah.
16 years old when I was in my mid 20s. Wow.
I just know that if I knew you at the bar, it's been 12 years since I worked at the bar. You're not you're older, and I knew Stacy for a long, like I knew him for a long time.
There's no math in this show.
Yeah.
Right.
But I can get like, there's nobody that I know from the bar that's not in their late 30s now. Like, there's no early
Right,
30s
right,
from
right.
those people because
Yeah.
they weren't drinking there when they were 10. We weren't that bad with carding people.
Close.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I'm not saying they're not 12.
Yeah. Right.
I volunteered for 1 in 10 back in the day. Like
Oh.
2004.
I accidentally dated somebody
Yeah.
from 1 in 10. Does that count?
When they were
We'll get back to you on that for
When
just
they
hold
were
that for a
going
minute.
through their-
Statute of limitations is out. I'm not sure, but let's go back to you
when they
volunteering.
were going through their transitioning into becoming a bigger entity and 1 in 10, my friend David Cannell, who this is a really cool program. At the time, he worked for Wells Fargo, and Wells Fargo would do a thing. You had to write a proposal, and only a few people got it. if you worked there and he worked in upper bank management, whatever, you do a proposal to become what's called a loaned executive, and they loan you out, but they pay you your salary for like 8 months to a year
Right.
to places that could never afford somebody like you to go help them to do capacity building. And so he applied to Wells Fargo, said, I want to help 1 in 10 grow. And so they picked him and he did it. And so while that was happening, he asked me, because I was recovering from my illness at the time, and so I had some free time. I was in good shape. I had a lot of free time, and he said they need help like rewriting. There's someone going to redesign the website, but the content needs to be really like cleaned up and whatever. So I rewrote everything on their website and kind of like jazzed it up and fixed it, and it was so cool. I did. I put jazz hands.
I love it.
And it was so cool because I got more, because I didn't really know all that much about it, but I got kind of introduced to the board of directors and what the mission was. And then I was like, oh, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah, great.
So I've, been in various ways still try to support 1 in 10 when I can.
Well,
That's fantastic.
I was thinking because my schedule has changed. I'm not on call 24/7 anymore. I think I could find an evening or two to
I
go
think
down
so.
and I have no idea what they need. I have no clue.
They'll
if they
tell
just
you.
need somebody to
Yeah,
fix something.
yeah.
Yeah, you'll be voluntold.
Yeah.
But
They
no,
were-
I know, I
yeah.
understand that. But I have no idea what to expect. But I'm like, I got some free time and I might as well go down there and do something useful with it.
Yeah, and
There
it,
was-
and you can. I'm sorry, you can like pit stop work like I did, or like what you want to do, because if you want to do anything to like work with the youth, you have to make like a 14-month commitment,
Yeah.
and like it's this whole thing. So my way was like I don't have to make that level of a commitment, you know, and that would probably be the same for you. But
I'll
I bet
figure
they
it
would
out.
love
I
it.
already have a lunch meeting tentatively scheduled. Like we haven't picked the date, but we already talked about we're gonna in the very near after.
Nice.
Now that dancing is over for this thing, Nate Roten, who is over the whole thing, he and I are gonna get together.
Nice.
Again, I've known Nate for.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yep.
He was probably in his late
Right,
teens
yeah.
when I
Oh,
met him too.
Absolutely.
I was kind of dating a guy named, I think his name was Oscar. It was something like Oscar. And
Something.
oh my,
Something
I don't know,
like
something
Oscar
like,
Meyer.
something like that. Very tall guy, really nice. Didn't realize his age because I mean he was a very tall guy, and like he had a car and a job. I didn't. Came into the bar. I wasn't in charge of carding people, so I thought he was a couple years older than he was. And he invited me to a volleyball game with some friends.
Oh, I recall this story
And
now.
it was one of the funniest experiences of my entire life. And I met that guy, Robert, who, as you were playing volleyball, he was able to play volleyball and do color commentary at the
Oh my
same
God,
time.
I love it.
And gave everybody that was playing
That's
volleyball the names of actual tennis stars. And I hadn't heard of the Williams sisters yet. I didn't know who
Oh,
they
Serena
were.
and-
Yeah. Venus.
So when whoever he had named Venus or Serena, when they came up to serve, and he would ah, as they would serve, and he added the scream, which I didn't realize they really did.
That's
One of them
so
really does.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he added that
Oh,
to it,
that's
and
great.
he was able to who was passing to who and keep the names straight. And I had to stop because I was so amused by it, and ended up making friends with all these guys. And then someone was like, well, how long have you been part of this organization? I'm like, it's a volleyball game. I joined, he saw me
Yeah,
drive up.
an
like,
hour.
Yeah.
What organization? And then I found out they were all underage, and it was the Valley 1 in 10. In my defense, Oscar was about to be menudoed out. It was like one of his, because at 21 you
Yeah.
get the, or it's either
24.
Well, Joe put to up the Horizons is the 18 to 22.
Oh, it was
14
definitely.
to
I think
Oh,
he
I
was,
thought it was 24. I'm sorry.
oh, so he might have been old enough. So he was like 22 and about
And
to
it
be
might be
phased
24
out.
now.
But they also had to keep them out of bar situations, so it was very careful that no
Yeah.
one led them into a bar.
So you're sitting there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a drinking and
No,
no
I
one
know,
was
but-
drinking, and I thought
Yeah.
nothing.
Sure.
I thought nothing of no one having alcohol because it was like a hot day, and I'm like,
Right.
yeah, it's probably a better idea.
Right.
Plus, this guy was so funny that you really didn't need alcohol. And then there was this kid that was like, we were having like singing contests and doing like Barbra Streisand through the ages. So I assume they were all older because it was a pretty involved Barbra Streisand joke. And it was how I got to know them. And then I did some work with them because some of the they needed some stuff. I had time and cash.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I mean, I did a little volunteering with them and got to know because they were really nice kids. And then finding out that some of them were actually in trouble and having a hard time, like that this was a big this volleyball game was a big deal to them and
Yeah.
feeling accepted. So
Nice.
Yeah, it was very nice. And then for briefly, they were like the end of my street somewhere. Like 1 in 10 was somewhere like right at 7th Avenue, right? Weren't they there?
7th
then
Avenue.
They
moved.
were very briefly.
Briefly,
They were there in a little not even a shopping center, whatever it was called, right there.
Because
Yeah.
now they're 3rd in McDowell, isn't that right?
Yep.
No,
Just south.
No, I thought
no,
they're on.
they are
Indian-
now at the Parsons Center on Central, across
Yeah.
from Fez.
Yeah.
They were moved.
Oh,
because
right,
they,
right, right,
Because
right,
the
right.
building, they had the
Yep,
incident at the
yep.
building where there was a fire, and then they moved and were absorbed.
Who's at 3rd in McDowell?
Pride.
Thank you.
Yes, Pride. Actually, it's closer to 7th Avenue or 7th
It's
Street.
right behind my office.
Yeah,
Right behind
yeah,
our office.
Yeah,
right in that. Yeah,
Yep.
they're in that area. That's where the Pride office now
Okay.
Right
is.
at my drive to Starbucks.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 But
Exactly.
yeah,
So
no,
if you're listening and you get a chance, and you see something for
they were
Valley
absorbed.
1 in 10,
Oh,
like,
another thing, and
support
Hi,
them.
Amina.
I don't.
Hi, Amina.
Amina.
I don't have the name of
Yay.
the two gentlemen, but this was a wonderful thing during the Dancing for 1 in 10. Between a couple of segments, they did what is called an ask, where obviously everybody who was there had raised money, yada yada. But then they ask you to dig a little deeper, and then they take donations. They call from the stage.
Yep.
Donations. Anybody want to donate? So on and so on and so on. Well, there were two gentlemen, and I do not remember their names. I should have got that so I could have promoted them or thanked them properly on the show. They were sitting in the second row, and apparently they have already made, pardon me, they have already made a huge monetary contribution to 1 in 10 to sustain something for a huge amount of time. I forgot what it was, but sitting there,
Like scholarship kind of
I'm not
thing,
exactly sure,
or-
but it
okay.
was mentioned that they had done some sustainability stuff for them. Sitting there though in the auditorium when they did the ask, the gentleman said, for the first 10,000 that you can get raised out of this audience right now, we'll match it.
Oh.
And they
wow.
had the 10, then 20, and then up in
Oh my God.
in minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, people were, there was somebody said I can donate
Wow.
5,000, and there was 1,000, and you get down, and then you get down to who's got $25, and it doesn't matter. Anybody's throwing money
That's
at it,
wonderful.
but they
all
did.
were-
So again, I don't remember who these two gentlemen are, but they did that's just a hell of a deal to be able to say, look, you start calling for money out of this room, and we'll match up to 10 grand.
Wow.
So that's boom, 20 right there, and like I said, it went up really quickly from there for just that one
That's
brief
fantastic.
ask.
Wow.
So again, another
Nice.
reason, it's if you've got time, if you're local, if you live around here and you don't know about it and you want to get involved, you're looking for something to do to help the youth of our community, and
if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
It's
figured-
normal on this
I know,
show.
but I apologized.
Fucking bitch.
wow,
Just making a difference. Do they and Joe might have a better response to this, but is it just schooling stuff and like activities, or is it homelessness?
oh they do, they have
It's all of that.
Counseling,
right?
They have
support.
counseling.
they do have
right,
all that.
okay.
They have an acronym for their
Everything.
housing thing. I forget what it's called, but they have I don't know if it's they have facilities for homeless to get the kids off the streets.
Great.
They have all medical. They have health education. They have sex
Awesome.
education.
Yep, I knew that.
The counseling is a big thing
They
because
have programming, like you can come some
Yeah.
nights you bring your parents, and
I love it.
it's I would say it's like full spectrum. of-
Sure. And they have the high
Services.
school, right?
yeah,
Yes,
Q
they-
High is
Q
still
High.
right.
Yeah, they have
Mhm.
the way to get your GED.
Yep.
Yeah, they've got all kinds
I
of
feel
stuff
like the
down there.
GED
Yeah.
is what I helped with. Something
Yeah.
with the GED program is where I went in. I don't know if I read aloud to people. I don't remember.
Sure.
It was a long time. It was a long time ago.
Did you have them sit on your lap?
No.
But they have they have game rooms and things, activities for
Wrong gay friend.
It was a different volleyball game.
I wasn't sure if that was Oscar.
That's the Catholic Church.
yeah.
Yeah, just gonna say.
They help you,
know,
by
very nice.
by they
My
help
idea
you
of
out
sexy
by
time
having
is
you
getting
sit on
drunk
their
and
lap.
Talking about Dexter, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about serial killers, little boy?
Pope Frank is very upset about that. Yeah.
I don't think.
Okay.
Does anybody have an obsession we need to go through, or no? Can we just move on to headlines?
Headlines, I think.
I think we're
Unless
Oh,
you
I
know.
have to celebrate an obsession, something I'm getting over.
Oh,
You're getting over.
Yes, I have deleted the video game that I was obsessed with from my phone and
Oh.
my iPad.
oh.
And have gone cold motherfucking turkey.
Oh,
So I would like a round of applause for getting that time waster out of my life. Because wow,
What
That
game
sh-
was that?
it was a solitaire game.
Well, does it make it harder to, if I bring it up and say like solitaire and we talk about the solitaire game a lot,
Yeah,
will
I
that
mean,
make it harder to
I
give
don't know if
that
you know this
up?
about me, but if there's a card game that can be played,
Yeah.
I am an
Yeah,
addict.
I
I
remember
am an addict. So the fact that they found a way to put a card game on my goddamn computer, so gone, gone.
Try it. Good for you, because
So,
that
yes.
is difficult.
It'll lead
yeah.
more to entertainment because now I have more time to read and watch movies.
Yay!
Well, then we'll do this
I love
tease
it.
getting out of hour 1 and into hour 2. It's our headlines coming at you right here on Q Talk America. Oh, people freak out about a French fry change.
A classic rock album becomes the biggest selling of all time.
Let me introduce you to some whipped cream.
Mocking movie titles.
City offers a suggestion on getting through a heat wave.
A new twist on sexual harassment.
Oh yeah, Lindsay Lohan is a cunt.
Oh, super cunt.
Yeah.
Stocks are high.
And university honors a couple that found love in an elevator in the 70s.
Not a
Aerosmith.
hopeless place.
Aerosmith.
All right, kids, we'll be back in just about 2 minutes. Stick with us.
You're listening to Q Talk America.
Educates, syncopates, radio communicates, radio, the sound of year-round pleasure.
If you think it sucked so far, just wait till after this 30-second dance break.
Well, the squirrels are back in the attic. Your dad won't call an exterminator. He says it's personal this time. Where are you? It's very loud there. Are you taking a Zumba class?
This is the Q Talk America Radio Network.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the B Block, or Hour 2 of the show. It's a Q Talk America Tuesday night. It is show 355. This is the 21st of August. Hello, everybody. I'm sitting here next to the guest villainess, also
Oh, yes. I've returned to
cause a
guest villainous.
non-paid contributor to the
Yes.
Q Talk America network.
Thank you. I love my new title.
Doug Wilkie is here because Kat Carlson has the night off. Marnie Ryer is decked out in Pepsi and Nike. By the way, we are not monetizing this show.
Yeah.
Al Perkin
I'm gonna
in
have some
a
sex.
Never gonna be your
Al Perkin is
sex
sitting
doll.
here in
That's
a
all I can think of
lovely
when I see it.
black blouse this evening. And I'm Clayton
That's been washed
McKee.
since last week because it is the same black blouse. I realized that today as I was writing over.
It's all right, but nobody can. I wear the same thing every day.
I know, I don't.
It's
It's
all
usually the same blue shirt for months on end.
In fact, this past weekend while we were at the dancing with the bars thing, somebody thought they had spilled coffee on me. I was holding a cup of coffee before the event, and somebody reached out to shake somebody's hand and bumped my arm, and they thought that they had spilled coffee on me, which they hadn't. But Selena Vega was standing next, and she looked at them and goes, like he doesn't have another black shirt?
Yeah.
And oddly, I had brought a second
Well,
shirt to
of
the
course
event
you
because I wanted to
have.
make sure I was all
And
well and
something
good.
that I heard back in the day, I don't know if this has ever been officially verified, but allegedly Fred Flintstone's ensemble
Oh.
was coffee stains. That's what the spots were.
Oh.
That was the joke, that he always spilled coffee on himself.
I thought it
I've
was
never
like
heard that.
animal
I
print.
thought it was like
Yeah, me too.
saber-toothed lion or
Yeah.
something.
And I don't know, it was something that I heard from the good people of Hanna-Barbera that,
I do appreciate that.
that it was supposed to be coffee stains.
I'm
I
going to
love
have to
it.
do some research on that. Well, before we research the Fred Flintstone ensemble, a Maine restaurant says news about the anger surrounding a change in its French fries has reached people all over the world. Bali's Famous Franks co-owner, Leslie Parsons, tells the Kennebec Journal, a newspaper in China, wanted to try its fries, and it received a call from people representing TV chef Rachel Ray. The Journal had reported that the Waterville restaurant faced threats of violence when it changed from crinkle-cut fries to straight-cut fries this past June.
Don't fuck
No.
with those
Nuh-uh.
French fries. No, 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 no.
So their
fuck with
the
people.
Facebook post
Don't take
from
my waffle flies.
your waffle flies.
My waffle flies.
Yeah.
Thank you, Baba Wawa.
Bawa.
The Facebook post from the restaurant
Is
says,
that an Asian?
so
flag?
recently, within the last week, we have encountered some pretty disturbing and hostile customers, apparently very unhappy with our straight cut French fries. While I fully understand the crinkle cut has been the long-standing traditional fry of Bali's restaurant, I was forced to make an unpopular business decision for the reasons, as a business owner, one must take from time to time. The blades are ridiculously pricey, meaning the crinkle cut blades are ridiculously pricey and flimsy. It takes many blades to operate the cutter, and after sinking thousands, I chose to go with the alternative cut. They are still fresh cut daily. We still use the best potatoes available in Maine. It is still a very expensive French fry, and our process minus the crinkle cut is still the same fry.
So they didn't mess with like seasoning or anything.
They
like,
just
we did.
straight fry.
And they're
crinkle
not
cut fry.
waffle, they're crinkle.
They're crinkle
Okay.
cut.
All
If
right.
waffle, that'd be it.
All right, we can settle down because
She says, all that being said, to speak to my first comment of hostile remarks from the public, I just want to say I will absolutely not tolerate being sworn at, threatened, physical harm to myself, my husband, and children. It is unacceptable here at Bali's and should never, capital all caps, never be tolerated anywhere. I apologize to the customers whom I know would much prefer a crinkle cut fry and have graciously accepted our change. I appreciate the feedback from those who have respectfully discussed the change. We had had much support for the change, and many have pleasantly surprised how much they prefer the straight cut fry. Now, Parsons says that the change was, again, like I said, a financial decision because of the blades being costly, and they need to be replaced monthly. I didn't realize that about a crinkle cut fry cutter. She says many people felt as the new owners, because they recently took over the restaurant, as the new owners of the restaurant, they were changing a tradition that had been in place since 1962. Parsons says
fucking new management.
Parsons says that despite the
Seriously.
criticism, 99.9% of their customers are awesome.
But that 0.01%,
Yeah.
they're
Fuck
gonna,
that.
they're gonna nail you in
everything
the
up.
fucking wall.
I don't,
Hi, Annette. Thumbs up.
hello,
Oh, and
and
then
Nero.
too, now we're back to being
Hi,
international
Nero.
again.
This is fantastic.
God, this is
It's
weird.
Our
lovely
dream of
to
being
see.
a morning show
By the way,
back.
We're back.
Joe and Meowkel and Mama Di, settle down. We don't mean that at you at all because we just love you guys. But how exciting it is
It's
to
very
see
exciting.
Nero
when
and
we go
Annette
international like that.
and Amina
Around the
again.
world.
It's been a
Aye, aye,
long
aye.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
On
like
to,
it.
on to Doug Wilkie's attempt at a headline.
Wow.
I just want to say though, this crinkle cut business, who cares?
Who cares?
But waffle
I do
fries,
enjoy
and
crinkle cut
fries,
fries.
that's-
spice,
yeah,
those
I get
spicy,
it.
what are they
Yeah.
called? The
Curly
spicy
fries.
fries. Yeah, when they're like got that little that seasoning
I
on
get
it.
it.
You know,
Yeah.
there's little zhuzh or something
Yeah.
special.
Uh-huh.
Zhuzh. Zhuzh. We haven't used zhuzh in
Yeah.
a long
I
time.
can't
Zhuzh
go. I
is
can't go
something
backwards
special.
from that
Yeah.
shit. Once
Yeah.
you start, because even
Sure.
the chicken fuckers, I got to agree
Yeah,
on those
chicken
waffle fries.
fuckers.
Yeah.
I don't think
They're
I've
good.
ever
I
had
won't
them.
go there.
Now, my mom found a lovely selection in the frozen food section
You've never
for
been to the
waffle
mall and have
fries.
them like shove them in your mouth?
No,
Oh, they're aggressive in the mall.
no.
Again, my mother found some lovely frozen crinkle cut fries somewhere at the fries that she fries
not
store,
wanna know.
and she made them in the oven. They're wonderful.
Sure.
No, they're really wonderful. Mom, you have to remind me what those are.
No, I can't have them at home. No.
Oh,
Okay.
I agree,
No.
and I'm going to agree with
Yes.
Joe. I'm going to agree with Joe on this. Crinkle cut fries
That's
at Del
funny.
Taco,
Yes.
those are awesome too. I'm
Del
good with those.
Taco's gross.
Del Taco?
listen.
Oh my God, a macho burrito,
Oh my
whatever
God, it
the
makes me
fuck.
want to vomit.
Yes, I mean you're allowed to self-promote, and no, I can't eat at the
Aaron
Del Taco.
likes it, and I'm just
There's
like,
there's a line, and
There
the Del
is a
Taco,
line where
and
we
the
have
Del
to-
Taco
yes.
is beneath
yeah,
the
it.
line.
it's not okay.
Wow.
It's
How
not
ghetto, really?
It's
Not okay. No, hashtag it's not okay.
Kidding.
We have to bring that
Hashtag
back.
It's
It's
not
not-
okay.
But you're not allowed to have not parentheses. You're not allowed to have apostrophes.
That's right.
So it's got to be. It is not.
It is
okay.
not okay. Good call.
But is
That's
it
right.
okay
Yeah.
or OKAY if we're going to have
I
Either
it?
way,
say
I'm,
okay.
I'm comfortable with okay.
Yeah.
Like
Okay, I am too.
Oklahoma.
Makes the hashtag a little bit.
All right,
Just
Clayton.
read your fucking
So
story,
here's my,
Doug.
my
Stay
headline.
away from Del
Because I
Taco.
thought this was very interesting. I was a little surprised. I was interesting. So Michael Jackson's Thriller has been the #1 album of all time
Still
for
dead.
quite some time.
Yeah.
But now
Right
it
since it
has
came
been surpassed.
Oh,
Can I
This
guess?
week-
Can I guess?
Yes,
The
yes.
Eagles' greatest hits.
Yes.
Oh,
Did you
wow.
already know?
Yeah, because it.
Oh.
They go back and forth.
So the Eagles'
So that,
greatest
was,
hits.
so that was not a guess. That was a loaded comment.
Yeah.
That's exactly
see?
right.
Fuck you all.
Cheater.
Sons of bitches.
The Eagles' greatest hits album beats Michael Jackson's Thriller as #1 album of all time. So it has moonwalked, as they say, past Michael Jackson's Thriller
That was good. I enjoyed
like
to
that.
it.
become history's best-selling album of all time. The Recording Industry Association of America told the Associated Press on Monday
21 million.
that the Eagles' album, here it comes, their greatest hits from
you
71
wait
to
for it.
75, is now certified 38 times platinum.
Holy
Holy
fuck.
shit.
Which
Damn.
means sales and streams of the album have reached 38 million copies. The album was released in 1976, pushes Michael Jackson with Jackson's Thriller, which is only 33 times platinum, to second place. So they're way ahead.
But you
now.
have to admit that Eagles' greatest hits
Oh,
album
it
is
is
awesome.
Yeah.
album.
It's
It's a great
amazing.
album.
It's a must-have.
Yeah, it really
Tie
is.
it, well, if
It's
you
the
want
one
to
that-
tie it together to yours, I mean, Glenn Fry, still dead, but fries, waffle fries. Look at that.
Oh,
Hello, I
wow.
did that.
Wow, I didn't know that was
Wow.
a game we were playing, but
Well,
I'm
that's
in.
interesting.
I didn't know either.
Hey, top that one.
I feel like
So-
there's more in that Starbucks cup than.
If that
Coffee.
wasn't
Woo.
enough already for them,
Oh,
it
but wait,
says
there's more.
There's more.
Oh, Doug.
The Eagles Hotel.
you buy two.
The Eagles Hotel California, released in 1977, is now 26 times platinum and makes it the third best-selling album of all time. The Eagles have the #1 and 3 best-selling albums of all.
So they're
time.
sandwiching
That is
Jackson.
amazing.
And
Said
another
that-
fun fact about that little era is that Fleetwood Mac Rumors pops up in the top 5. So by like 1977, you had like I think it's 3 of the top 10 albums of all time. Like Rumors has stayed because Rumors was
Oh,
the
yeah.
best-selling album of all time until Thriller, and then slowly I
I
turned.
turned.
The Eagles' greatest hits kept getting re-released and reselling, and then each new platform, everybody needed their Eagles' greatest hits. So they have
It's working for them.
yeah, it's
For
it's working.
sure.
So so this must be like the streaming has won them again.
So, yes, and that is one of my questions. Is like, why is that happening? So that's an interesting,
Well, and
reason
some of
why
it's got to be happening with the streaming because you first you bought it on vinyl,
right.
then you bought it on cassette or 8-track,
An 8-track,
and
and
then
now
you bought it on
streaming
CD. Yeah, so now you're buying it on.
You have all the
streaming.
ways that your car could play it.
Right.
And the Eagles' greatest hits is like the greatest common denominator of any
Yeah,
any
everyone will
group
listen
of
to it.
people.
Oh,
Like,
so-
you
yeah.
put that on, and there's to me there's like one clunker on that album, but I can even get through that one. Even I'm like, well, if I'm alone, I'll fast forward it. But if somebody else in the car is like,
Humming
I like
along.
this song, I'm like, all right.
It's
So
another
they're-
Tequila Sunrise.
They're clarifying this.
That's
for
the
you.
one I don't like.
Oh,
They're
it's
saying
really.
that,
Yeah.
the platinum sale was once equivalent to selling 1 million albums or songs, but in 2013, the company began incorporating streaming from YouTube, Spotify, and other digital musical services to determine certification for albums and songs. Now, 1,500 streams of an album is equivalent to an album sale. Also, 10 song downloads equal 1 album
Yeah, so
sale.
that's okay. Now that's why they've redone this is
Interesting.
because of the new rules. Because it used to be like in straight up just sales, like you actually had to you had to hand somebody money and they had to hand you
An
the
album or a
music,
CD.
or like iTunes, like you pay the no
toll.
streaming services. That seems like a big jump. Because the last time
Mm-hmm.
that I had seen the numbers, the actual physical movement of product or you went somewhere you had to buy it. That counted too.
Yeah.
They were in the 20 million. So 38 million, that's a huge jump.
It
but now
is.
if you're including streaming, and then like Glenn Fry just died, which increased their sales. When Michael Jackson died, the sales of Thriller went batshit again.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Would you like to know what Henley revealed in the 2016 interview about
sure
what the
would.
band's classic Hotel California is about?
Please.
I always say it's a journey from innocence to experience. It's not really about California. It's about America. Henley said, it's about the dark underbelly of the American dream. It's about excess. It's about narcissism.
Materialism.
It's about the music business. It's about a lot of different things. It can have a million interpretations. It's universal. Pretty cool. But I just thought that was very interesting that that is the new number one.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
I'm not mad at that being the new
I'm
one.
not
And
either.
Still,
I like it. I kind of like. I mean, I like Thriller too. That's epic and amazing.
Yeah.
But people kind of know that. Like if you say, "Oh, what's the?" People go, "Oh, Thriller." You know.
Right.
I don't know that everybody would jump out and say, especially younger people
The
now.
Eagles.
The
my
Eagles.
God.
Right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
and I like, and
That's
to
all I
me,
got.
the best of all of those is still Rumors. Like that album is
My
just
favorite.
rock
I
fucking
know.
solid.
It's the
Every
best.
single song, there's not a guitar lick
It's so good.
out of place anywhere.
We
There's
need to
no
start
filler.
downloading that so that goes back up.
But it's got to be, it's super high because it was, Saturday Night Live, 77. Because Saturday Night Live was the other one. Like from 77, there are so many albums that make the top 10. For some reason, that year of music was just
a
ripe with
watershed
stuff that would
moment.
live
The
forever.
weed was perfect that year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever they
and
were,
the
Everybody-
and the cocaine.
Right. Yeah. well,
whatever
yeah.
they was doing.
Coke was good back in the 70s and
Well,
80s. Though.
Thank you for your insight, Doug.
The-
And
I meant that as an
Finger on the pulse.
observation.
yeah.
And Whitney Houston liked it too.
Yeah.
Yep.
She had receipts.
She had the 90s Coke, though.
But it is interesting that when I think back,
Thanks, Obama.
She lost
In
the
the-
Pepsi challenge.
in the late 70s is when my mom worked for the ABC record company, and she was responsible for traveling to local stores and restocking their vinyl. That was what she did.
That
and
is so cool.
So she wound up with a
Mama
shit
Di, that's
ton-
very cool.
She wound up with a shit ton of albums, which I now have in my room. But I remember growing up around so much great music, and it was so many different things. It was George Benson, it was the Eagles, it was Fleetwood Mac, it was so many different things. But you're right, that whole era, that late 70s era, just had so much great music.
And everybody was listening to so many different styles at the time. So like Kenny Rogers was having hits with ELO, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
and they were on the same station. Like you would seriously go from the Gambler to Mr. Blue Sky, like without
Yeah.
even and you wouldn't even think twice about it as to how you made that jump. You know
I
what
used to listen to an album, the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. I used to listen to them a
Yeah.
long time ago,
Yep.
and I haven't listened to it in years. I may have to dig that out and put it on the old turntable.
Yeah, I like it.
And if something was a hit, it was The Devil Goes Down to Georgia. I know
Right.
every fucking word
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
of course.
of some country western
Yeah.
shit kicker.
Yeah. Oh, he's an ass bag, that one.
Oh, he is. But
God.
that,
But the
that
song is great.
Yeah, the song is great. I'm not
It's-
gonna lie.
It's sort of like
Madonna.
you like the waffle fries at Chick-fil-A, but you don't like.
well,
Yeah.
that's true. Fair point.
Still a
well
chicken
made.
fucker.
All right.
Marty,
and,
what you got?
and definitely, Nero. Just hold on.
Lots going
we're
on
gay
now.
as Christmas. We'll get to that.
We should talk about Aretha Franklin.
Well, we are when we
we
get
are.
there.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I have a whole segment.
oh, all right.
We have a whole show planned,
Oh,
Doug.
good.
There's this thing
Well, you
called
don't tell me that's part of my
entertainment.
That's
contract.
part.
Have him sign
As
it.
a
Keep him in the
contributor,
dark.
I read the fine print, Clayton.
It equates to your pay.
Yeah.
What I know about this show is exactly what I'm paid
That's
for
exactly
the show.
right.
They're the same.
You're on a need-to-know basis.
That's right.
Marty Wire.
She
let
would be
you
covered
know.
in Death Den, but we got rid of that. Yeah. We
really
got rid
haven't.
of that segment.
Do
So,
it again.
if you can imagine,
I can't.
not yet.
This is going to be a long story, isn't it?
No,
gonna be
actually,
really
no.
Oh, I
long.
can usually
No.
tell when you start.
No.
You car
No.
fucker.
Because oh my god, that was one of my favorite things you've ever sent me. So you hear things, right? And like you can kind of, oh my god, that sounds really good, right? Somebody brings something up like a new mix. You've got your peanut butter and my chocolate, whatever. The like Reese's peanut butter cup.
Okay.
Now imagine that in whipped cream. Do you like peanut butter?
I do.
Do you like Hershey's?
I do.
Yep. Hershey's and Reese's whipped cream are finally here. It's together.
So that's three things? I need to see this.
I wish you'd send me fucking. I could put pictures out.
Oh yes, we might need a picture.
I'll
of
send
that.
it to you.
So no, I can
That's
Google
a
it
squirt
faster.
can I can get behind.
Yeah.
Or in front of.
So-
Depending.
Yeah.
I'll
So
find it.
as of, I've had this one for a little while, but as of July 18th.
You've been holding out, Marnie?
Well, kind of. Yeah, I missed a couple. Sorry. It's officially hit stores, and back a month ago, it was spotted only at Hy-Vees in the Midwest, here in the States, but it's expected to be rolled out to most major retailers soon. So I'm going to look that up in a minute.
Ooh, okay, so
but-
we have to try this. We have to get both of these.
Yeah, and put that shit together. Come on.
Just bongs. Let's just do bongs.
Well, isn't that right? I mean,
Wait,
so,
they're both whipped toppings.
Yeah,
There's
so
a,
yes,
there's a
it's
Reese's
separate.
peanut butter cup there, and then
So
there's
now
a.
you've got your chocolate and my peanut butter, and you can put it
You
together.
just
Oh,
mix
honey,
the whipped creams
yes.
together.
Your chocolate, my peanut butter,
I'm
anytime
saying.
you need
Wait, you
to.
mix
Yeah.
them together, or you put them
Sugar-
on something?
Well, I don't care.
I
I
think-
spray it in my mouth.
However you get
However
there.
you get there.
Dear
Just
listener.
get
This
there
is so
if you can.
confusing.
Married man,
No.
whatever.
Oh, for sugar lovers,
get
whipped
here if you
cream is
can.
a very important topping. It turns out it turns snacks that are already tasting amazing to you, ice cream and pie and pancakes,
Over the top, man.
into insane masterpieces, I say.
I just
If you agree,
want
you're
to be
going to
alone
want
with
to
that
sit
can of
I'm
spray
saying,
peanut butter.
Sit down for this. Rumor has it, this is the original story, that Hershey's and Reese's whipped cream are soon to be hitting shelves, which now we know, and I will update by the end
I'll
of the
go
show.
park in front of Fry's right
Now,
now.
I
don't
picture
know.
Al. I picture Al in a room all alone with that can of whipped cream.
I'm saying.
Oh my God.
Your
More-
imagination will let you do the
More
rest.
aerosol food products.
Right,
It's
right, right. Imagine an
just
Taking
what
this
we
long
needed.
To weaponize peanut butter.
How,
What is
how
wrong
hungry
with
is this
people?
gonna? This is gonna make
Weaponize
everybody like super hungry. I mean, unless you're allergic to dairy, but
Yeah.
whatever.
fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them.
Right. Imagine
That's
an,
your goddamn fault.
That's your fault.
There's
fucker.
pills for that.
that's
Yeah.
something. Imagine an ice cream sundae with your usual suspects:
I
massive
can.
scoops of ice cream, nuts, cookie pieces.
I
fruit,
don't know why I
maybe
gotta
a
waste
nice
time with all that food. I can put the peanut
maraschino
butter
cherry.
in my mouth.
Why are we
But
still here?
instead of adding a squid, yeah, we should go.
We can get to the Midwest and like
I know. I could have that
Hang
that
on.
stuff
Ship
shipped
to
here.
us.
Wait,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on the Fry's
Yeah.
food stores app and see if
Whoa.
they've got it in stock.
Meow Cow lives in the Midwest.
I know.
Am
Meow
I using
Cow.
that term correctly?
Yes.
Midwest? Okay.
Yes. Yes, you are.
It's kind of like vegetable. I don't know how to say it.
Flyover
Now,
states.
many look to the comment section of the food Instagrammers post to share their freak out publicly. People are freaking the fuck out about this. So it's yeah, an EpiPen. It's a good call. The only thing left to do now is basically wait patiently to see if we're going to get that here in the A of Z. So they had reached out to Hershey's to confirm this unreal news. Hadn't heard back yet, but apparently, real thing. I don't.
Because if that's fake, I'm gonna beat you.
Oh yeah. Because sometimes those things they show them and they're fake.
No, because it's
It's gonna beat you with a can of whipped cream.
here. First of all, there was an update. Second of all,
Spray cheese exists.
second of all,
It does. I enjoy
Yes.
spray cheese.
Delish. This
Doesn't
is on
much
the
off your lawn, though.
delish.com website. So it's like recipes and all that kind of stuff. So they're too like fucking uppity to, this isn't, what do you call it? What's the onion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
An onion
No.
flavor of something.
No.
No, she means the
No,
onion
the-
magnet.
the-
Oh, okay.
yeah.
But they
Yeah.
would do those things.
Oh,
Sure.
like the
of,
flavor.
right,
I
yeah.
got you.
lasagna
Yes.
chips and it's like bullshit.
Ooh.
Fry's does not list it on their app as to having it at this
Okay.
point. They do, however, have a.
Put that in the
There is an
refrigerator.
international. Oh, I didn't know this. There's an International Delight Reese's Peanut Butter Cup coffee
Oh,
creamer.
we have that at home. And let me tell you what I just found. Now let me tell you what I just found. Oreo.
By the way, this is our
cookie.
cooking segment.
Oreo
Wait,
cookie cream.
Oh, okay. I could dig that. I love Oreos.
That sounds good.
Heaven.
And that
I'm
comes with an EpiPen.
heaven. Oh yeah.
Oh, by the way, just a sidebar. I went to the grocery
yeah.
store today. It is not even the beginning of September, and
If there's
all of the
pumpkin,
Halloween shit is
Yeah.
out.
oh god, I thought you were gonna say pumpkin spice, and I was gonna kill
Oh,
myself.
that's everywhere.
But when you,
can see that,
when you walk in the store,
already
it's
Halloween.
all autumn. All
It's
the
Yeah.
whole
August.
fucking
Yeah.
thing is all set to be autumn.
And I'm like, what
Yeah, but-
motherfucker is really gonna buy candy now to give to children and too much? You're eating that shit.
You're
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Just settle
that's
the
such a
fuck
Yeah,
lie.
don't
Exactly
tell me
right.
you're planning
You
some. Yeah, bullshit.
goddamn liar.
Assholes.
We're gonna.
Sons of bitches.
We gotta find a store that has this shit.
I'm
we gotta
on
get
it.
there
I'm
tomorrow.
on it. I'm on it.
If the upside to Trump being president is weaponized
This?
peanut butter,
Yeah.
I am back.
Diabetics beware.
Oh. Whoa.
I just
whoa.
bet you could
Hold
take
on.
that into a grade school and kill off half the kids with spray peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
Let's see. Is this
Are you reading something else into it, or should Al do a story?
I'm just saying. I'm seeing it at Walmart.
Oh, are you?
Goddamn Walmart!
Yeah, but you can order it online
Why
and it'll
does
show
the
up at your
evil
door.
empire always have
Yeah,
everything
but
I
it's
want?
only the Hershey's. So give me a minute.
Ah, okay.
Al, what do you got?
All right. So
All of a sudden, Doug's moving into
I'm,
Walmart.
I'm going to host the damn show now.
it moved. Oh, Twitter. Our buddies at Twitter.
Startling.
The
Taunt
tweets.
Steve Bannon with reworked movies
What?
posters. Titles. Steve Bannon has inspired some impressive creativity on the part of Twitter user. The hashtag Steve Bannon a movie hashtag started trending on the social media site Friday night following the former White House chief strategist sit down with MSNBC, in which he defended President Donald Trump's stance on last year's white nationalist rally in Charlottesville. The 64-year-old kind of dying man said his former boss was absolutely correct when he declared there was blame on both sides following the deadly riots. As a result, many began reimagining their favorite movie titles to reflect Bannon's controversial statements. Here are a few of the most notable. Saving Paul Ryan. Hate
That's funny.
Actually.
I love it.
Gestapo's coming to dinner. You've got male entitlement. Breitbart likes
That's
big
good.
city.
That's
Dude,
good.
where's my czar? Throw mama from the Medicaid. I know what you did last election.
That's good.
Do the Reich thing, the Reich
The
stuff.
right
that's
stuff. Good.
Fascist times at Ridgemont High.
That's good
The
one.
fascist and the furious. Schindler's List 2, very fine people on both sides. All the President's Henchmen.
Oh,
Broken Democracy Mountain. White Pride and Prejudice.
Who
that's
came up with these?
fantastic.
They're all over. It's the
Oh,
hashtag is
oh.
Steve Bannon a movie.
Oh, everyone's just contributing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's why they're so
That's
good.
Eternal
Yeah.
dimwit of the demented mind.
That's fantastic.
Battlefield Earth, no changes needed.
That's very witty.
That's very good.
That's very good.
Full Mental Jacket.
Oh, I like that.
Mental jacket.
Wag the dog whistle. Honorable mentions include The Bigot Lebowski, The Kids Are Alt-Right, No Country for Brown Men, and Driving Misogyny.
The fact that those are
The
runner-
kids are alt-right.
That's great.
The kids are
That's
all right.
great.
I love Driving Misogyny.
And
Well, it would certainly make that movie more
know it.
interesting.
Well, that's a great drag name too.
Yeah, right?
Misogyny.
Misogyny.
yeah,
Misogyny. That's a great drag name.
Amina has weaponized peanut butter should be in the
stupid
stupid
military
military parade,
parade.
but
It
that
would
was
make it
canceled,
better.
was it not?
Delayed.
Delayed.
Oh, no.
Delayed. I thought it was canceled.
Delayed.
I thought it was
there was a cancel.
2019.
No, I thought there was delay at first,
Yeah.
and then I
Oh.
thought cancel came
Well, it
just
turns,
later.
It turns
Yeah.
out they need to elect a different mayor of DC, which is never going to happen. I mean, they're never going to get a Republican mayor. DC votes 97% to 3
Oh,
Democratic. So they have opposition right there in the backyard.
ready and waiting.
And
Yeah.
they just have set up every conceivable literal and figurative roadblock to the parade, including the cost, because they won't do it. And it's, it's one of those things where, there was a funny joke. I don't know if it was from Bill Maher, where they were saying if DC really wanted to be a state, if there was a Democratic Congress, they would allow them to vote and make their choice. But they would there's just no chance. They want to become a state. They're it's so heavily Democratic
lobby for that.
never you would need big majorities everywhere to get DC and Puerto Rico to become states.
Yeah.
But so they were saying you have just as much luck having them to throw a parade for Trump and Puerto Rico right now. But I just loved Driving Misogyny because
That's
Yes.
hysterical.
a friend of mine from the bar, Link, that used to come in, hated that movie, and it used to crack me up because I thought I was the only person that just hated that movie.
You
He
had
used to
it.
call
You
it.
had a
He
soulmate.
used to call it "Let the Bitch Walk."
Let the bitch walk. Yeah. And I didn't hate the movie as much as you do, but I hate the fact that it won Best Picture, and that was the same year as Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing.
One of the greatest films ever made.
So you get a movie about
fuck
racial
it.
injustice that
Right.
wins.
Right.
That's
Again,
About
yeah.
a movie about white privilege
right.
shining its ugly face.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
thanks, Obama.
Yeah. Hashtag. That's fantastic.
For some reason, you're on that all night.
No, you never know.
We're on that every night.
That's
I
all
love
you
it.
have to be, because it's his fault.
All right, Philadelphia's Temple University is honoring a 45-year-long relationship sparked in a campus elevator. Sharon Rubin and Eric Schlesinger briefly met on move-in day on September 6, 1972, while she was moving in and he was operating the dorm building elevator. The Philadelphia Inquirer reports that Rubin formally introduced herself a few days later at a college mixer, walking up to Schlesinger and saying, "Hi, Mr. Elevator Man." The quote is now affixed to the elevator, which will be named for Sherry Rubin Schlesinger on this upcoming Friday. She died last year from colon cancer, unfortunately. She and her elevator man husband had been married for more than 42 years. Eric Schlesinger says meeting his future wife in the elevator was, quote, the most important thing that had happened to him at Temple University. Here is the plaque that will be affixed to the elevator. In loving memory to my wife, Sharon Rubin Schlesinger, who first met me in this elevator on September 6, 1972, 42 plus years of marriage begin with the quote, "Hi, Mr. Elevator Man."
Oh, that is sweet.
I thought that August 17th, 2018 is the date on the plaque. but-
Girls in apartments, don't just sit at home doing nothing. Go meet the elevator man.
on it. I thought that was a very cute story.
I like it. That is
Unfortunately, she
cute.
has left us, but I like the memory of that will continue on of her meeting in 72,
Lovely.
just a
That's
couple
great.
years ago.
Just a few
Very
years
nice.
back.
Yeah, Mr. Wilkie.
That's sweet.
Well, mine is, this one's not, this is a serious, more
That's okay.
serious one.
Nothing wrong with that.
So if we're in the humor mood and we want to take a pass, I will not be
No, we
offended.
go up and
no,
down.
no.
Oh, all right.
This show,
Okay.
we vacillate.
Yeah.
So I just
Good work.
Thank
I
you.
thought it
Yeah.
might be interesting to talk about, the Me Too movement, and that was existed before Harvey Weinstein, but breathe life into this.
I like to talk later
And-
about the "Why Not Me" movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
but
we
I-
still found the humor.
No.
There's still
I
not.
want to talk about the it could have been me movement.
So Asia Argento, who was one of the first Harvey Weinstein accusers and one of the most vocal and has been kind of one of the leaders in this movement, was just accused of her own sexual harassment
Oh, I read
with a
about that.
17-year-old boy
Okay.
who she had acted in a movie years ago when he was only like 6. They reunited for another film. She is denying this now, so this is sort of the updated version, saying, and if you frame of reference order, she was the girlfriend of Anthony Bourdain at the time that he killed
okay.
himself.
All right.
Okay.
But she's been, when we say vocal, they showed a picture of her at the Cannes Film Festival, and she comes out and gives this big thing and talks about how all the people in the Me Too movement that have gotten caught, and then she's like, but we haven't caught all the ones in the room yet. So there's what they're saying now is,
And guess what? I'm one of them.
and exactly, she's in the room, and
Right.
this is just an accusation, but according to Me Too, all victims, this is where I wanted to go with this, all victims must be believed. It's one of their tenets,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Unless, of course, it's this one now.
Yeah,
So
right.
She's denying, so it says she denied Tuesday morning that she ever had sexual relationship with an underage male. There is, however, a photograph that they took together of themselves in bed. The Italian actress, who was once the first to publicly accuse Harvey Weinstein of sexual assault, was accused of secretly paying off a young male actor who accused her of sexual misconduct in the months after her revelations about the disgraced movie Mogul. Argento said this assault never happened. However, she did say a payment was made to the child actor Jimmy Bennett by her then boyfriend, the late Anthony Bourdain, so Bennett would stop harassing them. So they're saying he's a liar. I am deeply shocked and hurt having read the news that is absolutely false, she said in a statement. Sounds very much like when all people deny sexual harassment
right.
and assault. She said in the statement, I have never had any sexual relationship with Bennett. Argento says he tried to extort her, and that does happen too. Tom Cruise, it has been like there have been extortion attempts on him for his entire career. So this can go either way. And rather than having a long drawn-out battle in the press amid the Weinstein scandal, it was Bourdain who said a payment would be made in order to make the situation disappear. This goes on, it's long, so I'm not going to read you the whole thing. She says, therefore, I have no other choice to oppose such false allegations. We'll assume In the short term, all necessary initiatives for my protection before all competent venues. So she's saying that this is like a backlash from the Harvey Weinstein people. And I don't know, I'm not saying she did or didn't do it, but why didn't she talk about this? This is where I think the hypocrisy might be is, well, why didn't she talk about this while she was talking about everything?
Hey, I've been accused of something
too.
Right.
Yeah.
Harvey Weinstein this, and so now the whole thing's turning into it. Just to cut to the chase, it's a big shitstorm right now, which I think is terrible because
That's
the
a
Me Too,
technical term, by the way.
I do appreciate that.
Me Too movement is a good thing. That now the reactionaries are saying the Me Too movement is is invalid and blah blah. Now, what's her name? The one that I like, what is her name? I'm drawing a blank. Alyssa Milano is saying, we can't invalidate the whole Me Too movement over one thing, but it's really
not one
muddying
thing.
over this one thing.
Right,
But
and it's
that
not,
one,
and
right,
it's not
but-
assault. Like that, and again, we're in
So-
that weird territory. We're like, not assaulted. She had sex with somebody underage. There's a big,
If she even did,
right,
we don't
but
even
the-
know.
But we have to draw the line for someone saying she assaulted him.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
consensual sex with somebody underage is much different than assaulting someone.
Right, and if they want to go
Because, I mean,
with
that's-
whatever the law is, then that would be statutory rape.
It
Yeah.
absolutely would
Right?
be. It
So
also should
if
be
that's
something
what
you
you
should
wanna call
be
it,
admitting
then-
to. So if it
right,
happened, but
but that's if you're going to say then that's what it is, right?
and
Call it what
and
it
I might have
is.
misrepresented. Alyssa Milano was saying whatever, if it was true or even if it's not, we can't say the whole Me Too
Oh
movement
no, and
is
that's,
wrong.
I'm just.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I'm reading.
Were
up
you
here,
answering the
too,
people in there? Oh, okay.
and you at the same time. That
I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention.
Oh
to
no.
the-
I mean, I agree with everybody that it doesn't negate the whole.
No, it
movement
doesn't.
And saying stuff
It
like
doesn't.
that, she just has to be transparent. If you're gonna stand up there and accuse, you got to clean out your closet first.
Yep.
Yeah.
And make
Yep.
stuff known, especially since right after Harvey was Kevin Spacey.
Yes.
Kevin Spacey's dirty
Yep.
deed
Right.
was, and you weren't here when we talked about this, but who let their 14-year-old son go to an adult male's apartment?
Exactly.
Like, who's in charge of the kid? And
Remember
why
the
is he
whole
at a grown-
Miley Cyrus cover of Vanity Fair when she was like, was it 14 or 15, and she, they had her drop her bra straps, and there was a big controversy. She was on the cover of Vanity Fair, underage, and this big thing was
Move that closer to you.
Oh, okay.
You sound
they
like you're
went
talking way back.
after Vanity Fair like crazy. This is when Miley Cyrus, and saying this, that, they should be taken. Just how horrible they were. They were
Right.
child molesters, photographing her.
'Cause
And it's
she
so
was
funny
Hannah
you said
Montana
that.
at the time?
Yeah, she was
Yeah,
Hannah
she was
Montana at the time.
Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Well, and the first thing I thought of, I said, well, because I went and read it, was you can't go to a shooting like that. It's not allowed. It's not allowed without adults,
Right,
like a
right.
guardian or parent. Billy Ray Cyrus was 6 feet away
Oh,
when
yeah.
that photograph was taken. So fuck off.
Yeah.
Vanity. They were saying, well, Vanity Fair has terrible morals. Okay, they're a
Her
magazine.
dad was
So
right
does her
there.
fucking father. And I
Yeah.
love Vanity Fair's response when when they were questioned. They said, "I love this." They said, "Well, our photographs just hold up a mirror to society."
Yeah. If you,
There you go.
Because
right.
they were saying she is selling herself. She is whoring herself out at
Sure,
14. She our picture is what she does on stage.
Right.
And so anyway,
Absolutely. Right.
so I'm in my teacher head a little bit because about like this Me Too and all of this, though it just shows that it's very complex.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
don't like when people oversimplify. Asia Argento may or may not be lying. There may be females that may or may not be lying. I pushed back on Me Too, and they're like, every victim has to
Right.
be believed. No, they don't.
Right.
They do not all have to be believed. You should
should
give
be-
them the benefit of the doubt, but do some. And on this,
But it
I
needs to be
know.
But,
vetted. It
but,
has to be
but
vetted.
everyone,
It has to be-
everyone is
Yes.
guilty, or I mean, innocent until proven
I will
guilty.
tell you
so-
this. I'll drop a little knowledge from school. False reporting of sexual assault in general and sexual harassment runs between like 2 and 7%.
Yeah, it's
so it's
very low.
extremely low, but not zero.
It's also against the law.
yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
there's that.
Let's go to another piece of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought
ridiculous.
I'd throw that out there to whatever comment.
Yeah.
and then is like Capturing the Freedmans is on HBO
Oh my god,
again.
I just watched it again. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it again because
It
I
wasn't
have
as
it-
good the second time
It
around.
was shocking to find out that it's been 15 years, and we're so
Oh,
used
right.
to everyone taping every part of their lives that part of that
Yeah.
is no like.
It's
I
kinda
wasn't-
lost.
I wasn't
yeah,
shocked.
it
I
wasn't as shocking.
It wasn't as shocking, like
Right.
especially after watching The Staircase, where like they invited a documentary crew in to film like the day after conviction. But they really do say, and I'll talk about this a little bit in the entertainment section, but the bias going in and that their lives were ruined and they knew it immediately.
Yeah.
And it just became save the son. Like at one point
Yeah.
it just became we have to throw the father overboard. Like there's we can't save him.
Sure.
We have to save the child from child molestation charges. We can't have this 18-year-old go the rest of his life with this hanging around his neck. True or false?
Right.
None of it rang at all true, and you have children that you
Right.
want to believe, but like the stories don't make any sense. And there was this fervor back in the 80s to just everybody was so on edge that like
Child
all these
molesters.
things, and there was the
That
McMartin.
Mick Martin's case
Yes.
is fascinating.
It is fascinating.
It's fascinating,
I
and these
agree.
children were,
The
were not
hysteria.
interviewed correctly. And like in the 90s, it became
Was
cult.
that a family?
Yes,
McMartin's.
McMartin's.
It was a school, a kindergarten. The McMartins owned a like a
preschool?
private
Yeah.
preschool.
Yeah,
This is a
okay.
good example of when you plant. It's called
Suggestion.
suggestions to kids, but it's another thing that gets less talked about, just called like hysteria. It whipped through. So one kid was like, "I think they touched me," and that's because an adult was saying, "Did they touch? Did they touch you?"
And did they
you're
touch
like,
you right
here,
there?
and the kid's like,
Yeah.
"They did,"
Yeah.
but like 2 weeks later. 30 kids are all
Yeah.
like, they touched me too, and and then the whole thing went to court. They were
Yep.
going to put these people in prison. It was horrible,
Yeah.
and none of it happened. It was all
And the
false.
Freedmans is a similar story that like if these kids were being just mass raped, I mean it was to the point of like
Yeah.
like assembly line
Line rape,
precision.
yeah.
But the parents showed up unexpectedly at all times of day. There was never
They were
any
picking their
abuse.
kids up,
They
yeah.
were picking their like surprise picking their kids up like sorry I'm early we gotta
Kids
go.
were happy and like, I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, and they were like
you know.
recommending the younger siblings to go, but once it started,
like it when they
And then the one kid had a diary of like how much he was liking it, and no one knew he was writing in his diary, and he brings it up as evidence of like, I was a happy kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody
But they
molested
told me that I was in denial and must have had a problem.
And then they'll say you don't remember.
you just don't remember, and like
You were
and you're in
traumatized.
this horror,
yeah.
and you're in this horrible story. So there's so much.
For those that haven't seen it, I think it's good to. The reason why there was no credibility, though, is the dad of it. He was caught red-handed with purchasing, at the time there was no internet, purchasing child pornography from Europe. And they were kind of onto him, and then
But it
the
went
police
from like
come.
one magazine that they find in the
Well-
mail to a stack of like 20 magazines
Right.
or something. But then when they tell it, when the DA tells the story, they were piled up
Right.
next to the piano. Like the number of magazines in the story goes from the one they delivered to a
Right.
stack to like you could
Also,
warehouse.
as the defense attorney was pointing out, you can look at child pornography and not rape children. The likelihood might be higher, but they were
Right.
saying but you don't have any credibility. So at this point, once the allegations came out, it was like
Yeah.
you're but that doesn't mean that anything
but
happened.
it sunk the father. But it really is.
Oh, it's so good. That movie is
Yeah.
one of the best documentaries
Yeah.
ever. Capturing the Freedmans. Watch it.
You've seen that, haven't you?
I have not yet, but I've got it written down. There's a note on my desk to remind me. But you said
Netflix,
but I looked
think.
one time and I couldn't find it.
HBO.
Wasn't on it, but
HBO.
now you
It
say it's on
remains.
HBO.
Al and I talked
Yep.
about this when it happened because you did the same thing. It remains the only documentary. When I watched it, the minute it was done, I pressed play and watched it again. Just right there.
Yeah.
Watched the whole damn thing.
No, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
that's
It's on my list of things to watch.
So good.
And it's right up there with Paradise Lost, the
Oh,
West
yeah.
Memphis 3. Like
Fantastic.
those
So
movies
good.
have just like, but again, bias. I mean, we talk about that all the time. Like,
And speaking of when poor Mama Di was like, why would you watch that kind of thing? But that Dear John,
Oh, yeah.
that I was talking about, we had done Aaron and I listened to that.
oh yeah.
That
I was in the
podcast?
documentary Dear Zachary
Yeah,
because
no,
that'll fuck you up too.
Dear John is now going to be turned into something, I believe, on Netflix.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
I think it's going to be on Netflix. Aaron was telling me, and I didn't. I should have followed up a little bit more with her, but something they're creating, and I think going to do it as a documentary.
Not on the same level at all, but didn't we talk about the fact that the podcast that we were listening to in the South, the guy
Yeah.
is being made into a movie.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that makes
Oh.
sense.
I thought we talked about that too.
I
Not that it
believe that.
equates
Yeah.
to the other two, but anyway.
Well, and you were talking about the Me Too
Yes.
movement, and to carry on to the fact that Lindsay Lohan is a cunt.
Oh, yeah. So I yield my time to the senator from Vermont. From the senator from Pepsi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Senator from Pepsi.
I will accept that
Al,
challenge.
we need to find Joan Crawford Pepsi promotion
I will-
picture.
I like
Oh yeah.
If you can do that.
I will accept that challenge.
All right.
Get it, the Pepsi challenge. That's cute.
Yes.
I'm
I
on
know.
the board of directors of
That's
this
right.
This
goddamn
lousy
company.
We're gonna find a photograph for
I will
that.
come
So,
out publicly
with-
against your product.
With what
It's a double-edged
kind of what we
sword.
were talking about. So Lohan did not choose her words
I'm
very,
dying.
very well.
I'm dying to know what she did.
She's a cunt.
Yeah.
She didn't choose her words very well, but
Has
it's
she ever?
interesting though that because what she said is what makes her not good. But when we look at with that Me Too movement, and I had
I
put
think
something.
I know what she said. Yeah.
I had and I've shared it in here a couple of times. I put something when the first time I heard Alyssa Milano, or heard the hashtag Me Too. It was the night of a show, and I got home and I was watching CNN, and I just sat there and I was like, I feel like I need to do this. There was something about what she had said, and I thought, I need to share my story. Like, it became a thing for me, and I chose to do that because I didn't want the idea of any boys, girls, men, women to think that it was their fault, or that maybe it's only happened to me, and those things that people do think. But then it became this trendy thing, and I don't mean the hashtag.
Yeah.
I mean it happened to me too.
Yeah.
It happened to me too. And we talked about perception being reality.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that was the big thing that Al kept saying is your perception. And if you perceived, you were talking about that gal in 8th grade,
Yeah, ma'am.
and that that's what she perceived. And if that's
Perceived that it was.
that it's something that affected her, she didn't.
Right. That's something that was supposed to be like playful or behavior, which to her was aggressive.
Right.
Yes.
And
Got it.
Okay, and so that kind of thing is something people don't like. It bothered her, but I'm not trying to put a tag on something that says, no, mine was real, right? Yours was annoying. Because that makes me an asshole. That makes me Lindsay Lohan.
It's up for the person to make that.
Right. But when
interpretation, right?
you go
Not-
out there and make a statement,
About-
now it becomes
I'm
about the
I'm
Me Too. I'm
confused.
sorry.
Yeah.
About the fact that was it battery? Was it not? Was it rape? Was it annoying? Did it cross a line?
Right.
Where and is it something that could be prosecuted? Running around a pool table in your basement or whatever it was, probably not going to get prosecuted, right? Date rape could be prosecuted
Right.
within the statute of limitations. So when you not compare, but when people are saying these are the same thing,
Oh, yeah.
that's where it becomes an issue.
Yes.
Because then,
Okay, now I'm back with you.
sorry, then it lessens.
Right. Somebody touching your ass and someone raping you are two different offenses. And
Right.
you have to draw.
And I'm
the
not saying
line.
that one is okay
Hey,
over
right,
another.
Right. This
right.
is the important thing, because I was just in a meeting about this the other day, because I was leaning towards the whole thing. Bill Maher talking. This is great about this with Matt Damon.
Okay.
And Matt Damon got in trouble for saying, "We want to," he's like, "Can we have a dialogue?" He said, "I'm confused. I don't know that someone grabbing your ass at the Christmas party
Right.
is the same as being raped."
That's right.
And everybody
That's
came
right.
for his head and whatever. And
He was a misogynist
right? He was,
and he was-
this whole and Matt. He has to have no career and
Yep,
die,
yep.
and the
Right.
whole thing. And he was just asking the question, and Bill Maher really defended that because they are not the same thing. But I did have somebody, and and Bill Maher does a bit about it, and I agree. But I did have something, and I'm keeping an open mind, explained to me by some colleagues at work that said, however, it doesn't mean that the grabbing your ass isn't traumatic to the person who had their ass grabbed.
Absolutely not.
And they were afraid. Maybe they jumped a little too quick. But the lady that explained to me, and I got it. Because she's an expert in the area, and she said, Matt Damon doesn't have a right to say ass grabbing doesn't count,
Sure,
and she's
sure.
absolutely
Oh,
right.
no.
Although I don't think that's what he said. But
No.
is this making sense?
Yeah, but because
okay.
it does.
But
does,
it
of
goes
course,
to the fringe for me.
Yeah.
That's where it goes
It
to
does,
the
of
fringe
course,
for
count,
me.
especially if it keeps.
It
like,
does count,
If it,
especially if you've been traumatized before.
traumatized before,
yeah,
if it's keeping you,
right.
if it's keeping you from advancement. If
Yeah.
you,
Right.
if you don't
It's a
feel
whole
safe
lot
at
of
work.
reasons it's more fucked
Yeah.
up than we might think.
Oh yeah, there's
And-
all
and-
kinds of things where it fits into the big,
Yes.
we're all one melting pot of things. But
Right.
you have to do.
But the actual acts,
actual physical assault as something
but the
you have
acts
to put that.
outside of the context are not. Interestingly enough, it's called isolated incidents in the world of criminology and criminal justice. They're not the same thing.
Okay.
But I mean, the actual acts is written
Sure,
in the
sure, sure.
statutes,
Yeah.
right?
Of course, right.
But rarely do those things. The thing you have to know is they all occur in context, every single one of them. And maybe you've never had any issue in your life, and someone grabs your ass at a Christmas party, and you think it's funny, and I think that happens all the time. That honestly, I would not. I don't know. I shouldn't say I don't know if I would be traumatized, but if you have some kind of history of that, you don't know.
Right.
People being too close to you, if you've been molested as a child, could really ring your bell, and other people are like, well, I don't know, it doesn't bother me.
Right, yeah.
So specific acts do not mean the same thing. There's very different context within which that they occur.
And it just keep your hands
But-
to yourself. And if you're
Sure.
the
Yeah,
boss,
and
just
ask.
super keep your
And
hands
ask
to
if you
yourself.
can,
Yeah.
ask.
But what and
Can I
what-
grab your
right,
ass?
Exactly. And if you're going to go to that far
I
to
have
ask,
I have
Sure.
actually asked permission to do that.
and
before.
there's nothing.
Are you
see?
serious?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you should. That's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
I've actually,
And
like,
if you get a yes,
I've just said, I'm sorry,
that's
but
called
may
that's
I
called
touch
consent.
I
yours?
really
Yeah,
need
that's-
to put my
that's
hand
good.
on your ass
I
right
wish
now.
I
Sure.
had been asked that.
It was
That story I
wonderful.
told you.
It was a full.
Yeah.
It was a full
Yeah.
palming. It was a good one.
Yeah.
Good, you got
Yeah,
a good
yeah,
one
good
in there.
A
one.
And
good
then-
solid. So Lindsay Lohan.
Okay,
when
I'm
she
sorry,
took
Marty.
that. That's okay. No.
Total tangent.
She said that people who told their stories look weak.
Oh, yeah, that's
Okay,
not good.
and that's where she was supposed to mark her dignified return into the mainstream.
Good luck.
Right. By being cast in Sky One, a Sky One comedy called Sick Note. After years of public controversy, but now Lohan has potentially ostracized herself
Once
from
again.
Hollywood's liberal elite after labeling women's #MeToo stories as weak.
That's terrible.
In an interview
That
with
doesn't.
the
that-
Times,
yeah, and now that you're at a biased place when you're with Hollywood's liberal elite.
Yes.
No, with anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
right,
Sorry.
right.
When you
Yeah.
call rape victims weak.
Weak.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
you're done.
Right. In an interview with the Times, Lohan said that women who shared their experiences of sexual harassment and assault during the #MeToo movement on social media were attention seekers. The Parent Trap actress stated, "If it happens at that moment, you discuss it at that moment. You make it a real thing by making it a police report." She then went on to discuss the negative impact she believes the movement has made on women's image more broadly. "I'm going to really hate myself for saying this," she said.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a
Clear
good
out.
time to shut your mouth.
Right, right.
So is your
Yeah,
publicist.
yeah. She said, "But I think women speaking against all these things, it makes them look weak when they are very strong women."
And
As-
it actually makes them strong to do.
I know.
my
I'm with you. As for whether Lohan has experienced assault in the entertainment industry firsthand, the actress said that she didn't really have anything to say and couldn't speak on something she didn't live. But she did.
But did.
No. But the actress later criticized the
She's
approach of
fucked up
women.
7,000 other
Oh
ways.
God,
Yeah.
right? She criticized the approach of women who had shared their experiences. You have these girls who come out who don't even know who they are, who do it for the attention. That is taking away from the fact that it happened. Lohan was previously condemned for defending Harvey Weinstein when the accusations of sexual assault first emerged. In a video, the star said, "I feel really bad for Harvey Weinstein right now. I don't think it's right what's going on. I think Georgina needs to take a stand and be there for her husband." Because she
Yeah.
was like, bye.
Yeah.
Lohan had shared
Well, if
her
you're
own-
Georgina Chapman and you are truly one of the most beautiful women in the world, and your husband is out feeling up every piece of ass in the world, you're leaving.
Yeah, bye.
And she doesn't. And people are like, "Oh, Georgina was just staying for the money." She's Marchesa. She co-founded
Right.
Marchesa.
Yeah, all right.
She has some
fine.
cash.
All right. And I
She's
just,
fine.
I have to say something.
No.
You know, there's just such a huge thing. She said you need to report it and make it real. There are so, okay, my head is like spinning right now. sexual assault and domestic violence goes unreported because of so many issues of fear, retaliation, shame,
The cop siding with the
cop
men.
siding with the man.
Yep.
There are so many reasons why, especially female victims and children,
Yep.
child victims, do not report.
And I'm going to
She's
say,
so
I would
fucking full of
add, and I
shit.
understand that you have the finger on the pulse of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I would add men as well.
Oh,
Do
no,
that.
they
No,
no. I don't mean about
I should have
assault.
included
Forgive
them.
me.
Yeah, they
I just mean
underreport
that
too.
As far as underreporting, because it
They
would
do.
be such a shame.
Everyone does.
In
Just
terms
kind
of
of
domestic
thing.
violence,
minute-
they do. They underreport.
Yeah.
The minute
It's not
the
manly.
minute you have
Right.
to make something that like that public, your life just changes.
Absolutely.
Like
And
the
so-
minute it happens, it changes, and then the minute you have to admit to someone else and go through
The process.
the process,
Yeah.
that's its own violation.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, you're
That's-
getting.
Oh.
It's happening
And
all over
I
again.
think she was
Yeah.
trying to make a kind of a fucked up point. Like, if they didn't call the police, why are they on the internet doing it now? Because that's a safer way to do it, and
Right.
also times have changed.
Yeah.
You know, so
And if you
there's
have
reasons why.
a group of people,
because you can take down Matt Lauer. Now all these
Yeah.
women
Yeah.
that were abused by Matt
Right.
Lauer
Right.
can be like, this dick kept me from a better
Yeah.
job and sometimes locked
right.
me in his office to touch my ass.
and it's not just about
With a-
Hollywood
with a
and
thing
the,
under
with the
the
thing in his
desk.
desk.
and it's not about just Hollywood and the liberal elite kind of stuff and all this, because I remember when this came about, and like Amina says in
Oh
there,
my
as
God,
far as
Amina, that is so right.
that people on the planet can't actually report. I mean, it just so
Because
it's
it doesn't
not-
even exist
It's
as
not
a
just in
crime.
Hollywood or that
Right.
that
Well,
just
and,
it
now we,
can't
and now we
happen.
have the Catholic Church.
Oh
Like,
my
Yeah.
God! Right.
Yeah.
like at breakfast
It's not.
yesterday.
It's not now. We have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right,
It's been
right,
going
now,
on
right,
for
now
a
we're
long
now
time.
we're finding out about
Yeah.
it.
Right, but now slowly, and everyone's acting surprised. But like, horrible joke. But yesterday at breakfast, somebody was talking about Mormons and Pepsi and how like you buy stock and all of a sudden caffeine's
Pepsi's
allowed.
having a good night today.
Right. So somebody said, "Oh, like the Catholic Church should invest in something." I'm like, "Yeah, lube," because that way they have permission to use
Yeah.
it.
Well, that and candles.
But I mean, just
Forget-
yeah,
sorry.
no, just
bad.
awfulness on every
Yeah. Yeah.
on every side. But the and we were just
If any,
talking about
if any Catholics are listening at this point,
Thank
you
you.
can just sign off now.
Yeah.
We're done.
No,
no,
sorry
I mean,
about that.
no, please.
Yeah.
If
They're
you're
probably
Catholic and you're worried about
recovering.
our podcast
Yeah.
after what's going on in your
Totally.
church,
Yep.
Well, Marnie, I like that our two topics actually segued. I
know.
didn't think they were going to,
Absolutely.
but
When you
maybe
said
we
that,
need
you
something
know.
a little
well,
more fun now.
watch how I play off
I
the problem.
like
Oh, no.
it. Go with that.
Cannabis stocks soared to new
Oh.
highs based on Lindsay Lohan.
That's fantastic.
Corona Brewer. So cannabis stocks have been soaring. Oh, motherfucker. This app is driving me crazy. I don't want to see pictures of Heidi Klum. Cannabis stocks have been soaring since the maker of Corona Beer boosted its investment in Canadian cannabis company Canopy Growth by $4 billion.
Oh.
The B.
Wow.
Rival Kronos Group, I don't know what that means, has soared more than 40% in the last week, including an 11% pop Tuesday. Tilray, another competition. Oh, Rival Kronos Group is the name of the group. I get it now. Another competitor, Tilray, just went public on the NASDAQ last month, has skyrocketed more than 60% in the last 5 days. Tilray shares were up 10% alone on Tuesday. So clearly, having the pot smoker anonymous Lindsay chatting,
right.
both companies, which are based in Canada, have clearly attracted more interest after Constellation took an increased stock in Canopy Growth. That deal announced last week led to a 30% surge in Canopy's stock. And this is one of those real pages. They have all their like stock names and trade names. Investors are betting that Constellation, which owns Corona and other spirits and wine brands, may eventually launch cannabis-based beverages and other products. Because remember, in Canada, pot's completely legal.
Right.
Like,
right.
there's no medical bullshit. There's no, you can't deposit your money.
I didn't know that.
Pot's on the up and up in Canada. Yeah, it just happened with Trudeau.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Just wanted
So,
him to say this.
infused drinks likely won't be for sale in the U.S., where cannabis continues to be prohibited by the federal government, but they could pop up in Canada.
Yeah.
Blame Canada.
Blame Canada,
Blame
for all their Hockley Bullabaloo, and the bitch
in
and Murray too. So, I have spoken too soon because recreational marijuana sales will become totally legal on October 17th, which may be another reason why the stocks have been rising. Kronos and Tilray, as well as Canopy, are all seeking to take advantage of Canada's legalization of pot, and there have been a flurry of announcements from the companies about their plans. So, and I don't know if there's a push this election for medical marijuana on the ballot, or if that's like coming up, or what the deadline is, because I keep getting like little things, but I'm like, it's August. Shouldn't you have a plan in place?
Sure.
You know, for a but I don't know if we start like I don't know how our primaries work. Do we primary in and vote like what things can make it on the official ballot? I don't know.
Well, you had to have signatures, all the signatures by July 5th
Okay,
for
that's what I mean.
anything to go on to the ballot. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's not a thing, right?
No, I don't think so.
It's far too late.
Mm-hmm.
Came along.
They're not even a real country anyway.
Canada, we love you.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. That's great.
For those of you that don't know what that is a clip called Blame Canada from the South Park movie
so
Bigger, Longer, and Uncut back in '99. Jeez, the South
That was
Park
a
has
long
been around a
time
long
ago.
time.
So
They're brilliant.
Wait, I gotta catch up.
You'll never catch up.
Freed all nonviolent.
They're starting.
They're
actually.
starting to.
Oh, President Obama moved to do that, and in California, Amina, they are starting to commute sentences of people who were jailed for selling weed
For non
and possession.
And I think Florida is trying to get the thing passed today where felons who serve their time can vote again.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Which hopefully Michael Cohen and
Oh, right.
Manafort are going to be on board with.
Well,
So they can still vote.
Yeah.
we'll see how.
After they serve their time.
That
Yeah.
You know, if they're pardoned. I
You know,
don't
when it
know.
happens to white people, all of a sudden
It
people
matters.
take it matters. Yeah.
Everything changes.
Yeah.
Isn't that convenient? I can't wait to watch Rachel. That's when.
Oh, it's going to
Later
be
tonight.
so good.
And Brian Williams, because
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
what bon mot will he throw at us?
And the dry humor he throws out during
Yeah.
it just cracks me up.
so
I do
good.
enjoy him.
Yep.
Our final headline story. Health officials in one Colombian coastal city have a controversial recommendation for residents trying to stay cool during an intense heat wave. Don't fuck.
Oh, that seems fair.
Wow.
And in the headline it says take a break from sex. I just thought I would add some drama to
Appreciate
it.
that. Yep. Well done.
Santa Marta City Health Secretary Julio Salas sparked a mix of laughter and disbelief this week when he urged residents of the Caribbean tourist mecca to refrain from sex during the day, only during the day, as part of a list of recommendations saying that they should stay hydrated, wear loose clothing, and prevent overheating. Apparently, sex does that to some people.
Yeah,
maybe.
If your air if your air conditioning doesn't have a setting that says sex,
Don't try it.
don't do it. You know what I mean? Just wait till winter.
Now, however, sex is considered only a moderate physical activity. You're doing it wrong. As
according to
as much of a strain on the heart as walking up 2 flights of stairs. This, according to the American Heart Association. Temperatures in the Santa Marta region have soared past 40 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit. You wimps, come to Phoenix, Christ. And Salas says medical facilities in the city of 600,000 have been overwhelmed with patients complaining of symptoms of heat stroke such as nausea and headache. So to alleviate those, he's just simply suggesting just calm down.
Right.
Cool your jets.
Keep it in your pants.
Literally keep it in your pants.
Right?
Literally keep it in your pants.
There you have it.
On the topic of headaches,
Hashtag it is
there
not
was-
okay.
There was always that joke on like TV shows and stuff and cartoons about, oh, I have a headache, not tonight.
Right.
You know what I mean? And as a girl who never gets headaches, I just didn't understand the crisis.
Yeah.
And then one day I was laying in bed with somebody when I had one of my very rare headaches, and I thought, you motherfucker, you come any
You
closer
got
with
it.
that thing, and I'm going to chop you up into pieces and mail you to Singapore.
Well, I'm going to. Wow. We're going to have an episode of
How very
Dexter.
specific.
It was. I had a plan. But
It's good to have a plan.
And you know how when it finally happens to you, you're like, oh, I get this now.
Right. I understand.
Well, that wraps up our headline segment. And we're going to move on to this.
Oh, we have two very, very, very sad entries into the death
Patti
den.
LaBelle.
We have an accident. Yes, Patti
Shut
LaBelle
Aunt
and Aunt
Jemima.
Jemima both passed this week, according to my sources
Tragedy.
at Fox News.
This just in.
Amina should provide her link again for her short story. It's 99 cents. I found that. Winona Ryder may be married. We have some predictions for Oscars 2019. Book suggestion for you because I read now. All kinds of stuff.
All this coming up in the next hour. Stick around. It's Q Talk America.
I'm on the board of directors of this lousy company.
You're listening to Q Talk America. This is the Q Talk America Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. It's our third and final hour of this Tuesday night. We call it the end of the hostage crisis.
Yeah.
I'm Clayton McKee alongside Doug Wilkie, Marnie Ryer, Al Perkins. We've already been here for a couple of hours, and I can't imagine you've missed it. But if you'd like to listen back to it, you can go to qtalkamerica.com and find our programming listed on demand for your listening and enjoyment. Also, it plays 24/7 on a continual repeat just to annoy you.
Wow.
On online, so you can subscribe to that feed as well. Also, if that's not enough, you can subscribe to it on iTunes, and it will then be forced upon you on a weekly basis, so you can get it alerted right to your phone. In addition to our YouTube channel, so many ways to enjoy us, and so much time to do it. And speaking of annoyance, here's Al Perkins.
Yep. So we'll start by popular demand. We'll start with Aretha Louise Franklin.
Yay.
Who went home to Jesus on August 16th, very famous day. Babe Ruth died, Elvis died, Madonna was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lots of birth and circle of life in August.
Yeah, August 16th. So there you go.
And isn't Prince, Michael Jackson, and Madonna all born 3 weeks
apart in the same
in
region?
In the same year?
Yeah.
And it just occurred to me she's the only one left
Still alive. Yeah, still
sad.
Can't kill her.
No.
I mean, no one's trying. But
Yeah.
Well, I don't think so.
yeah, she's not
Yet.
drinking propofol.
She does drink tequila on
Yeah.
occasion and ride around on a tricycle in a concert in South America.
But who doesn't, ladies and
Perfectly
gentlemen?
fine.
Yeah.
Willing to find appropriate
But it's just my
medical.
favorite Madonna story ever, but we probably don't have time for that.
My favorite thing is, like, go get medical help.
Yeah.
Like, Aretha lived to a ripe old age. Began her career singing gospel church at the New Bethel Baptist Church in Detroit, Michigan, where her father, C.L. Franklin, was minister. In 1960, at the age of 18, she embarked on a secular career, recording for Columbia Records, but achieving only modest success. After signing to Atlantic Records, where we get, and his name's going to be up here. I always
Clive
say it wrong.
Davis?
No,
Oh.
he's Arista.
Oh, that's right, my bad.
Armageddon. I always say his name wrong. Atlantic Records. So I get pissed off when somebody's playing a Motown night and they slip in Aretha Franklin.
Because it's not.
No, she is, because Atlantic Records had a stable of R&B. Stable probably comes off wrong, but they had like an array, a menagerie, whatever you want to call it. They had their own. They had Otis Redding. They had their own. They were known for their soul records, so they were known.
Yeah, I thought it was funny when they were showing all of the different, tributes to her. They showed the live shot outside of Motown Records and all the people, and I'm like, wrong.
Yeah, she was never on Motown.
No research.
Just because she's black and a great singer doesn't mean she came from Motown.
And my little claim to fame with her is that the song that was #1 on the week that I was born was "Respect." So.
Oh, I didn't cue that one. I'm sorry. I just.
Oh no, that wasn't one of the ones I did. So, and one of my favorite stories that Carole King, and I need some kind of a towel or napkin.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna share a story too. She hurt herself.
No, I just scratched myself. My skin's so fucking dry. So Carole King was hired with Jerry Goffin.
Songwriter.
You know what? I have to before I give someone credit that doesn't deserve it, because she did write with different people. Yes, Jerry Wexler was the producer. Jerry Goffin was the writer, her co-writer, and they wrote Natural Woman for Aretha Franklin. They were commissioned to write her a song to be a hit, and the song is called Natural Woman. That is, Carole King did not write the lyrics. She wrote the music.
Right, the music for it. But she's the one who always gets credited with it.
Right.
Solely.
Well, no, I mean, everybody knows Goffin and King. I mean, that's kind of the whole...
Right, but when you think of that song, you never...
Because she also sang
Nobody
it on
says, oh,
Tapestry.
that Goffin and King song. No, they always say the Carole King song.
Yeah.
Well, most people know
she's
that
more famous.
Right, but they were married, and they wrote... All of their songs are Goffin... Like,
average people might not know.
Yeah, but...
People like us know.
Us know, yeah, that she had a writing partner in the Brill
My
Building.
dad didn't know.
I did. She had a partner named Jerry Goffin in the
Right.
Brill Building. I was surprised, though, to find out that she wrote music. That Carole King wrote the music.
Oh, you thought she was just a lyricist?
Yeah, but especially with a lyric like Natural Woman, you would think the woman would write that. Yeah, it would go with identity politics on this one. And it was surprising to find out that he wrote the lyrics, gave them to her, and since they had it done, they did the demo with her trying to sing it the way she thought maybe Aretha Franklin would, and then they heard nothing back for ages.
That's a great story. They heard nothing
They heard
back.
nothing back, so they thought, oh, she must not have liked it. And then they found out that they had a hit, and they were like, with what? They're like, Natural Woman, and they heard it on the radio, and they were like, oh my God.
Oh, wait, I thought she was called into an office. I thought she said they were called into an office to hear, and they're like, what is this?
Oh, yeah, but it was, however they heard it, it was already
produced and done.
Produced, recorded,
Yeah.
released, and they were, so whether they heard it on the radio or they got called in the office, they heard it completed, and they were like,
wow.
We didn't even know that she liked it. And they're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a couple things that Jerry Wexler, the producer, put to it. And it just a great story. When it came time for Tapestry, where she decided to record all the songs that she and Goffin had written together. She wrote a little bit with James Taylor, too, here and there. She did it, but she had to do it her own way. She couldn't...
I love her version of it.
Yeah. But what it, like...
Beautiful.
And my woman I used to live with named Sue, she knew the Carole King Tapestry album. She wasn't familiar with the Aretha Franklin version.
Okay.
So when I played her for the first time the Aretha Franklin version, she was like... Funny thing is, like, Carole King's song is about dusting. Aretha Franklin's about sex.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
And it's kind of like the I Drove All Night thing. Like Celine Dion singing about the car.
Love that song.
Right. She's singing
Cyndi
about a car.
Lauper understands the lyrics.
Right. Yeah.
But
Long
and Roy Orbison.
she was named the
wrote
Queen
that?
of Soul, like, by the end of the 70s. At the end of the 60s, I'm sorry. Chain of Fools, Think, Never Love the Man the Way I Love You, her version of I Say a Little Prayer that she stole from Dion and, like, made a whole different song. And then I have to go put my glasses back on. She was dubbed the Queen of Soul, proclaimed I Never Loved a Man the Way That I Love You, Lady Soul, Spirit in the Dark, Young, Gifted, and Black, Amazing Grace, and Sparkle. Then she had problems, and she went to Arista for the next part of her career, and they decided to chase after the missing Donna Summer link, because Donna Summer was busy having babies and took some time off. So she wanted a pop audience. She didn't want to be just the R&B audience that had occasional pop hits. They're like, well, now there's this lane that's now open, so she went for pop hits, and she worked with it's Narada Michael Walden, I think, was the one that was just brought in and was like, you are going to have a hit. So they did Jump to It and
Freeway of Love.
Freeway of Love, but her first one was so much fun. There was Jump to It and Get to It, Get on It. The fuck was the name of that song? But Luther Vandross got involved. Like, everybody, get it right. Jump to It and Get It Right. That thing, she just kept trying to have hits, and then finally she hit with Get It Right. But Jump to It, so many fun songs, and so many people got involved in that late 70s, 80s when she was going through that transition and trying to find an audience again, and she was like, I'm done being fringe. Like, I want mainstream. And she really did hit. She got her shit done.
Yep.
Well, I had to Google it because I had forgotten how long ago it was. She was 44 when she recorded the duet with George Michael. I Knew You Were Waiting for Me. She was 44.
Wow.
And that was part
Really?
of
Yeah.
because he was Arista. So that was part of Clive Davis trying to get all his artists to self-promote and get that cross between, he wanted R&B hits, he wanted pop hits. He was trying to break the color barrier for all of them because Whitney Houston was breaking. She was playing on traditionally or almost all white stations. Like, he wanted everyone to have that success. He didn't want them to be, this is the R&B part,
Right.
this is this part. So, I mean,
Mainstreamed.
and so one of the things he did was using George Michael, and then unfortunately George Michael gave a blowjob in a bathroom. So his big thing was to pair him with, well, they did it with what's-her-face, too, with Jodie Watley.
He did Jodie Watley's.
But then later,
Whitney Houston,
and then Whitney Houston
Mary
one
J. Blige.
and they got shelled because of the blowjob in the bathroom. Like, that was his thing, was to get George Michael back in the mainstream, was to ride on. So anyway, so there was all these things and all these music executives playing games with her, but now we're just playing like 100 R&B entries, 20 number one R&B singles, the most charted female artist in the R&B history, 77 Hot 100 things, Rocksteady, Call Me, Ain't No Way, Don't Play That Song You Lied, Spanish Harlem, which is my personal favorite, which you just heard. Her version of Bridge over Troubled Water, Until You Come Back to Me, That's What I'm Gonna Do.
I love that song.
Such a gorgeous song, so much fun.
A Medal of Honor.
Yep, and she got the
And the Kennedy
Center honor, and then she
Yeah.
sang for Obama and Carole King and her tribute. But I mean, just a great career. We have made a lot of fun of her because when you've been around that long,
Yeah.
you're gonna have your hits and misses. And
Yeah.
I hope you just were ready for the other one. I didn't have to tell you. The I Dreamed a Dream, the screaming one.
Oh, no, I was not at all. But
Because we have, in the course of the last 6 years, had a lot of fun with Aretha losing her goddamn mind.
Yeah.
Don't we have him doing that
I
on
don't
one
know.
of the shows?
Yeah, because until we
Yes.
found it, we had to go with the what
Yeah.
in the hell is going on?
So are we
Yeah.
going to tell stories about Aretha?
Yeah.
did you watch? I feel like you watched the same interview I did with Carole King and Reverend Al on Chris Hayes.
Oh yeah, that was
So
where I
good.
saw it.
So
yeah.
the story that I heard that Reverend Al told, which I thought was such a cute story, he said that a couple years right at the end of the Obama administration, there was some jazz festival on one of the lawns of the White House. They were all outside. It was all done in tents. Blah blah blah. Big concert. A bunch of people were there. Aretha was one of the people that was there. So Reverend Al was invited. He shows up and he sees, I believe the gentleman's name is Eric, who was her escort everywhere. He took her. He walked her everywhere. A large black guy well, I don't know how tall she was, but he looked like a large black guy to me. But anyway, he was there, and Reverend Al sees him and says, "Hey, where's the queen?" And the guy motions to this tent. He said, "She's in there getting her hair done." So Reverend Al goes over and peeks his head in, and Aretha catches a look at him, and he says, "Hey, queen, how you doing?" Again, she's getting her hair done, and she says, "Life is good. Aretha Franklin's at the White House. We got a black president, and I'm getting my hair done." I just
That
thought
is
that is a
fantastic.
great.
I love it.
That is
That-
that was a cute,
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah.
I love
a
it. That's
cute,
right.
cute story of her.
Yeah.
Well,
Go,
we just
go,
go
go.
random.
But-
So I have an Al Sharpton. Maybe it wasn't the same interview, but I love that he told a little more serious story. But he said that, and I love this about her. She did a lot of things with no publicity about them.
Oh, yeah.
right.
I never knew this. And she has a great. She had another one interview with MSNBC about 5 years ago.
Well,
that
she
I
used to talk to
learned
Al all the time.
So-
She was on his show a lot.
And so he said that she never left Detroit. That was always her main residence. Even when the city went to shit, she was very loyal to Detroit. And then whenever they would do shows there, if there was like a thing, whatever, and Al said you always wanted to be with her because she always took everybody back to her house for soul food. That was like her thing that she did.
That's cool.
I know, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And I know.
I know.
It's so.
I like it.
And he also said that I thought this was great because I never heard anything about this, and she never wanted any publicity for it. In the beginning of the civil rights movement, because I guess she was the big voice, learned all these things about her that I didn't know.
That's the part that gets very little
Well, her
attention.
dad marched with Martin
Of
Luther.
course,
Yeah.
and that she said immediately when Martin Luther King was like, we're out there, and she was like, I can't, I'm not can't do what you do, so she did concerts for free and they never publicized that, but as a way to fundraise.
Right.
And he was like, well, how many can you do? And she said, as many as you need. And that was a huge thing for them, was that was her way of raising money. So they would go to churches and stuff.
And she would
just
write checks.
raise. Yeah.
And
she was so she gave so much money and help and support to the civil rights movement.
And wrote almost none of her songs. If I don't know of any that she wrote. There's none that I personally know of that she wrote. So she did, and she was. She was with the better of the record companies. Like Motown was famous for just raping their employees and leaving them penniless.
Yeah.
So she was with at least a better contract, but she didn't get the royalties from most of her songs. If
Yeah,
you didn't
the
use her voice,
songwriter gets it.
The songwriter gets it, and the publisher. So she didn't. Her money all came from performing. So to give up her concert royalties was a huge part. But she did play her own piano, and often did.
Did you see what Elton John's tweet about her was after she died? Oh my God, this is so cool. So we were talking about this. I think you and I were just talking about this, Al, that she was self-taught a piano player. So she didn't really read music. She wasn't taught the piano. But she had what's very rare, 1 in 10,000 have. I never knew this. She had perfect pitch. And so she could just knew what a key was. And Elton John's tweet, they were showing all the tweets after she died. And I loved his tweet. He said, she's great. He said all the right things. She's great. She's the queen and all this. He said, but a very underrated piano player. He said, she is my favorite pianist of all time.
Oh.
That's saying something coming from Elton John.
Right.
It's so surprised Carole King at the Kennedy Center Honors when she came out and sat down by her.
Right?
But if you
the look on her face just was.
Well, it wasn't that she was sitting at the piano; it was that she showed up because
Well,
she wasn't.
I think playing the piano might have been a big part of that.
But go on YouTube, kids. If you've seen Aretha Franklin, she
I know
always
that.
played the piano.
But Carole King said that she was surprised
that she played
Oh,
the
maybe
piano.
that
she came out and that she sat
But
down.
maybe
to do
that she accompanied herself at such a large venue might have been
Yeah.
a surprise.
Oh.
But Carole King, but Aretha
No,
Franklin
Aretha's always played piano.
Always played
Oh
piano.
no, that's not what we were saying.
Yeah.
That she came out and didn't just walk out and sing into
that
a
she
mic.
accompanied herself at the.
We're
yes.
getting all excited
Yeah.
about it.
And I love that when she walked out.
I was just gonna say 'cause this is another thing. People know she can play piano.
No, right. Well, actually, that's when Al Sharpton met her. He was going to his friend Cecil Franklin's new house, heard a piano, found which room it's in, and that's when he met Aretha Franklin. She was 6 years old at a piano just playing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's when he met her. But I loved on that Kennedy Center Honors. She walked. The only bitch who could get away with it walks out in a full-length fur coat,
Which I was like, that's
and
ridiculous.
throws her purse on the piano.
And her purse.
I
I
loved
know.
it.
Well, and one of the things famously about her performing is she would make them turn off the air conditioning.
Yes.
She did not like air conditioning,
Oh.
and most people did not like performing with her because it was
hot.
so hot under
Yes.
the lights. And then she would walk out in a fur coat because it was hot. It's winter. Well, it's not
Yeah.
really winter. I think they actually filmed the Kennedy Center Honors
It's in the
September.
fall. Yeah.
But she wears her coat, and she'll wear it on stage. And finally, she'll take it off.
When she gets warm
But
enough.
she doesn't like the chill of air conditioning and
Yeah.
has never had it. And people will be like, I'd love to perform with you, but I can't.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
I'm
you're
not going
crazy.
to be on TV sweating like a pig.
Right. So you know what? That's why she wore the coat. She got warmed up finally when she was standing there, and she took it off
Yeah,
and
she takes
sold
it
the
off.
rest of it. Here are songs that were written by or co-written by Aretha Franklin. Call Me, Daydreaming, Let's Get Away,
I did know about daydreaming.
Rock Steady,
Oh.
School Spirit, don't know what that is, Spirit in the Dark, Since You've Been Gone, Think, and Who's Zooming Who.
I didn't know she wrote
She
things.
wrote or co-wrote.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
I love that she wrote Since You've Been Gone too.
Rocksteady.
Rocksteady's a great number.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So another thing, this is a little more underground that I heard about her. Not after her death. This was years ago, but I thought this was really interesting, and I want to ask you guys this, Al, because there was.
I want to ask you guys, Al.
And Al. Well,
Yeah,
it's a theory. I just a theory that I have, but I'm wondering if there was something called. And the reason I'm asking you is because you know about her history of like touring and stuff. There was a thing in the '60s called, and the Chitlin Circuit was when black artists would do like Ike and Tina Turner. You know, they couldn't get a lot of mainstream gigs, so they just did the Chitlin Circuit in the South, and these are like roadhouses and this kind of shit. So this is I'm making this theory up in my mind, but they said that Aretha Franklin was notorious for even when she was super rich, when she was asked to do a gig, she demanded payment up front.
Oh, up front and in cash.
In cash. Oh, you know this.
Oh, I know
in
that.
in a big bag.
Yeah.
Like, and she.
Oh my God,
And
that's
she
hysterical.
wouldn't do it.
Right.
And if you didn't do
Yeah.
it. And I thought, and then we're
God,
talking
that's
big, important
great.
people, like
Yes.
who you're gonna get paid, right?
Right.
I mean, so I
Barry
thought
Gordy's
yeah,
giving
your
you
the
money,
check is
you know,
the
yeah.
deposit.
No, I'm just saying
the
that. It's the only
deposit's
name I can
going
think
to
of.
be
Yeah.
made, right?
Right.
But the only thing that's a pathology, right? When it's
Sure,
weird like
sure.
that. The only thing I can think of. Do you think that came from? This is conjecture, but like maybe that in those old days, Al, did she have to do those kinds of gigs where maybe the
You didn't know if you were gonna get
the
paid.
sketchy
Oh,
owner wasn't going to
sure.
pay
Oh,
you?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
you sing, and then they're like, "Yeah, fuck you," and then
Right.
you're like, and
Yeah.
they're like, "What are you going to go
And what are they
complain,
gonna
black
do?
lady?"
Right,
Yeah,
right,
right.
Well,
Yeah.
we
So do you
decided
think
to
that's
pay
where
you
that
$100 rather than $1,000
Yeah.
back
So-
in the day. Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, because
He
that's
was like, no.
no. I
If
want
Riri's
it
gonna
up.
sing, you're gonna give me cash now.
Yeah.
Right?
And she would keep
I
it
love-
on her.
and keep it on her,
Keep
right?
it on her. She would shove, according to the stories I heard, she would then shove
That
the
is
cash
like the greatest thing
in
in
her
the world.
bra and do the concert.
That's fantastic.
The other thing she
Yeah.
she would not
I'm so glad you knew
perform
this.
for segregated audiences.
Oh well, that's fantastic.
She was
Oh,
always
I
very
love
much on.
that.
She would never would.
Yeah, she wouldn't go anywhere. That,
you know,
she
and-
wouldn't play anywhere that was still
You know,
segregated.
ignorantly, because I had never studied anything about her or really paid attention. I didn't know that her dad was so incredibly involved in the civil rights movement.
I didn't
Yeah.
really know that either until
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
When I
But-
saw that on with the tribute front, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I mean, then
Yeah.
there were certain things that I
Amazing.
knew about her otherwise that made better sense.
Yeah.
But it was. I thought, wow, that's fantastic.
And it has been all over the news, obviously, since her passing. But I didn't know until this about the Jet magazine interview when the woman was arrested. Was it for protesting? And she put up the bail money.
Oh.
It was
Yes.
it was the black activist that was arrested.
Gina posted about that on Facebook.
And the quote was,
I
Ang-
love this. I
Not
love
Angela,
this quote.
Angela Davis.
Yeah.
Was that
Yes.
yeah.
The quote.
So-
Say the quote. It's great.
Well, and I'm going to paraphrase because I don't know that I have it exactly right, but it was basically, I have money. I got the money from black people.
That's
I'm
right.
giving the money back.
Yep.
Like
Oh, yeah.
it
Yeah.
was.
So cool.
She will be free, or something
Yes.
about freedom. She
Yes.
threw in there.
That's
So-
so great.
Amit Erdogan was the head of Atlantic. He was
That's
the founder
right,
and head of
Erdogan. Yeah.
Atlantic Records, and he was the one that kept that Atlantic Records. So if there's people that talk about like really loving classic R&B, and they always talk about like Berry Gordy was trying to make black artists sound white. He was trying to bring them over to the mainstream and have them get rid of anything that made them sound funky. Where Amit Erdogan, who was going the exact opposite way and wanted them to
Keep
be
the funk, but we're gonna
keep the
promote
funk,
it.
Stay
Yeah.
stay as true to you as you can, and like his list of artists is just incredible.
Amina, that is exactly right.
Amina just posted in the
didn't
chat
have big
room
boobs,
that
but
is so
yeah.
badass, singing with a fur coat and $5,000 in her paw
That's
in her bra.
Which makes her so real to me. That's what I
Right,
like
right,
about
Which made
her.
me think
right?
because they actually talked about also like she would cash up front, whatever, and she carried her handbag
Yeah.
everywhere. And I'm thinking to myself, did she throw that handbag down on that piano at the
Yeah, with all the cash.
with
cash
$100,000
Yeah.
inside
She
of it.
knew.
Yeah.
I thought that was fantastic.
One last one before. I'm sorry,
No,
Marnie.
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I hogged the whole segment, but this and Al,
But I'm going
Al
to
and I
more.
were. Was it the Academy Awards when she sang the? Was it the Academy Awards
The
or
Grammy Awards.
The Grammy Awards.
Where she
okay.
stepped in for Luciano Pavarotti.
Yes. So
Oh.
I have got this story wrong the whole time, and it's in the MSNBC interview that she did with a white interviewer who I can't remember. I always assumed that when that happened, Pavarotti was either sick or couldn't make it, and to sing it, and his was opera. That was the opera song that we all love.
He was under medical care, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was under medical care, and so they didn't know what to do. I thought, I was under the impression that she said, "That's okay, like I'll do it." That's not true. So Al, you can tell me if you remember this or not. They went to her. They couldn't get a sub, in time or whatever, and she was going to be singing something else that night at the Grammys. So they actually went to her and said, "We need you to do this part." And I thought it was very, very humble. She said, "I can't do that. I'm not an opera singer. Like, I can't do that." I didn't know this. I had the story wrong. I thought she said, "Oh no, me, I'll
That's
do
what
it."
I would have assumed.
Yeah, no.
No.
So, and this is true because she was telling the story, and she said, I was blown away, and she said, "I can't do that. I'm not an opera singer." And whoever the producer was said, "You absolutely can do it. You're one of the greatest, voices ever," and like gave her this pep talk. And this is the funniest thing. And then she said, "What key?" And then said, "Okay, I'll do it." Like, yeah, all right. You said how great I am. She he built her up.
What key?
What
Sure.
key? Don't do it.
Yeah.
Well, now that you've mentioned it,
And
I
then
bet I
walked-
can.
And then
Yeah.
walked out and did it. She just needed some
Some
encouragement.
encouragement, right.
So
Well,
that's one of my favorite memories.
And
but
almost no rehearsal with
zero.
Wow.
She had
with
the
her
paper
duet with her
thing in
duet
front of her.
partner.
Yeah.
They like went through, and she was the Judy Garland with that perfect pitch thing, and the fact that like couldn't classically read music, but if you said it there, she
Yeah.
it's a roadmap. You know whether to go high or low.
Yeah.
But they had played it for her once, and she was like, "Okay."
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Judy used to say, like harmony or where do you want it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've heard it.
No.
Right.
Stop playing it now. I'm good.
And did a fantastic job with it. It was one of those times you're like, all right, this bitch is for real.
Yeah.
For
And it was
reals.
Yeah, it was one of those things where you're watching,
Yeah.
you're going like, that wasn't even faking opera.
No. And I loved that.
There was a.
We need to find that
Oh,
on video.
she's saying if I'm playing on the piano, I'm going to have my eyes on the cash the whole fucking
Okay,
time.
yeah.
That's why she threw her purse on the
'cause
piano.
if you
Miss,
watch-
Miss Franklin, could I hold that?
I
for you?
bet she had-
You dare.
No.
And if you watch the clip because there's a side shot when she walks to the
Yeah.
piano and she throws
Just
that piano
bonk.
that
I love
purse
it.
down.
Or money.
Yeah, she throws that
Well,
bag down.
That
and then
bitch got paid.
That's right.
Then she just
Give me
starts to
some
play.
cash.
It'd be funny if she did that to Caroline Kennedy. Yeah, I'm going to need
Yeah.
the cash.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I like Carol as much as
Yeah.
you guys, but
Yeah,
I'm going to
enough.
need to see the
Yeah,
cash.
don't give me a check.
I hope she had good security.
Who's
Oh,
gonna fuck with
who's
Aretha
gonna fuck with
Franklin?
Aretha?
Yeah.
And she's
Also,
got
I
the
You think
better
she had a
boobs.
knife in her bra too?
never know.
I bet her boobs were not that big. That was just all cash.
This is all cash.
That was just cash. Talk about bought and paid for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she had. I just saw the clip,
Oh my God.
the Divas Live, where
Oh my
she
God.
sang with
Oh,
all
I
of
love that.
She sang with all of them singing "Natural Woman," and it was
Yep.
very nice.
And
but it's like.
Celine Dion wouldn't shut up.
Yeah, but it's like a year later that she lost her damn mind because she tried to do a duet with Mary J. Blige. And I don't know if she felt threatened, but she just shit all over Mary J. Blige. And it was
Yeah.
just so awful to watch of
Yeah.
like, just listen to your partner
Yeah.
sing the song.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
to watch that and like, oh, that's a year before that she let all those other women sing
Right,
their song.
right,
She
right.
learned that lesson.
Yeah.
So on that story of the first one, the divas
With all of them, yeah.
And so I guess the scandal there was, and she just probably gets in his zone. They had their parts, and there's the part where then Celine Dion's supposed to sing, but Aretha was before that, and she just kept going because she like found the
Right.
joy.
Jesus, yeah.
And so Celine Dion was like trying to like out sing her, and she was just like, no, that's not going to happen.
Sorry, skinny white girl.
And I know, and it's just like so pathetic.
And
like,
if you watch it, she's just singing her own song.
right.
Like she's just riffing on
Right,
stuff,
yeah.
and
But
she just starts to ignore them.
I know that people love to rip Mariah Carey, but I've always liked
Yeah,
her, so I'm going to defend
I'd
her
like
because
to-
when you
I'd
watch
like you
it,
to rip on her.
Mariah Carey's smart enough to see it happening,
Yeah.
so she just stopped singing.
Yeah. She does.
She probably
yeah.
wasn't
She looked
singing
over and went,
anyway, but
Yeah, I'm good.
Aretha, because she does her part. She sings
great.
her little,
Funny.
because her and Gloria Estefan share a verse.
Yeah.
And that's all they get is their one shared verse.
Right.
And then Mariah and Gloria and Carole King just sing the back. They just
Right. They're
harmonize
backing,
with the
yeah.
backup singers. They're not trying to add anything, although Mariah could. She
Yeah,
was. She
but I love
still had
that
the
she
upper
didn't.
register. Yeah, but she just went and they just started doing the backup singers, and it got funny to watch.
Yeah.
because Celine is trying to like.
She's doing that.
Yeah, she's trying to do the whole camel toe
Mariah,
cam.
and
all
Mariah
that
looks
shit.
over at it, and she's like,
No. And Mariah's got that ridiculous
that big hair. Okay.
She looks like a cartoon character.
I'm gonna go home and watch that again. It's so good.
I thought it was. I saw Carrie Gordy on CNN. I'm assuming that it's Barry Gordy's kid, but I don't know. Is the president of Paisley Park Records, and was talking about
Which is
Aretha.
weird because then you go through Prince to get there and through Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
But it's even the strange thing is that she was from Detroit, came up, but she went through Columbia Records like Barbara Streisand. Like she never went for that.
Kerry Gordy is the son of Barry Gordy.
Son. Okay.
He was telling a story, so I kind of took it back to Janet Jackson, and where she, Miss Jackson, if you're nasty,
yeah,
right. And he was telling the story. He said that he thought that the story embodied who she is. That the current COO of his company was an agent at William Morris. And one day, this gal was a junior agent at the time, and she was sitting at a desk when Aretha called. And Aretha says hello, and she says, "Oh, hi, Aretha." And Aretha's like, "Wait a minute. Do you know me? Do I know you? You call me. You refer to me as Ms. Franklin, not Aretha. I want my respect." And and he says, and I think that she embodied the song, like just in general, that everything that was just about her embodying respect. And so it made me think of Janet.
Yeah. And but the shitty tell all about Diana Ross.
And Diana, Miss Ross.
Call her Miss Ross. And the fact that some of the girls that knew her from the neighborhood when she was Diane would just to fuck with her, call her Diane, like
and the most
unfancy.
passive aggressive thing that I
yeah.
absolutely love is Mary Wilson's biography. And of course it is her, because her real name is Diane. It's not Diana.
I did
and
not
I think
know
this
that.
I
is
didn't know that
her
either,
name is
uh-uh.
Diane Ross, and they had
I
the falling out with
didn't know,
Mary Wilson. So that is her actual name. So it's half passive aggressive and half not. But I loved it. For the entire book, she never once refers to her as Diana. It's Diane the whole fucking time. Even when she's the biggest star.
that's
She's like,
great.
and she does it even when she's saying nice things. She's like, and Diane was like, just Diane.
Just to get.
Don't you know Diana Ross wanted to fucking
Yeah,
kill her?
I'm sure. That was but
she
wasn't
did
that
that
like
whole
a
thing.
Betty Davis
No, she was just bitter because she felt that they were inducted. Their year for induction came up when they were the Supreme, so it was 25 years. It wasn't until a couple years later that they became Diana Ross and the Supremes.
Okay.
So the induction it has to be 25 years from your first recording. They were the Supremes. So they couldn't induct them as Diana Ross and the Supremes, even if they wanted to, because that would be considered like a different group, and they would have to wait 25 years till then.
Got it.
So then she kind of wanted to be inducted again as Diana Ross and the Supremes. And her solo time has come up, and I don't think she's even ever been nominated as a solo artist.
Okay.
But so she was shitty about going in as the Supremes and not Diana Ross and the Supremes. But there's rules,
Of course. But weren't there like
But
kind of
are you trying to call her
things-
Miss Ross part?
That
was just
no,
she made like the
no,
help
the
call
feud
her
between-
that.
because
The feud.
That's where
The feud?
Yeah.
Oh, because Diana Ross was a bitch.
No, I know, but
that was
similar.
that was one of the falling outs of her because Mary Wilson thought it would be a great idea for them to get back together and possibly tour, and it would start with
I recall when they did that.
and it was the induction was to be the start of we could make a fortune if we go
Of
and tour as
course.
the Supremes.
Sure. Yeah.
Because Cindy Birdsong is
Birdsong,
still
yeah.
alive.
And
The
Florence
replacement
Ballard.
dead.
Got it.
Go,
Super dead.
go.
So they wouldn't have to go with the bad blood with Florence Ballard. They could use Cindy Birdsong, and
I just
be
thought
fine.
it was kind of I
Florence
just kept
Ballard who
wanting
died
to say
in a
Faye
poorhouse.
Dunaway, but not
Yeah. Right.
See, it doesn't matter. I'm a bad gay person.
So I mean, but there's all
You
kinds
drive a
of bad
Subaru,
blood.
you're doing your part.
But that was the
That's a good
public
call.
feud was over the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
Right,
Because
right.
she was real. She was a shitty.
Joan Crawford, for the love of Christ.
Oh my
That's
God!
all
I didn't know where you were going.
Yeah, I didn't know she was just screaming out names. So
No, Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, like
Yeah.
their kind of feud.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what
that
I
was a
was
major
thinking.
league
but
one.
they were
Yeah.
on good terms right at like pretty
Up
much
until-
until then, and then
Okay.
Mary
Yeah.
Wilson was like,
Yeah, fuck you.
Fuck
And
off.
Cindy Birdsong could always go back to LaBelle because that's where they poached her from the Bluebells.
Mini Aretha.
Yeah, no, but what?
I'm kidding.
Oh,
Patty
yeah. Oh, and then the fun of Fox
News.
Fuckers.
Aunt Jemima.
We're still in the entertainment
God.
section.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that.
Damn
But
it.
continue
That
on.
was
So, all right. So now we have to go with, and
There's
I can't
your
find.
Aretha, Nero.
Okay, so a sad,
enjoyed
another
it.
another truly tragic death. Well, we'll decide how tragic when we see how old he was.
I have absolutely no idea.
But Craig Sedan, one of film and television's most prolific producers of musical, has died. He was 69, and I have told you all for years, when Neil and Craig make something, you just show up.
Okay.
They did all the revivals in the 90s of Broadway musicals for ABC. They did Annie. They never got to Guys and Dolls. They did Annie. They did The Music Man. And they took the musicals and put them back in their original form to make up for horrible movie versions of said things.
Oh, okay.
They famously did Chicago. They did Hairspray. Following shoulder replacement surgery. Oh my God. On behalf of his life partner, Eldwood Hopkins, and his producing partner, Neil Marone, we are stunned that the man behind so many incredible films, theater, and television productions, several of them joyous musicals, were taken away so suddenly. So this is young and tragic. Craig's distinguished career as a passionate and consummate producer is eclipsed only by his genuine love for thousands of actors, directors, writers, musicians, designers, and technicians he worked over the years. His absence we felt in our hearts and throughout the business. And this is something that these two I have been pushing for years. If they do Gypsy was how they started. Bette Midler in Gypsy. They wanted a filmed version of Gypsy where the person playing Gypsy Rose Lee not Gypsy Rose Lee, but Mama Rose could sing.
Okay.
So they got together with Bette Midler and The Wonderful World for CBS. I'm sorry, that one was for CBS. And then they did Cinderella with Brandy. They did the revivals of How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying with Matthew Broderick, Promises. And my favorite story about them, they earned 6 Academy Awards, 5 Golden Globes, 17 Emmy Awards, 2 Peabody Awards, a Grammy Award, 6 GLAAD Awards, 4 NAACP Image Awards, and 2 Tony Awards.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Amazing. But one of my favorite stories of him, and he is the one that got us the gay, the Cup of Christ. What's that called?
Wine?
The Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail. He got the gay Holy Grail.
Joan Crawford.
Right, Jesus.
Because he was having, and I don't remember which one, I'm going to confuse whether it was Neil or Craig, but I think it was Craig, tells the story of, as a child, being in the Broadway audience of the filming of Liza with the Z. He grew up, became friends with Liza Minnelli, was having dinner at her house. He and Craig and their partners were having dinner with Liza, and they were talking about how much they loved Liza with the Z, and she was like, I own the rights to that. And they were like, what?
Yeah.
How is the greatest filmed musical live concert in television history sitting unwatched and you own the rights? How do you own the rights? And she was like, no one's ever asked about it. I don't know. So they brought it to Showtime, they brought it to CBS, they brought it to Viacom, and they sold it. And after 30 years, it only played twice on television.
Yeah,
it was
never
never
seen it.
repeated. It was never available on video. They did this breathtaking, and it still looks fake. He's seen it. I think you've seen it. It looks like she's lip syncing. It doesn't look
Really?
technically possible because they were able to punch up the sound so well that you can't believe that it's a live performance.
Happening. Yeah.
Wow.
But truly genius, and it was their gift. And they said they knew, they were like, we are going to make so many gay men happy right now.
Yeah.
That Liza with the
They're
Z
gonna have a
that you've
stroke.
always wondered what is happening, because the musical Fosse, when they were putting together things to put into the musical Fosse, they stole from Liza with the Z a few times, but people were like, well, how would we know if this is real? There's only a few people that have seen it, or people that saw it in the 70s before there was any way to tape it or anything. So it just didn't exist. There weren't even bootleg copies. There was no way to find it. And just this dinner with saying he was a fan and he was in the audience.
That's fantastic.
And to find out that Liza didn't have to fight anybody, I own the rights to that.
No contractual.
Yeah, gays around the world lost their mind. And I mean, everybody was there when that fucking shit came out, because I made everybody watch that. Okay, so we'll go through a couple more things. Funny story, death in marriage. Winona Ryder says she and Keanu Reeves got married during Dracula. And now Francis Ford Coppola, but I don't think he directed it. I can't remember who directed that version of Dracula. in Romania while filming the movie, because the director. Somebody's got to look up the director for me. Oh, in that scene, Francis Ford Coppola, I was right, used a real Romanian priest.
You're welcome.
We shot the master and did the whole thing, so I think we're married, because when they tried to do the ceremony, he thought it looked fake. So he was like, let's shoot a real traditional wedding, and then we'll edit it out so it'll look more real, because he didn't like the way they staged it. So they actually had a ceremony, but
That's fascinating.
so people are saying like they probably didn't use their real names. They would have used their characters' names, and they never signed a piece of paper afterwards.
Right.
But in the eyes of the church,
they are
probably
married.
Oh, wow.
I love that.
Their characters are married.
Yeah.
No, but like religiously, those
They
two
are
people are
married.
married.
Yeah.
Under a different
Because
name.
you don't say
Yeah.
your name, you just say I do.
I do,
You
like-
don't
Oh,
say
that's
it.
right.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
don't say.
So-
you say, do you take this person?
Yeah.
So legally, they're probably not married because I never
That's
signed
right.
anything. But who knows what the fuck they do in Romania?
In the eyes of God, they
Yeah,
are.
right,
But
That's
Francis
funny.
Ford Coppola came out and said, "Oh, she might be right."
And Keanu Reeves came out and said, "What?
What?
No,
She
Keanu
stole
Reeves
my
said,
heart."
So
Get it?
Keanu
'Cause she
Reeves
was a
said, "Oh
klepto.
my God, I think we're married."
That's awesome.
Well, weren't they? Oh no. Who was
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
That's right.
I'm like, who got I
Oh,
Love Wine or
yeah.
whatever.
That
So it's
is
just
so
this
funny.
funny story going on around the internet, and it sounded like yet another crazy Winona
funny.
story. And then you find out
No.
everybody's backing her up, like, "Oh my God, that was
That's
real."
true.
Like we did the whole
I love her.
ceremony. And
I
just,
don't care that she shoplifted. I
Oh,
love
she's
her.
a twitchy mess. I
Oh,
enjoy
she
her.
really
She was in
is.
Heathers, and that's all you need to know. That redeemed her forever.
Oh, and she's so good in Strange. Because now here's my theory on that one.
Here we go.
She is playing the Heather's character who watched a high
Yes.
school almost get blown up and her
Yes.
boyfriend get killed as the adult in Stranger Things.
Oh,
it's just
I
the
love this
grown-
theory.
You're right.
It's just the
That's true.
grown-up
I
Heather. She's
love
a
it.
nervous fucking train wreck
Yep.
of a human
I
who has
love it.
seen teenagers do terrible things to each
That's
other.
the greatest theory ever.
It is. It's right up there with
It's
the
good.
true story of the dead lady who.
And Reba being a man.
That's the dead lady. Okay. We're gonna race to the rest of this because that's
Sure.
not a real thing. That's not a real thing. That's not a real thing. Okay, so let me see. I think there's something I'm obsessed with. Hold on. Stay there. Stay there.
Stay there.
I don't write things down in the same place.
I wonder who they're going to have perform for Reba on Kennedy Center Honors. I mean, are they going
Oh man.
to
I think
are they going to dig up old Patsy Cline and have her come out and do
Oh, right.
little?
Kelly Clarkson.
yeah,
Yes,
Kelly
Yeah.
Clarkson. I think
Clarkson.
That
Dolly.
would
I
be
think
good.
Dolly might come
Sure.
out and do something. I could see that.
What about Carrie Underwood?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could see that.
true. Well, that was exciting.
And then someone fancy.
That was a thrill.
Someone fancy.
Okay, so because I gave up the solitaire game, I decided after finishing the Versace miniseries, which just terrific.
Yeah.
And really, what good happens when you just put Ryan Murphy's name on something and let someone else take over? Like, that really doesn't go astray. But I was curious about a couple things that I thought, well, that's too outlandish to be true, when it turns
Then
out
you
they
read
were
the book.
actually true.
Yeah.
Or
So
read
now I'm
part of
reading the
it.
book called Vulgar Favors, written by Vanity Fair.
Marie North.
Yep. An article that was lengthened into this book, so well researched, and interviews with everybody, but again with the bias. Like, she's clearly, well, I don't know if she clearly is, but she writes this as a judgy homophobic bitch. Like, it does
because that's
not.
the 90s.
Oh, it is real, and it's after watching The Staircase and watching those people with the, he was bisexual, doesn't make him a murderer. Like,
Yeah.
settle down.
Right.
Okay.
They do not equate. And to read about the 90s in San Diego, when I was kind of in San Diego with Harrison a lot in the 90s.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And I mean, the bars, the people, the bartenders' names, like some of these people, I'm like, oh, a little too close to home. Like,
Isn't that eerie to read like a place that you were at and a person that was there, and it's in a book you're reading? You're
and
like,
it's not
what?
like, oh, this story took place in like Gilbert, and I
That
live in
sounds
Phoenix.
Yeah.
and isn't it
familiar. Oh,
You're like, no, this
I
takes
was
place
in
at
the
the
bar.
front bar at
Yeah.
Flicks
Flicks.
and at Riches, and they lived on
Right.
Vermont, they
Yeah.
lived on Richmond, or they lived
Oh,
on
man.
Washington, and who the
Yeah.
apartments were. And
Crazy.
then they brought up the Wussy Pussy. West Coast Production Company over by the warehouse district by the airport downtown that was called the Wussy Pussy with all the drugs.
Oh, we went.
I'm not even
You
sure
and I
what to
went
do
there
about
together.
that. Yeah.
Harrison and I used to go to the Wussy Pussy every time I was out there, and
Yeah.
one time
I just
screamed
appreciate
and
you
ducked
continuing to say wussy pussy.
because that's what it was called.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm just loving that. That's fantastic.
Because when she said West Coast, I was like, what
And
the fuck is she talking? I'm
uncomfortable.
like, oh my god, the West Coast Production Company, like the
Yeah.
Wussy Pussy. I'm like,
It's the
if you
first bar I
did,
ever went to in San Diego.
if you did your research, the second thing you would have heard them say is what it was called. But as she's describing the bar, I'm like, oh my god, I hit flashbacks about this place. But kind of like condemns all of us as being crack addled, like
Deviants.
that all like that. There's nothing but gym bunnies and crackheads, and that's all San Diego is. And then it's just such a small knit community.
She watched the video Physical a lot. Apparently.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
I wonder what she would say about it now if asked.
I think there's parts of it that I think she would
She
be
would
like,
dial that back.
oh god, I
But
don't need, I don't
things
need
are
to paint
written in the context of the time, and the homophobia was much more just.
And she was doing a
that-
story about somebody who
I
was
remember
a
the
drug
news.
dealer.
Remember the? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
The news coverage of that was also terrible.
Yeah.
I apologize, like Marnie
I know
said.
exactly.
I
The
just do it.
apology
But
was
the news
real.
coverage was that same way.
Yeah.
It was like
It-
homosexual
Right, yeah.
Andrew Cunanan. I was like, good lord,
Right.
that's
And it-
not the gay part doesn't have anything to do with it.
But it did for how they treated the crime and the fact that the one victim they thought was the murderer, and so they didn't go looking for the airports. They never went looking for De Silva, Cunanan, whatever name
Right.
he was going by. They never went looking for him because they just assumed that because Cunanan showed up with a bag of steroids, probably to sell, because that's what would sell in that area. He was going to someone who worked out all the time and was recently into bodybuilding. Like maybe he could help him sell these illegal steroids. They assumed they were the murder victims and that he was on a roid rage and killed somebody over a lover's triangle. And then someone they interviewed told them that they thought that the one guy, David, had given Andrew HIV. And so I mean, it just turned into this filthy story of them not, and that's why it's called the largest failed manhunt in U.S. history.
No shit.
Because
Yeah.
they were always behind and
across
always
the whole
doing.
country.
And
Isn't that weird as a gay man thing and they were always behind?
Oh my god.
Well, there you go.
Drop the mic.
Knocking on the back door. So.
Knock, knock,
Oh my.
knocking
Good
on
night,
the door.
affiliates.
Good night.
That's
Thank
where
you,
we go.
Phoenix.
So once you get over the tone that she uses to paint all of us
Yeah,
in
I'm
this
still reading it.
drug-addled
Yeah.
haze, but she really is interviewing all the right people and getting the stories of
And she's
like
a good writer.
she's a very, very good writer, and it just, like I said, it's just that bias that especially after watching The Staircase, where they keep making different documentaries and changing the bias, that you're like,
Yeah.
well, now whose side are you fucking on?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
now this whole thing makes these people look dirty when the guy that you just said told me was a murderer is
Right,
Yeah.
right.
innocent, but you spent 6 fucking hours telling me the guy killed everybody. So it's just funny to watch something so biased into like, oh, it's this subset of dirty people, but isn't it fascinating to
Right,
read
right.
that they had lives and
Yeah.
loves? I mean, it just there's an ick quality that
Who'd
you
have
just
thought?
oh, you just can't get.
That's what I don't like about a lot of true crime fiction, which
Yeah.
surprises some people that I don't really follow a lot of it because it's so exploitative, if that's the right word, exploitation.
Yeah.
That I don't always like it. It's
Yeah.
too like, look at those people. I'm like,
And a
yeah,
lot of
those
times-
people had families, that,
Yeah.
and you're getting all geeked out over it.
And a
you
lot
know?
of times the
I
writer
can
goes
watch
in with the
anything on
bias,
Ted
and
Bundy.
if you feel the bias, you
Anything.
really don't trust the writer.
Yeah.
You feel like, what are you holding back?
Right.
But I mean, honestly, she aside from the tone that she writes a lot of it in, it's well researched. It
Yeah.
takes everybody's point of view. The one cop, she tries to portray him as, she gives his side of the story where he was like, I was so worried about OJ, and I was so worried about how we were going to be perceived and what we were going to be
Yeah.
accused of with this murder, that I wanted everything done by the book.
Yeah.
And they'll say, like, this is what the family said you said, and he instantly became the bad cop in the thing, and he's like, I don't, but perception being reality, he doesn't have that idea that he ever said any of these things in his family or why the family would be so mistrusting of him. But when the other cop was someone that they trusted, he was like, I just let them be the good cop. He's like, but I don't get why I'm doing this. And then the family tells you what he said out loud, and he's like, and he responds to it. She tells him, this is what the family said you said about their son. And and it's only a few years later. It's not like written now. The book was written, I think, in like 2001 or 2000. So it's only a few years have passed, and he's like, maybe I did. I don't know. But it's so funny to see like the bias, and just the bias from so many different places of one question about, well, who's this guy? You know, because there was no real connection between the two guys in Minneapolis, except for they both knew him, and they kind of took turns with the visit. But they weren't a couple. They weren't they weren't even really friends. Like they just knew of each other because he would come to visit, and they would try to pawn him off because they were both done with them.
Right.
So it's very interesting. The Lee Miglin story is it's crazy because they don't know what the connection is, and the connection might be the son, because the son lived in San Diego and was trying to be a movie star, and he might have secretly been in that crowd. And
well, they now, unless it's not real, they show Lee Miglin at a party in the San Diego at the mansion of the guy. Like they crossed paths there.
Right, but they don't know. So that's the part that I'm currently reading. So as far as like the writing goes now, there is no connection, and there's a little part earlier where there's something to do with the but not the game show network, the home shopping network, where a lot of their bigwigs pass through San Diego. So they're like, is that the connection? But as far as I can tell, and like I said, I'm a little bit more than halfway through the book.
But his wife he wasn't part of the home shopping network. It was his wife.
But he did the marketing for her.
I have to tell you this.
He ran the business part of it for her.
Marilyn Miglin.
Yeah.
So this blew my mind. So my battles with insomnia, right, that have been this ongoing thing that Al's been trying to help me with. Like 3:30 in the morning the other night, and I channel surf when I have insomnia. Sometimes I can't just even focus on a show. I just need whatever. And Home Shopping Club, and I clicked on it. Marilyn Miglin was on. She is still working it on there. I was just blown away. I was like, wow. So did you love Judith Light?
Absolutely.
Wasn't she amazing?
Yes.
Now that you've seen it, we can talk about it.
So far, like the description,
I think she was the best part of that show.
I go Max Greenfield. I thought was absolutely fantastic, and I liked.
She was just so good.
I liked the two boys in Minnesota. I thought Darren Chris's performance for 9 straight hours, or however long that was crazy. It's really well done.
She just brings it every time, though,
and she really does, because her part in that book is very short, and it's all about the finding the body and her like, I'm gonna keep this together.
Yeah.
Like, I'll cry when I have to cry, but the rest of the time we are just going to get through this.
Right.
And the police report she said, like, she told the neighbors, he's dead. I know he's dead. They're never going to find the killers. And their house was always open. They didn't close drapes. They didn't close blinds. They were known for this big, white, spacious, open house. And the first thing she did, as they're, like, trying to find the body and don't know what's going on, she opens the drapes. And they're like, you probably shouldn't touch anything. She's like, I don't care. They'll never find this guy.
Right. Wow.
And so you don't but
I cannot wait to read
it. For those of you
it's a quick read.
For those of you who have not seen it and may not understand who we're talking about, the wife, Marilyn Miglin, is the widow of one of the men that Andrew Cunanan had murdered. So I'm going to show you this picture. So on the right is the actual Marilyn Miglin, and then on the left is Judith Light, made to be.
Yeah.
But
thank you for finding that.
She is a character that Judith Light in anything is
She
fantastic.
just brings it.
But she played the shit out of that character in that movie.
Really did.
She's like
and
completely
such dignity.
the TV.
It's like
Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep.
Yeah. No, there's no question. And I know I told you because this is a show none of you have ever seen because she's got top quality shows that she's been on, but she was on the reboot of Dallas, which was really
that's right.
a terrible show. But I watched it because I loved the hot lead guy who's now on I forgot. Anyway, he's super hot, so that's the only reason that I watched.
It's irrelevant.
But when she's on it in that piece of shit show, it's like she's doing fucking King Lear.
Yeah.
Like, right? Yeah. It's like this ridiculous character. Right. It's overwrought, overwritten nighttime soap opera, and she's selling it like it's fucking Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Well, and she made Ugly Betty. Like, Ugly Betty was already good.
Yes.
Right. She raised everybody's game.
I forgot about
that. And it didn't matter how silly they made the storyline.
So let
me just point out the fact that she was on Law and Order.
Yeah, she's.
And who's the boss?
Right.
Isn't that how she started?
Oh, no. One Life to Live.
One Life to
Live. Karen, the prostitute on One Life to Live.
That's right.
One Life to Live. She was ABC.
Horror.
So, I mean, she's fantastic. And then I'll just say about a movie that's out right now. Please go see it. It is a study in like sex and craziness and the real stories of Hollywood. But Scotty Bowers. It's from a book called Full Service that he wrote a couple years ago. He was like the bartender pimp of Hollywood out of a gas station is my favorite part. the Richfield gas station on Hollywood Boulevard, where he was like, people were turning tricks in like the bathroom behind. All the stories about Walter Pidgeon being gay, absolutely true. Later outed. Cary Grant was like the worst kept secret in Hollywood.
Had all kinds of boyfriends that lived with him.
Well, he was Ori
Kelly,
Kelly's
yeah.
first boyfriend, and then he moved on to, and I'm going to forget the gentleman's name that was his Tyrone Power, maybe. I don't want to disparage his name, but his next partner photographed together constantly, and they were roommates.
Yeah.
Okay.
They lived together,
Right.
like bachelors do. You make
When
that
you're
much
rich.
money,
Yeah.
motherfucker, and you got a roommate. You're gay.
Who's your buddy?
Who's your buddy?
Who's your buddy?
Well, that's surprisingly
always behind
that's the
him?
recurring theme because this guy talks about his work. Scotty Bowers
you laughing
talks about his
I'm
work
laughing at
experience,
Marnie.
and he helps
Her
because
commentary
he helps
of
with a
being
book about
behind it
soldiers
all.
called My Buddy, because that was his question: who's your buddy? Who's going to get you through this trauma? And there's that war song, My Buddy. So I mean, just funny that you said that. Oh my God! So the stories are hysterical, and the
what's
worst
it called?
part is called
It's full service.
is the book. I can't think what the movie's called.
Oh.
Scotty Bowers, the blah, blah,
movie's
blah of
out
Hollywood.
now?
The movie's out. It's
Oh,
playing
okay.
at the Valley Art.
All right.
And it's one of those things where like,
Who's
who's your buddy? So
Who's your
you,
buddy?
oh, and like, but there's so much dangerously wrong psychology from this man who acts, and he's 90 years old. He's still getting up on the roof, fixing his roof.
Wow.
He feeds the animals outside, which I scream during parts of. But then he goes and there's a lot of these hustlers from back in the day that are still alive. So people will be like, oh, you're just making this up. You're really ruining someone's life. And he's like, well, you want to go meet another hustler? And he goes and meets somebody who's got pictures of Hollywood stars on the wall. And he's like, oh, my
Right.
God, yeah, he had a big cock.
Right.
And then they'll show pictures of them, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, you're making it up. Well, here's these nude photographs.
Mm-hmm.
And then this actor, like, because he has houses, you're like, how do you have multiple houses in the Hollywood area? Because one of the actors left him his house.
Yeah.
And Corbin Burnson from L.A. Law is the actor who died's godson and wants the... I'm going to spoil this one part of the movie because it fucking killed me. So Corbin Burnson wanted the actor's ashes, and he wants to take them out on a boat and spread them into the Pacific. And Scotty Bowers is like, fuck no, he would have never gone for that. But because he doesn't throw anything away, the ashes are in a car parked in someone's garage in the trunk where they've never moved since the guy who put them in the trunk of the car and then died. He has to go find them because somebody sold that one house. So now, and I'm like, Corbin Burson's got to be watching this movie because part of it's about his godfather who he loves. And he's like, he really would have wanted his ashes thrown off the deck. And there's a hole in the deck that they never got fixed, and the wife almost fell through and died. He just pours the ashes through the hole in the deck. And he goes, that's what he wanted.
Oh.
And then he gets a hose and like sprays off the rest.
That's fantastic.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
like, oh my God, is Corbin Burnson watching the
He's gonna
giant
have a stroke.
fuck you for his God,
What
godfather.
is this movie called?
It's called, somebody's got to Google it. I need a Googler. Scotty Bowers. It's based on Full Service. Oh, Scotty Bowers and the Secret History of Hollywood. Documentary.
Did you see it at the Valley Art?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God. And like his stories of my.
Is it there now?
Yeah, right now. Katharine Hepburn.
Why are we here?
Yeah.
Right.
So
We're
George
going
Cukor,
tomorrow.
who was a woman's director and was like openly gay, made it through, like never got touched by the gay scandal. He was arrested once, and the studio was like, he makes money for us. Get him out of jail, and we'll just forget the gay
Remember
part.
Gods and Monsters?
Yeah.
They referenced that.
They referenced
Yes.
that. So he had this pool with these orgies.
Saturday was for the straights, and Sundays was for the gays.
So living on campus.
You can get behind that, Marnie.
Oh, yeah. So
It's all about
George
getting
Cukor's
behind it.
house
Well done.
had two very famous people that
like it.
lived there that most people thought lived together in sin. Oh, no, they didn't. Spencer Tracy lived in one of the guest houses, and Katharine Hepburn lived in another guest house
Yeah, I
where she
bet
was a
she did.
lesbian.
Yeah.
Where Scotty Bowers was, because he was a full-service pimp, but he didn't take any money. He just wanted people to meet and be happy. He would trick on his own, and he still bartends. Like, at
Did
one
they give
point,
him, like,
he goes to a
gifts?
party, 90 years old, carrying the ice in to bartend at a party. Like, this movie's fucking bananas. Like, off the
Did
wall.
they-
How old is this current?
He's 90. Yeah, no, it just got made this year.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's 90.
I heard about the book.
He's 91 years old. Oh, yeah, because Barbara Walters went nuts over it about outing people after they were dead, and she didn't want to hear stories about Cary Grant. Well, it turns out everyone knew
Oh
he
my
was
God.
gay.
Everyone knew Cary Grant was gay.
Except for
Okay.
Diane Cannon, who married him and had a kid with them.
Did they give him gifts though, or like they must have helped him out in some way,
well,
right?
Well, they left him houses
Yeah,
and
okay,
cars.
right,
But he
okay.
also was a hooker. He was also a
Right.
hustler on his own. He just would arrange other people, but he wouldn't take a cut of their money. And he would tell these ex-GIs, like, well, $20 is, I mean, literally,
Yeah.
it's
$20
$20 to
Yeah.
get your cock sucked. Close
Right.
your eyes, pretend it's a woman.
Well, sometimes
Make
it
the
still
cash.
is.
Yeah. Bananas. So he has. And wait till you
They
see.
don't suck the bananas out.
Wait till you see him feeding the animals outside. Like, wait till the shitty things he does with cakes. You're gonna die.
Does he talk about anybody like
But anyway, so-
James Dean or Marlon Brando or any?
Oh, no, none of
no, none of that. Okay, just wondering.
But he gets to just about everybody
Asking
else.
for a friend.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah, because all the people that were out and like doing stuff are like the New York people. Because Marlon Brando was more of a New York.
Yeah.
They had their like acting thing. So it became a better rumor for Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy
Yes,
to
it
Be
did.
living in sin.
living in sin
Yeah.
and saying that Spencer Tracy couldn't divorce his wife because she was Catholic.
Right.
And that they were having this affair, but protecting his marriage because of Catholicism. That admitting that
He's
Scotty
a homo and
Bowers,
she's a
Yeah.
lesbian.
Scotty Bowers was fucking him while he was bringing women to Katharine Hepburn. And then it turns out this story that I vaguely remember, Ava Gardner and the other one that Frank Sinatra were in love with. Neither one of them were interested in Frank Sinatra. They were sleeping with each other.
Oh, wow.
And the other people, the other hustlers that came to like hook them up and have three-ways with them and have sex with them, they confessed to it, but he wouldn't give it up. He would not admit to I think it was called The Confidential, that was known for outing gays in Hollywood and ruining
Yeah.
their career. Like they eventually ruined Walter Pidgeon and all these people. He wouldn't sign the document, but then he had pictures. And he's like, oh, I knew these two. They were always fucking. It was but Ava Gardner, the love of Frank Sinatra's life, and he
right.
lost his fucking mind over it. She had no interest.
Zero.
She was sleeping with some blonde that I
Vanity
can't remember.
Fair has
Wow,
a
I did
great
not know that.
article. I want to say like 15 years ago.
Yeah, I
we'll
mean,
have to
I'm
look
totally
in
with
the
you.
archives of it. It's fantastic about Katharine Hepburn's family and her background, and it's titled like basically the biggest con job in the world was how she
I'm
sold
a big
herself.
dyke.
No, like how she sold herself as this straight New Englander,
Sure.
uptight, whatever. And she was actually, her family was like a bunch of communists. And she's like a communist lesbian. They were like, that is the best, like, rebranding,
The
you
town
know,
the
thing.
town that Justin and Kurt live in Hartford. That's where she's from. They have the Katharine Hepburn Museum there, and you can see like her school books and all that shit, and they have costumes from her movies and stuff. And I was like, I'm just like fascinated. I'm like, and they said like she even went on the air with Barbara Walters, used Barbara Walters to read a love letter for Spencer Tracy that she wrote
Wow.
herself, just to make it look like they had been in love. Just
Yeah.
to, even at like 60 years old, she was still gonna push that.
Pushing that bullshit.
Sure.
Now
But
I
you
can-
look good in pants. I like those pants that you would wear. Those
Oh,
good.
I was. So that's this was a big entertainment week. Sarah, we had some deaths.
I'm waiting for you to tell
Clayton's
me it's
got
over.
his hand
It
on
is
the
over.
Hey,
Right
I,
there.
do know,
It's
I have
over.
one quick question. Sorry, forgive me. But what is happening with that show that's on HBO with Amy Adams?
Oh, Sharp
Oh
Objects.
Oh my God, is that good?
So good.
One more episode.
I know. Well, I didn't see the one Sunday
it's
yet.
so
So
good.
I can't. I can't.
Wait,
Yeah.
we can't talk about that if you haven't seen Sundays.
No, please don't.
It's a total
but
turning
I'm saying,
point.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
It's
we'll
so
talk about
good.
it. Well, it finishes this week. We will chat about it at length. Brilliantly done.
She's amazing.
she's so good.
And that mom.
I know, Adora. So
I had to text Al. I'm like, is she pulling out her eyelashes? Oh my God!
wait until
She
you
is
see
a freak.
Sunday.
Fucking nuts.
Well, I just love it. That's all.
It's good.
Well, that really is enough of a show for this week. I feel like
Well,
I have to figure out a way to go see this movie out at Valley Art Theater
No.
at some point. I'm not
Get
sure
on that.
how we're going to do that, but we'll figure it out. My gosh. Well, you never know who's going to be with us next week. Doug, you might be here.
I might
We
be.
don't
Yeah.
know. We never know
We
from
never know.
week to week.
I like it that way.
No.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Now
in the
that I'm the
chat room.
paid contributor.
Yes.
No,
And
I'm
it's
sorry.
so good.
non-paid
Tamina,
contributor.
Nero, Joe,
Exactly.
Oh, thanks, Amina.
Meow Cow,
And
All those
Mama
people.
Di.
Thank you, all of
Jody.
you. Good
Yes.
times. And Rock 100
Yep.
and Bridget in the YouTube room.
Yeah.
Meow Cow.
Fantastic. Just fantastic.
My
You
God,
guys
I'm gonna
are
need
wonderful.
Clayton's gonna
I'm gonna
have
have a beverage after this. I'm gonna have to.
PTSD
No,
after this.
I'm gonna make it. We'll be good. Well,
I'm gonna
as
take a
usual,
nap.
as we wrap up tonight's show, let's leave you with this parting thought. We will see you next Tuesday.